if a Phantasm fan watches a Phantasm movie and there is a moment in the movie that makes them excited, do they have a fangasm?
That's really bad.
There you go.
They are a fanatic of the movie.
Right.
They actually had a term. It was a fantastic Phantasm fanatics or something like that.
They're fanatics with a PH.
Yes. Anyways, we're talking about
Phantasm,
Phantasm, the series that everyone knows and loves because it's so popular and they're so good.
Probably the Phantasm movie, from what the little bit I've been reading, probably the Phantasm movie that most people have seen was actually Phantasm 2 and not the original.
I wish I could remember the difference between 1, 2, and 3 at this point, but I barely do.
Oh, I got you.
Okay, I wrote everything down, so I'll be able to go through the plot, but I forgot.
I don't remember the years, which I wish I'd written down.
I have it all written down.
Okay.
All right, so today we are going to be talking about the Phantasm series.
There's only 5!
Only?
It's only 5.
So yeah, Phantasm. We're going to talk about all 5 movies and review, discuss, laugh, cry, same thing we always do. Here's the thing. When I listen to someone talk about a movie for an hour, I like them to tell me what happened in the movie because I probably haven't seen it. So, when I watch Best of the Worst, I like that they summarize all the movies because when they're talking about it, I want to have context for what's going on. And I don't think anyone here is listening to us has watched more than Phantasm 1 and maybe 5.
Kyle doesn't like my judgy face that I give him when he's summarizing everything all the time.
Before we get into that, I just want to thank you to all our patrons, all our Patreon patrons who have made it possible for us to do stuff like this because we just bought a lot of really expensive gear for stuff that we're going to be recording soon. So thank you, patrons.
Thank you.
Now let's get to Phantasm.
Have you seen any of these before?
I have not seen any of them before.
Okay,
I knew that there was a guy who had 2 silver balls, and it probably
two of them?
Only 2 silver balls. He would have them in his hands. I think it's just because it's one, that video game, the Terradrome, the one that has all the, it's a fighting game with all the horror icons.
Oh, I don't remember what it's called.
I remember the tall man was in there.
Really? Yeah, I guess that makes sense.
But I was always like, I've seen him, but I don't know anything about him or what those balls do. Mm-hmm. I thought he just had, those are like, what do you call them? Like stress tension balls or something like that?
Sure.
So I didn't know that they were like flying around with, blades in them. I thought he was like a magical dude. I mean, he is kind of, but yes, I didn't know anything about Phantasm. I haven't seen any of them, and I know nothing about the tall man other than I've seen him before carrying 2 silver balls, and he's creepy.
Yeah, Phantasm was also kind of a big mystery for me, too. But I'm ahead of you on this one only because...
Also, the reason why we chose these movies is because you had a friend who really likes these movies and wanted to be on a podcast with us, and he got sick. So now we're not having a third person here today.
Oh, thanks for getting our audience excited for something that they can't have now. So we'll try to get him on a future show, I guess. He likes horror in general. But I was kind of looking forward to him explaining the Phantasm franchise to me. So... my story is in the time that we've been doing this, like horror movie podcasts and stuff, we actually were going to do this a while ago. And I took it more seriously than you did, or I had more time than you did or something. And I actually got ahead of you and did watch the first 3 Phantasm movies.
I did not know this.
A while ago. And I remember liking the first one, not remembering anything about 2 or 3, so not caring for them very much, not having a high opinion. I also might have watched them in like pretty quick succession and may have been drinking. But
I guarantee you were drinking.
The other thing too, though, is since we started this, and I kind of want to, we started with like Hellraiser and Leprechaun, like go way, way, way back. And I have gotten way, way, way back into horror since then, like as a result of all this. And
let me just verify that. Yes, Ryan has gone off the deep end. Like I did with Kung Fu movies, you have started buying special edition expensive Blu-rays for like these really one-off, no one's ever heard of horror movies from like the 70s and 80s. So yeah, you're becoming a connoisseur of classic horror.
I guess so. So
I mean, you own the stuff and basket case.
No, I'm fucking in it. I'm in it now. I'm in it.
You were calling me the day. You're like, should I spend $30 buying this? I'm like, what movie is that? Why does anyone care?
I am seriously spending the $30 or $40 for the Return of the Swamp Thing Blu-ray that's coming out soon.
You bought 2 copies of Night of the Living Dead on Blu-ray for some reason.
Oh yeah, as I pre-ordered Night of the Living Dead Criterion twice. That's how excited I was. I guess we have one now, maybe as a prize or something for our audience. So I bring that up only to make a point that I said to myself when you said like let's watch Phantasm, we were gonna do it for real. I said, I wonder how I'm gonna respond to these because what happens with horror is your brain gets rewired and things that I would have scoffed at or just been like totally this is garbage, the whole scale gets slid in a way. So it's true. I enjoyed these movies much more this time around than I did my first time around.
Let's say we powered 3 days, 5 movies.
Yeah, I didn't. 3.
I just called. I was like, hey, Friday night, I want to record. It's Tuesday. Start watching them.
I did a double feature for 1 and 2, a double feature for 3 and 4, and then I watched Ravager today.
Yeah, I kind of watched them at work. Again, I had to watch some fast forwarding, but again, I stopped the parts that had
Stop admitting that to people.
Dialogue.
No, you don't have to tell people that.
I don't have time. I know, but I get the gist of the movies. I watch the dialogue. I just don't have enough time. Like physically, I don't have time, and I can't stay up late, so I have to get through them as quick as possible. I mean, like, you think about number 4. Like that one was just like I could have skipped half the movie. It was so slow. So, anyways, we're gonna go chronologically. Don't leave the podcast if you want to hear about Phantasm. Don't listen to the first movie then leave, because I got some stuff to say about the 5th one. We got stuff to say about. You got to wait till the end, and it sounds like a stupid clickbait kind of thing, but like, man, there is some stuff in the last movie that's worth talking about, good and bad. So if you've only ever seen like 1 and 2. And you're like, I don't care about the rest, and the new one looks stupid, remake. I have more to talk about with number 5 than I do have 3 and 4 probably. So
wow, okay. I have stuff to say about 3 or 4, so I guess that'll balance out.
I do. I'm just saying that, like, I think most time you lose the gas at the end. Leprechaun 5 and 6, you're just like, why are we still here?
That's the main thing. I really like. Do I need to? Because I didn't like any. This is not a single Leprechaun movie. I didn't. Nope.
You're a bad person.
Well, now I kind of go. I need to go back and revisit it. Maybe I was a bad person. I still think that all of the Phantasm movies are better than all the Leprechaun movies. You didn't say anything right away, so maybe not.
I was thinking about something else. I heard what you said, and now I'm digesting it and going, "You're wrong."
Wow.
Leprechaun movies are better than Phantasm.
I will put Phantasm up against fucking Leprechaun.
I was actually watching a bit of the one with Ice-T, which Leprechaun was, I don't know, 5 or 5.
It's the In the Hood. Yeah, those.
Because remember, 2 of them are in the hood. 6 is the serious one, and 5 is like the more goofy one. I was actually watching part of that one the other day. I think that was anyways.
Which one takes place in Vegas? Was that before or after the hood ones?
3.
Okay.
This horror podcast is going into other horror series already.
Hey, vote in the comments. Leprechaun versus Phantasm. That's the theme of the podcast. Okay, so
anyways,
Phantasm
stick
1.
around for the whole series because there is stuff to talk about in each one. The first 4 movies are kind of all similar, but I think the last one actually has something worth discussing, if that makes sense.
Sure.
So let's get to it. Phantasm, 1979. I guess we'd say the brainchild, written and directed by Don Coscarelli.
Yeah.
Who also wrote or directed Beastmaster.
He did.
And wrote Bubba Hotep.
Yes. He didn't direct it. Did he?
I don't know, but he wrote Bubba.
I thought he also directed it, but I could be wrong.
Maybe he did. I just saw that he wrote it. I can look it up.
Also did John Dies at the End.
Yeah, I didn't know if that mattered.
You should watch that.
Okay. And he wrote and directed 4 out of 5 movies in the series and was the producer and the writer on the last one.
Yeah.
So this is basically like the Don Mancini Child's Play.
And he's only there was only one of these Phantasm movies that was a studio movie. So like the reason when you see his name, director, producer, writer, that's because he couldn't afford to hire, and you know what I mean. Like these are independent productions where he just did the whole thing.
But just like we were saying with like Don Mancini and Child's Play, like kind of being his brainchild and his it's his.
Right.
This series is completely his. It's not like it was just like studios came in and made a quick buck making sequels. This is his thing through and through.
Right.
What that thing is that he has, I don't even know what it really is.
Yeah.
And I think the one disappointing thing about the series is I really don't.
Still don't know.
I still don't. There was never like a okay.
Yeah.
It just seems like a series of I want to be creepy, I want to make this, I want to make that, but I don't have real much of a structure.
I guess I was going to save to say it later, but I guess I'll just say it now. I think Phantasm is like the absolute perfect blueprint. Like this is the thing that you reboot. This is the thing that you remake, because there's lots of cool ideas. There's tons of neat like ideas and things that could be explored or whatever, and somebody that actually knows how to make things make sense could make it really cool.
But it's very generic.
I disagree.
The only thing interesting about it is just the tall man.
I disagree.
The idea of this other world and the stuff, a dimension, I don't know. It doesn't hold any huge weight on its own. What's interesting is that there's this dude who he's like Randall Flagg. He's the dude in black. Like goes from town to town and just everyone.
It's funny you mentioned that, because I actually sent you a text while I was watching it. I got kind of a Dark Tower vibe from this stuff.
I did not. So anyways, Phantasm 1 opens on Sex in a Graveyard. That's how you open a movie. Classic horror movie.
Yeah. There's a very adolescent quality to Phantasm, I think. Like very preteen almost, like 11-year-old boy with the boobies and just like oh, I'm gonna put this knife in my on my ankle, and I guess we'll get to it as we go. But like car chases, to me, this movie all feels very much like what a young boy would be like. Fuck yeah!
Well,
like,
also think about like, and again, this was mainly I don't know about the first ones, but I know the last one was mainly shot in like L.A. and stuff.
Yeah,
like around L.A.
I was actually curious where the stuff was
the
shot.
amount of guns everyone just has, like a shotgun rack, right?
Yeah.
So when you talk about like putting the knife in your ankle, like the amount of just like everyone has guns and a cool car and shit, like it's kind of on that tip. Anyways, I'm probably gonna talk a lot about plot and let you kind of dissect some of it because I wrote down everything that happens because oh my god, the stuff that happens in the series, I don't even know where to start with. What is going on. So, okay, open sex in the graveyard. Tommy, she stabs the guy. Her boobs are hanging out. They look nice. I got to give Kat...
Tall man's got nice boobs.
Who? Tall man?
Yeah.
Her name is Kat Lester. She's not much of an actress. The only movies she's in are this one and the last one.
Well, she didn't have any lines,
No, she says Tommy.
Oh, does she?
Yeah. No, but I'm saying like she's not... Like you go to her IMDb and she has like 3 movie credits.
Yeah. It's funny. I was watching the 5th one, and Jess was my fiance is in the room, and she saw Kat Lester and went, "Oh, that's the chick from the first movie."
Yeah.
And I went, "No, it's not."
Spoilers.
And then, I guess, yeah. Anyway, I was like, "Oh, you're totally fucking right. My bad."
Yeah, and I noticed that. I was like, I saw the big boobs, and I was like, "Is that the same?" Yeah, it is the same one. I'm surprised with her look. She wasn't in more like Bikini Sorority Movie 5 or Slasher Car Wash. She has a nice chest, and
there's millions of actors and actresses out there,
right. I'm just saying she played the part she needed to, and I'm surprised she was not in more movies.
Thumbs up from Kyle.
Yeah, she looked good when she was in the. How many years between the first one and the last one? She still looked pretty good.
She still looked okay.
I am a sexist a-hole, right?
Nobody thinks that.
So she stabs this guy Tommy.
Yeah.
They ruled a suicide.
Yeah.
Which is weird. I don't know who stabs themselves in the stomach to. I mean.
Yeah, this movie is
is like Hellraiser.
This movie is so people like to the word that horror fans like to throw around when they're talking about Phantasm is dream logic or like nightmare logic. And that's another word they like to throw around a lot when they talk about like Italian movies, like Suspiria and stuff that have like anti-plot. That's a word that people like to use. Really, you can decide for yourself whether it's plot is not important or we're not very good at plot.
Right.
One of the two of those, or like I intended for this to be surreal. It's kind of like when you play Silent Hill 2 and people are like, it's a masterpiece because it feels like a dream. I'm like, it feels like a dream because the translation team did it like probably, like there's a lot of things that get lost in translation from a Japanese game to an American game, and this coming off like David Lynch on accident. Yeah. But it doesn't matter, right?
Because I would say the Silent Hill 2, a lot of what it has is the actual story and the fog and everything.
Right.
Is the dream.
I'm not taking all that. I love Silent Hill 2.
But you're right.
But these dialogue scenes are not like, they meant to deliver it like you're here now.
Yeah.
Let's go to the, they didn't, it's not David Lynch.
No one's directing the actors in a certain way.
It's just really, really bad voice acting.
Speaking of which, I was watching some Twin Peaks Season 3 specials, and watching David Lynch direct his actors is a very like refreshing, like everything he did on purpose.
Right.
Like none of this was an accident. He told like how's Audrey going to do this, and he explained to her exactly what her character motivations are and what they're going to do, and it's really interesting. As much as people either hate or love David Lynch, watching him direct an actor kind of puts you in the place of like, he fucking knows what he wants and he knows what he expects to see. So, yeah.
Don Coscarelli, on the other hand, so I think he's actually a good director. I think especially in the first movie, I think he does a lot of really interesting visual things with the camera. I think he has a lot of like energy, a lot of ambition for like what he's doing. And as far as like back to the nightmare dream logic stuff, so you can attribute this to that, I guess. There's going to be a lot of stuff like that. This guy got stabbed, and like the movie hopefully goes fast enough that you're not like, wait, how do you get a suicide out of somebody getting stabbed? Oh, he fell on his knife.
On his back.
But it's the way that it's shot. It's obviously the way that the movie's made, but also the plot comes from the fact that the movie, he had like 3 hours of footage or something like that. He had like a 3-hour movie. The movie's only 88 minutes long, I think. It's really short, but he had 3 hours of footage. So having to cut down your 3-hour whatever story down to an 88-minute runtime, he's looking up right now, he's going to correct me if I'm wrong, you're also going to, that also gives this kind of like anti-plot, like not a whole lot of plot going on in the movie.
No, I'm looking at
Am I anywhere close?
I'm looking at Bubba Hotep stuff. He was the writer on Bubba Hotep.
He didn't direct it though.
No.
Okay.
He didn't direct much else besides Phantasm movies.
I thought he did John Dies at the End.
He did, but he didn't do much else besides Phantasm.
Right.
And he says, if I hadn't focused so much on Phantasm, I probably could have gotten some big budget movies, but I ended up making this baby of mine a curse unto myself. Anyways.
Fair enough. People are they're buying $200 Blu-ray box sets of it, so he did something right.
Yeah, I mean, it's weird getting into old horror movies and getting like, Blu-rays that are, it's amazing to see the quality of, what film can endure after so many years and having it be like a cheap product back then and grainy, but it still looks good if you clean it up.
Because this was the 4K. This is the 4K.
89 minutes. 89.
I was close. Okay,
close.
4K transfer that only exists because J.J. Abrams is a huge fan of Phantasm. I don't know if you knew that about.
I don't really care.
I'm just maybe somebody else cares.
You said J.J.
Did you ever
Abrams,
think about
and
that?
my mind just went, oh, yeah, whatever.
People know who J.J. Abrams is, so I'm using his name.
I'm going to put his name on the box set.
Hey, it helps sell the fucking thing. I'm sure Don Croscarelli was happy about it.
How many movies people think Eli Roth directed or Quentin Tarantino directed because their names are on the box?
Yeah.
Anyways, so the guy gets stabbed.
Did you know Quentin Tarantino directed Iron Monkey?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
No, sorry. He presents it as his own thing that's his. All right, so the funeral is about to begin, sir. That's the line.
Yeah.
That's a really weird line. Just like grabs him on the shoulder and says, the funeral's about to begin, sir.
Yeah.
Creepy.
Yeah, he's supposed to be creepy. He's the bad guy of the movie.
That's our introduction to this tall, skinny guy with weird, long gray hair who has the best facial animations. He has the
facial animations? You understand that was an actual actor, right?
You know what I mean, though, right?
He's a CGI construct from 1979.
No, like his facial tics. The kind of the way he contorts his face.
He's great.
His different expressions. Sorry, facial expressions. Is that what I meant?
I think that's
what
you meant.
But it's not like it's not just expressions. He transitions from like scary to not scary and back to scary again really quickly and really good.
Yeah.
Especially in the fifth one. This guy doesn't need to talk. His acting is all on his face.
Yeah.
And it's amazing how.
I mean, he's at least half the reason why this franchise is.
He's the only reason.
Gone. That's not true, and I will fight you. I kind of like these movies.
It's funny with all these. We always watch them, and you think like, wow, those were not very good, or they were kind of cheap, and like we said, the plot doesn't really make much sense, or how did that guy suicide by stabbing himself? That doesn't make any sense. By the end, I'm always like, I'm glad I watched these because I have a connection to the characters usually. By the end of it, I'll be like, oh, I really like feel like part of the universe. Like if they made another Phantasm movie, I'd be first in line to go watch it, right?
Yeah, same here.
Even though I think they're not that great of movies, but
now you're that's it. You're stuck with. You're in it now,
yeah.
man. Welcome to the club. Welcome to the party, pal.
The lucky thing out of all this, which is like the big spoiler for the beginning, is like my favorite character from the first movie ends up becoming basically the main character throughout the entire series. That's the only way they kept my attention.
Chris, you're talking about Reggie, the ice cream man. And I think that's really funny because...
Holy shit, when he puts his fucking ice cream suit on in the fourth one,
yeah.
Like he's going to go into war, so he puts his ice cream suit on.
Imagine if you had like an audience full of Phantasm fans, they all just like, yeah!
So yeah, like that's the only reason the fifth one works is if you had seen all of them and it was fan service,
Right.
So yeah, it's like you watch them all and Phantasm's going to have a place in my heart. I'm never going to recommend it to anybody. I'm never going to say, you should go see Phantasm. They're really good horror movies.
It depends on who I'm talking to. But I'm certainly not going to recommend it to everybody.
But it's going to have a place that's going to live with me. I'm always going to have these memories of this world now,
I think the first
And I like that.
We got to talk about the actual movie, but I guess as long as we still have things to say. I think that the first... I'm planting my flag down saying I think the first Phantasm is a horror classic. That's it.
Okay, you can think that.
I think a lot of people think that. I don't think it's just me.
A lot of people can think that.
I think that it's funny that you're
Jody,
willing to go out on a limb for fucking Leprechaun. Like you're mostly because it's just like here's what it is.
If you go ask not even the average person, but you just go ask like a select group, and you go like Leprechaun, Phantasm.
Because one came out of a movie theater and people know what it is.
How many Leprechauns were in theaters? 2? 1?
No, but like it came out in the 90s. Like people, it's not the same fucking thing. Fucking Phantasm was made for like no money, like with their own money, independent like thing. Like nobody. That's why more people saw Phantasm 2 than they saw Phantasm 1 because Phantasm 2 is actually a Universal theatrical film. I'm just saying. I'm not trying to shit all over Leprechaun. I don't know why I'm using that like as my whipping boy today. But like Phantasm. Oh, that's what I was gonna say, and then I'll leave you alone. The only reason you like Leprechaun more than the first Leprechaun, but more than the first Phantasm.
Does that make sense?
No, because it came out later. Because it's newer.
No.
That's it. And you are a ageist, sir, when it comes to films.
No, because I like Black Christmas more than...
Well, Black Christmas is like Jaws.
But it's like the 70s, 79, right?
Yeah.
I like that one more than... Well, I can't say...
Well, it's a much better movie than both of these.
I mean,
but I think Phantasm is also better than Leprechaun.
But I'm saying it doesn't have to be that it's newer.
There's actually like interesting ideas and camera work and shit like that and technique and things in the first Phantasm movie, and there's none of that shit in Leprechaun.
What usually kills it for me... Not kills it, but makes it one of those things where I can't really dig it as a whole piece other than like the parts. You know, the sums aren't better than the whole here. It's just like I like these parts and these parts are bad. It's usually the acting. You have people who are not.
These are not actors.
Exactly. And so their line delivery.
So give me Jennifer Aniston.
I mean, again, she's an actual actress though, you know. Like that little kid in the third one. Like,
that's what's cool about this,
he's an actor, you know.
This is like Evil Dead. This
the
is like
only actor in this movie is Reggie. And Mike, the first one, that young kid actor, he's really good.
Well, he was in a cereal commercial or something.
I don't know, but I mean, he could play the part. Jody was not a good actor. The lady and Tommy weren't bad. Even the tall man doesnn't really.
Oh, he's so awesome.
He is, but he doesn't really deliver much. Like
his
later
walk.
on in the series, though, he has more delivery, and he's
Yeah.
a good. You know, he's a good what do you call it? He's very colorful, but he doesn't have acting, line delivery.
Yeah.
All the characters that have line delivery are generally not very good at it. Yeah, there's just a lot of like talking and then it cuts to like the next scene, but whatever. Phantasm. So is Jody his older brother? Mike is the main character. He's a kid. Jody is his older brother, right?
Yes.
Okay. They don't quite say that. They just like, I'm taking
Yes,
care
they do.
of the kid.
It's
implied.
Day. No, it's not implied. It's brought up. He says like, I'm afraid that my brother's going to go out of town and leave me here. Like it's a whole
call
thing.
him his brother though.
I never ever. I've seen him.
I know now that he's definitely his older brother.
Okay.
But it's almost weird. Like it's a family friend, and I don't know. It just
that was not confusing to me in either viewing. So
the parents are dead. They died a while ago in a car crash.
Yes.
Or something.
Yes.
What are you laughing?
Well. Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Well, we'll get to that. Yeah. So their parents are dead. The kid's kind of like left to nothing, and Jody's his older brother.
And he's like his legal guardian for now.
But okay,
this is the 70s, man.
Reggie says
people
hey,
they can have guns. They walk around with guns. Nobody watches you. You get to do whatever the fuck you want, and also there's not actually any legal like checking in on who's taking care of teenage boys.
When he shows up, Reggie's like, "Hey, man, where you been the last 2 years on the road?" So if you've been on the road for 2 years, who's been taking care of Mike?
He's been living with the fortune teller lady. Or the two cute young girls that are looking after him in the Volkswagen Bug. That's who he's been staying with.
I guess.
I'm just saying this is a time. Yes, but also like this is the 70s. Like he's probably just taking care of himself.
Hey, that's not an excuse anymore.
I know.
Hashtag me
now
too.
Child services.
Or hashtag time's up.
Don't co-opt somebody's serious hashtag for your your joke.
It's the idea that it was okay in the 70s. It was never okay, Ryan.
Right.
That's a joke and not a joke.
I.e., everybody in the 70s got to have all the fun, and baby boomers got to have all the fun, and now nobody gets to have any fun.
I don't know. I kind of like the world a little bit safer, to be honest. Well, safe is a weird term to use, but at least my personal safety sometimes, or my kids'
Well, here's why I really offend. Here, I'll take your.
I'm glad my mom never crashed a car because there wasn't much safety going on in that '69 Mustang. I'll just say that, you know.
Here's my whatever like sexist thing you said earlier. Or like, oh, sorry, I'm a sexist pig. I'll go ahead and absolve you of all of that right now with what I'm about to say. However many kids have been saved by bicycle helmets, and however many years they've been forced to wear them, not worth having to wear bicycle helmets.
Oh, fuck you.
There you go. So there you go. Now I've officially said the most offensive thing in the podcast, and we can continue.
Or okay, to put it safely, I agree with you. It's the parent's responsibility to put a helmet on you. It's like you tell your kid you have to wear a helmet, even if it's not the law. It should just be a thing that's ingrained in society, like wearing a fucking seatbelt. You know how many TV shows you watch? Like reality shows, they get in a car and they don't put a seatbelt on. My wife is like, what the fuck is wrong with these people? Why are they never wearing their seatbelt? I want them all to die in a car crash.
If Jody wore a seatbelt in this movie, he would not be able to hang out the side of their American muscle and shoot shotgun shells.
Hey, you know what? There's a car crash in the second one where someone leaves, it gets ejected from the car, and Reggie was wearing a seatbelt, and he was in the car. Now, that doesn't make any sense because whatever. He was wearing a seatbelt. Jody was not, or no, Mike was not. So, also, I want to put someone on blast right now that I saw littering on the way home today. I really want to.
Yeah, for you listening right now, you should be ashamed of yourself.
No, their car had like their business name on it and their number.
What was their business? Call them out right now. What is it?
I want to, but I'm not gonna do. I'm gonna call them tomorrow. I'm gonna, excuse me, your car. That's your car, right? Like I saw your number on the car. I was for a job. That's you. Hey, fuck you, asshole! Stop littering in my neighborhood.
You're gonna do that, but you don't want to say the name of the business on our podcast that a couple of hundred people listen to.
No.
Okay, fair enough.
Let's talk about Phantasm. So Jody,
I'm here to talk about Phantasm.
Is his older brother. Also, he's a jerk.
No, it's the
He's
70s.
You always go past.
It's the 70s.
Take care of my kid brother, man. I really love him, but I'm gonna make him live with his aunt.
He's a free bird, and this free bird you cannot change.
So
it was the 70s.
So are we doing?
Do you see his car? This guy plays the guitar. He has lady friends. He drives up and down the coast. He probably just goes surfing. Like, he's a cool dude.
Are we doing music lyrics today? Is that our thing?
He's a cool guy. He's a cool guy, and
he belongs to the city. He belongs to the night.
You can't tie him down in that little suburban house. It's a nice house, by the way. That's why in today's day and age, all I can think about is, God, I'd like to have that fucking house. It's nice. That's a nice big house.
That's like my parents. It's not that big.
It was big enough.
It had upstairs, didn't it?
I'm just like, wow.
No, because when he pulls up in the driveway, it's just a regular ass like track housing.
Yeah,
house,
I know.
But the inside has like an upstairs.
But their parents are gone, and they just have this house now, and it's theirs, and well, maybe not. Maybe not. Maybe their parents left them with like a shit ton of debt, and they were just totally upside down on it.
Let me say this. It was the 70s.
It was the 70s.
That house? No. What I mean is that house is a 70s-ass house. That looks like my parents' house.
Yeah.
Hasn't been touched since the 70s.
Yeah, I guess
it's a piece. To me, that's a piece of garbage.
Did I mention I fetishize 70s things? It was the 70s. Okay. That's what we title this podcast, I think.
So yeah, he's just gonna leave the kid with his aunt, even though he looks up to him. He follows him everywhere, and he's scared of him leaving. Yes. He tells him, "I'm scared Jody's gonna leave me," and he's just gonna dump him off on his aunt, on their aunt.
Yeah. It's kind of like, it's almost a little bit like Jake and Roland.
Jake and Roland.
Yeah.
Okay. So the next line here.
What?
Michael.
It's like Jake and Roland.
Sure.
How is it not like Jake and Roland?
Because
he's even like a gunslinger. He's got like the fucking cool car and got a.
Yeah, I remember when Roland used to ride around the desert in a 71 Barracuda.
Jake loves Roland, is not sure if Roland's going to abandon him.
Yes, I get it.
It's just like that. Kyle hates me so much right now. All right, continue.
So, the beginning,
If you feel like the brother's that much of a jerk,
no. I think
he doesn't get his.
We skipped over the. Okay, so they're at the funeral for the parents. Or no, for Tommy.
No, they're at the funeral for Tommy.
For their friend with the bad mustache. They're at his funeral. Mike was told not to come or not told about it because he's already had enough time with his parents dying. Now they have to hear about his friend Tommy, or his brother's friend Tommy, which maybe.
Yeah.
It seems like Mike is friends with all Jody's friends. I don't know.
It's the 70s.
Oh, here's. Whoa.
That's not what I meant.
I don't know. Are you saying what now?
What am I saying?
Are you saying pedophilia is okay in the 70s?
No, that's not what I'm saying.
Hanging out with. Okay, let me get to the pedophilia part.
You hang out with your older brother and your older brother's friends.
Okay, so they're at the funeral. Mike's not supposed to go because they don't want to bum him out. He goes anyways, and he hides in the bushes. He uses binoculars. He sees it all. They all leave, and then the hearse rolls up, and he sees a tall man get out and just fucking pick up the coffin by himself and throw it in the back of a hearse.
Oh my God, love this. So Jess, my fiance, is in the room with me, and she's not really paying attention. And I'm like, wait, watch this though, because this is kind of a neat special effect. It's really cheap and easy to do, and it gets the point across. And she watches it, and she's like, okay. And I'm like, what do you mean? And she's like, what? Like, aren't they? They're not that heavy. I'm like, yes, they are. That's impossible. You can't do that. And she's like, well, it's probably empty. I'm like, even if it was empty, you can't just pick that up with your arms and put it in the back of a casket.
A grown man in a coffin probably weighs somewhere in like the 400 to 500 pound range.
Anyway, I just thought it was funny. I'm just like, look,
Yeah. Yeah, coffins are solid wood and they're thick and they're heavy.
Yeah, it was just kind of funny. As a person who's actually been a pallbearer, like I can attest to that.
I thought you were going to say a person who's been in a coffin before.
I've been in a body cadaver slab. Yep.
Good for you.
Yeah. Did I never show you that picture?
Yeah, I think so.
All right. So
Phantasm, right?
Hey, if you want to talk about pedophilia, we could fast forward all the way to the end with an ice cream man and a little kid in front of a fireplace. That's where you.
That's what I'm talking about. That's exactly what I was talking about. Okay, so we get the first inkling that Tall Man has some kind of weird fucking power. He just picks up a coffin. He's strong.
He can also like telekinetically launch.
We're not there yet.
That's like right there.
What does he launch?
Like he knocks him off his motorcycle.
Oh, he does, huh?
Yeah, totally does.
Yeah, but it's kind of
Okay.
whatever. He's got powers, but it could have been, could have not have been. It's kind of ambiguous. So Michael goes to see some old decrepit lady who has a granddaughter who can't act and tells him that fear is the killer after a box magically appears in front of him on a table and he sticks his hand in it. This scene is weird.
Yeah. I mean, this movie's just full of stuff. It's just full of stuff. And
Stuff, that's the right word.
you want to say full of shit.
No, I don't. I'm just it's got a lot of stuff. Stuff that doesn't seem to make much of anything.
They tried to make it all make sense. She makes another appearance in the franchise later too.
The old lady?
I think so.
That lady's dead.
Well, she probably is, but they had somebody that looks
They
like her.
look like her. That was not the same lady.
She had the same like dark sunglasses on and stuff.
Yes, that was. Yes.
You don't think that was meant to be her in some way or another?
Sure.
I guess we'll have to ask Don Coscarelli.
It's not the actual actress.
No, she
didn't.
Hey,
that old lady was dead.
Angus Scrim, fucking woo! I couldn't believe like when you get by the. He actually died recently. I don't know if you knew that.
Yeah,
he died like literally like right after this movie, the last movie got made.
I think January 2016.
Yeah.
So
he
rest
stayed
in
long
peace,
enough to
tall
do
man.
one. Rest in peace, tall man. Fucking crazy though. Just like watch that guy age. You know, through what 5 movies.
It turns out he really liked that character. I don't want to talk about the last movie yet, but like when they were getting shooting the last movie, and they kind of got back together again. They went and did like a little like location tour of where like they shot the old other stuff, and they were acting out scenes as the other characters. So Angus Scrim comes up and starts doing like Jodie's part, and Dawn started doing like Mike's part in a scene in front of like the big house from the first movie. He said that Angus knew he was getting on in years, knew he didn't have much time left. And so was having a really good time reminiscing, kind of like going through like, here's my life. Mm-hmm. And there's like some footage of it. And he seemed like a really fun, happy person. And doing that last movie for him was probably like his final send-off.
Yeah.
So he actually passed away at like a really, like he made it. He got all the way through the last movie, lived a little while after passed away, but had his nice long last shot at Tall Man and thoroughly enjoyed it.
Well, here's another cute story real quick since we're on the subject.
Cute stories. That's what came before.
I was listening to a much better podcast than ours called Shockwaves. Everybody should go listen to it. It's a really good horror podcast. And they were doing an interview actually with the director of the last, I don't know what his name is, the guy who did Ravager.
David Hartman.
Hartman, yeah. And he seems like a very, to be fair, before we get to that movie, very unassuming, very like, I never made a movie before. I just did it because it wasn't going to happen either way.
What are you talking about? He never made a movie before. He directed Laser Fart.
Okay. All right. It's Laser Fart. Sure. I don't know anything
He
about
directed
that.
Laser Fart.
Anyway, so he's telling the story about how at the premiere of Ravager, which they must have premiered at some little theater somewhere, Angus Scrim obviously hadn't seen the movie yet because nobody had seen it yet.
Yeah.
And I don't remember exactly what the exchange was, but he essentially said like, he's like, to Angus, like, I hope you liked the movie. I hope I did a good job. And he's like, well, I'll tell you what, I'll tell you the same thing that I tell Dawn Cosgrove. I don't remember. He's like, if the movie... Or he's like, because he's really fucking old, and he's like, I'll give you a ride home after the movie. And he said, I'll tell you what, if I like the movie, then you can give me a ride home, because then then I can tell you how much I like the movie. And then if I didn't like the movie, then I'll just get a ride home with somebody else. And then at the end of the movie, he said, you may give me a ride home. So anyway, not to say that the movie was that great, but It's a cute story. Hey, Phantasm 1.
Phantasm 1, 1979, Don Coscarelli. Who also did Beastmaster and wrote Bubba Hotep.
Or I don't remember who tells the joke, but this is like a famous joke from some comedian where it's HBO or, hey, Beastmaster's on, which doesn't make any sense to me because I didn't grow up with HBO, but apparently everybody that had HBO in the 80s thought that joke was hilarious. It's just a movie that must have been on. Like when you think of HBO, you just go, oh, hey, Beastmaster's on.
Yeah. So Jody goes to a bar, picks up a girl who wants to fuck him within like the first 60 seconds of him sitting down.
I really like that bar, by the way.
Yeah, it's like a random.
It's just a cool bar. I want to hang out there.
Cantina Dunes.
They drink. This movie I know this movie had no budget and they just did it all themselves, but I just assumed it was sponsored by Dos Equis.
I didn't remember seeing any beer
That's
brands.
the only beer they drink
Okay.
in the whole thing. And there's later in the garage when Mike's working on the car and you can kind of see everything at foot level.
Yeah.
There's fucking just random Dos Equis bottles like laying over in the.
I
in the
usually
thing.
catch that stuff. I didn't notice it.
Anyway,
Probably because I was fast forwarding everything. But
all right. So picks up a girl at the bar.
Actually,
and,
I watched the first movie with no fast forwarding.
Mike's following him around.
Yeah,
everywhere.
literally, he sits down next to her, and within the same shot, they get up and they're gonna go leave and go fuck somewhere.
Yeah, it's the 70s.
It's it's the 70s. There you go. Sure. Doesn't seem odd or suspicious at all.
Yeah, they're gonna go do it in a graveyard. Do they go do it in a graveyard?
And she's like, I like to go. This gets me off over here.
Yeah.
And they go to a graveyard. They go to the graveyard and they lay on a tomb.
Yeah.
Or a big cement slab.
Yep.
Her boob pops out. Oh no, Michael's following. Of course, Michael followed Jody.
Yeah.
He's in the bushes watching. This is my favorite part of the movie.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Well, not the boob popping out.
No, but afterwards, the reaction.
Yeah, the boob pops out. They cut to Michael, and he's in the bushes, and he just see a big smile crack out.
Grins ear to ear.
Like, you're right. This is a little boy's fantasy.
Yeah, it's an adolescent movie. It's part of its charm.
At one point,
So he gets chased while he's watching. This little fucking killer Jawa pops out and chases him. And he's like, ah! And it's a funny scene. He runs right by Jody and the girl like as they're getting down, and they're both kind of what? Like watching him run by.
I'm gonna throw this out here. I think Jody doesn't know how sex works because when Mike ran by and he startled him, Jody was like kissing this lady, was on top of him between her legs, not doing the sex yet. And he looks up and he's got her panties in his teeth.
He's got him around his. He's got. Yeah, you're right.
He's
he does.
biting his
he does
panties.
have it. Yeah.
I don't know why he was like making out with her while had the panties in his teeth.
It's just a funny visual gag
If
to
it was
show
like-
that they were getting down. It's not. It's
no. If they were
it's the same. It's fine.
If they were like in his hair, like on his head, that would have been funny. But I was just like, why did he have?
Kyle, maybe you don't know how to have sex.
I've got 2 kids. I think I figured it out by now. Yeah.
Maybe that's
Okay. Next scene. I don't know what happens there.
I
They
mean,
both run
again,
away.
you're trying to ascribe plot to a movie. There's a kid that thinks creepy things are going on with the scary guy at the mortuary, and he tries to get his brother.
The what?
To,
Mortuary? The what you worry?
mortuary.
Mortuary?
How do you say it?
No, you never know.
What did I say?
You stumbled. Morningside
You mean
is what it's
I
called.
mumbled. Anyway, and trying to get, oh no, this guy's creepy. You need to listen to me. And then creepy things happen. And then, so the next part, the next part is him trying to get his brother to know what's
Jody
happening.
tries to go back. The girl's gone, and he's just like, I'm so confused. And they go home, and then
Where he's like, well, I'm gonna go figure it out. I'm gonna go get some evidence, or I'm gonna go check out what's going on at the mortuary.
who
right?
says that?
Michael does, because he goes there by himself.
Well, no,
He does.
not yet. He's working in the garage in the car because his kid's a
Okay, so there's another sign.
Yeah.
That's that weird things are
there's
happening.
a kid. This kid's a car mechanic, by the way. Like just
It was the 70s.
70s.
Everybody knows how to work on cars.
He's underneath the car and it's on jacks, and then there's noises. The car starts to shake, and then the car drops on him, and he's like pinned under the car. And then he takes the hammer and he hits the foot that he sees, and it's Jody's toe.
Yeah.
And then he just comes out from under the car like it's no problem. Not like, hey, I'm stuck under this vehicle. You just saw me in a frame going like, I can't move. He just gets up from underneath the car. And Jody's like, my toe.
Nightmare logic, Kyle. Dream logic and nightmare logic. He's doing it like the Italians do it.
This is like Inception, where it's like, do you remember how you got here?
Hey, isn't the music in this movie good?
It's weird.
Oh, it's
I wrote about the music later. I don't really the first half. I don't really notice it. It's like the second near the end. It's like piano, synth, like drum and bass, like a really hard drum thing, and then some like synthetic choir sounds.
they're heavily inspired by Goblin.
It's
That's what they
very
said.
yeah. I could see that. So this is when the kid sneaks in the mausoleum and hides in a coffin. Some old guy that was like working with a tall man. Like
This is where-
this
this
is
is the
like the grave digger guy that
Right.
you know.
This is the beginning of the questions. This is the beginning of my questions.
What question is that?
I'm gonna call Angus Scrim. I'm gonna pretend that the sequels don't exist yet. I'm gonna say the tall man is an alien.
Sure.
Or maybe he's from another dimension, but it doesn't really matter. It's the same thing.
Yeah.
He's from another planet. Okay? He looks human because he's here on Earth.
Yeah.
But that's not like his true form. Okay?
Okay.
And he's got the killer Jawas. The killer Jawas, to me, are pretty straightforward.
They're dwarves in robes.
He takes
Sorry, not like a bathrobe.
he takes
I mean like a.
bodies, dead people, and somehow compacts them and turns them into zombies, basically.
Sort of, yeah.
I mean, that's in a nutshell what's going on with Killer Jawas. And they don't have like thoughts of their own or anything like that. They're just mindless minions that
Well, they
do
do
what
his bidding.
his bidding. They're slaves. And then there's other people sometimes that are also bad, but they're regular looking like the tall man is. So Mai was like, oh, that's also an alien.
Oh.
That's not the head alien. That's just a alien that's directly underneath the tall man.
And he also looks like...
This is me pretending that the other movies don't exist.
And his human, so the tall man wears like a nice black suit. He's usually dressed like an Undertaker.
Yeah.
And then, of course, this being his underling is dressed like a hick.
Yeah, sure.
So that, you know.
Yeah, and it makes sense. For me, it jives. Like that's where I went with it. So anyway, because my first thought was like, does this guy fucking not know that the guy that he works for is fucking crazy? But I'm like, oh, he's in on it. Okay, they're in the same thing.
Maybe, I don't
And if
know.
you cut his head off. But here's the thing. When he gets hit with a sphere later, he doesn't have yellow shit come out of the thing. It's a big, gushy red fountain.
Oh, my God. So you're... Let's just
So he must have been human.
Wait. Let's just put that in context. He doesn't have yellow shit coming out of the thing. He has red gushing blood. For anyone who hasn't seen this movie, we're not talking about diarrhea. He just left some words there that don't quite...
We'll come back to him later.
Yeah.
Okay, so...
Yes. He hides in a coffin, sees the two, they leave, he gets out, and then the old guy gets hit in the face with a silver ball, and it drills into his head. And the blood that comes out is red blood. Not that long afterwards, Mike cuts fingers off of the tall man, and it's like yellow blood.
Yeah.
That's what you were getting at.
Yes.
Yeah. In this one, did the ball is just kind of seem indiscriminate? Like when did it?
To me, they seem like a not so good guard dog. Like they're kind of like imagine like it's a robot, but it doesn't work like 100% correctly. Like
who it targets, you mean?
Yeah, I mean,
I don't remember this one. Did it like miss Mike and hit him by accident, or
here's how I think of the metal balls in the first movie. Which how do we not have a name for these yet? There's 5 fucking movies, and nobody ever just throws out a name like they're this. We have Graboid. Like you just give some name out there. I look at them like Ed 209.
Yeah, I can see that.
To me, they're Ed 209s. They're dangerous. They're definitely dangerous.
They're extremely dangerous.
but they're not always dangerous in the way that you want them to be.
I think it's like he's holding a kid, and then tall man, the ball comes down there, and like he drops the kid, and the ball hits him, kind of by accident.
Yeah.
And so what it does is it has these 2 prongs come out while it's flying through the air, jams into like the sides of your forehead, and then a little drill comes out of the middle and drills directly into the middle of your face.
And it sucks out your blood and shits it out its asshole.
Pretty much, yeah.
And it's awesome. And I can imagine seeing that shit in 1979 and being like, I ain't never seen that shit before. That's fucking cool. I feel like that was enough. So this is where you were saying like, oh, the tall man's all the reason. I'm like, I don't think it's true. There's like even something like as dumb or as little as that, like that's such a unique fucking thing for this 1979 horror movie. You're like, what the fuck is that? What is that?
They belong to the tall man.
They belong to the tall man,
It's his thing, though.
Sure. I mean, all of it belongs to the tall man in that case.
No, but I mean, that's part of it's his deal. So anyways, I think Mike gets up and then the tall man like stands in the hallway.
It's a great scene. I love this scene.
See, this is where like Mike, the kid actor, is really good.
Yeah.
Besides the fact that he's cussing all the time, it's the 70s.
He's like, oh, shit.
Well, he goes,
Yeah.
oh, shit.
Yeah,
like,
that's the delivery. That's
like,
right.
I'm going to say something. Oh, there's nothing I can say to get out of this.
They kind of walk towards each other, standoff sort of thing, and there's a hallway between the both of them, and he just realizes the only way he's going to get out of this is beeline that way as fast as he can.
Right. There's no talking his way out of this one.
So as you mentioned, the kid barely gets through a door and closes the door right behind him, and he notices that the tall man has reached a hand in as he was closing the door, and it's stuck with its fingers poking out. And so he's like, ah! And he takes out the knife that he had put in underneath hid it under in his ankle holster, and cuts the fingers off and runs out. But not before apparently he takes one of the fingers as evidence.
It kept moving. It's like on the ground, still moving.
It's still moving around.
Yellow
There's yellow blood everywhere.
So
now he's going. I'm going to tell Jody. I got to tell Jody. I got to tell my older brother what's going on. He's got to believe me.
Oh no, not even that part. So
what?
He goes home, right, and runs from the robe goblins who grab his shoe.
Okay.
They almost get him. Like they grab him on the way. I will say it's tense. It's pretty scary at times, because you feel very isolated in like a foreign environment with like nowhere to hide. Like it's a hallway, right? And someone's running at you. That's where like the scares come from this one. It's not so much a jump scare. It's not so much that it's like horror, scary ghost. It's more like physical threat is what this movie has. It's physical threat. So he gets away barely.
Except there is some cool supernatural stuff. I'm assuming this has already happened at this point where he has the kind of like dream sequence where tall man's kind of standing over his bed, and then like the arms come up out of the ground
There's
and grab
a
him.
lot of that.
Yeah,
There's
that
a
was
lot
cool,
of like
though.
arms coming out of somewhere and grabbing someone and pulling them through the wall or a window.
Right.
A lot of it. Like a lot of it.
Yeah.
This movie series falls into its own tropes.
Oh, hardcore. And also,
Like
it
they
becomes
established-
self-aware of them.
Yes.
Because literally there's a joke later on in the movie that's like, I thought cars only exploded like that in the movies.
Right.
Because it's like, it's not a fucking, at some point you say to yourself, it's not a Phantasm movie unless there's a car chase and
someone jumps through the window, the back window of the car.
Or any window. I mean,
But
jumping through windows in general.
Specifically the back, I think it's the first one where he's in the back of the hearse and he shoots the window and then jumps through it.
Right.
That happens a lot in these movies. No, so the next scene is like, I'm going to go tell Jody. So we see him out the house, sleep on the stairs.
Right.
With the box next to him kind of moving. And he's got a fucking shotgun on.
Yeah.
It's like, what, 13-year-old kid? 14-year-old?
I won't say it.
What?
I won't say it.
Say what?
It's the 70s.
Oh, yeah. It's like 13, 14-year-old kids just like got a loaded shotgun. And then Jody sees him. He's asleep, kind of takes it and starts, cocking the bullets out.
Like, I know.
The shells. And yeah, he's got 5 shells loaded in this shotgun, like ready for
I love that he does.
bed.
It kind of bothered me he didn't do it carefully. Like the bullets just like went everywhere as he was doing it. He didn't
who
go
cares?
find them later. I know I'm making a joke about this, the 70s things, but like
70s.
for real though, because if you could not do that now, and it wouldn't be because now people are smarter when they watch movies, it would be because you go, bullshit, nobody gets away with that these days. But when you look at that in 1979, you say like, okay,
Yeah, there's shotgun shells all over the floor of
Sure,
the house.
why
Why
not?
not? Basically, hey, the 70s means you're a fucking idiot.
it's okay, I know where my dad's gun is. That's all it takes. You know?
Yeah. They're just on the wall right there.
Yeah.
All 5 of them.
Right.
Have we met Reggie at this point?
Yeah, he's been around. They had their guitar jam session already with the tuning fork.
That was a really weird.
It's a great scene. That's like one of the reasons people love Phantasm.
So yeah, they're him and Jody are playing the guitar in front of the house or something like
They
that.
just have a little jam session.
And he's like, "Hey, blue guitar, you've been on the road." Yeah, you're right. And he pulls his tuning fork out to tune his guitar. He taps it, and you watch him put his fingers on it in kind of slow motion. Mm-hmm. No idea that would be foreshadowing for like the most important part of the entire series.
Are you being sarcastic?
No, I had no.
Okay.
I did not think that played any role. I thought that was just them, and there's
Okay.
like a scene transition.
Yeah. Hey, setup and payoff.
Man, that was a big setup and payoff that I didn't see the setup part. Reggie's an ice cream man.
Yes.
Drives an old school ice cream truck, meaning like it's just open. Like the driver cab has no roof or anything.
Right.
And he wears a little white suit with a little like black
Bow tie.
bandoliers.
Bolo tie.
Bolo tie. There we go. He's bald.
Oh yeah.
Except, well, okay.
With a ponytail.
He's bald in the middle, but he has a side hair in the ponytail, and
Yeah.
he's not an old guy.
Yeah.
So he's one of those guys who just went bald early like you.
Right. Like me.
But he's like purely bald in the middle, which at one point plays a role in the third movie. I just love your head. Reggie's the best character.
That was the second movie, actually.
Okay. Reggie's the best character.
Well, he's carried the entire.
He's caring. He's smart. He's the best actor.
I might as well just say this now. I was saving it for later, but I'll just do it now. Would you like to see?
Also, his real name is Reggie.
Would you like to see a crossover team up movie with Reggie Bannister, Ash from the Army of Darkness series,
The comic book.
and Burt Gummer?
I would love to see that.
I think that was like initially I was like Burt Gummer and Reggie were like my first two that I put
Burt
together.
Gummer, anyone.
But
you
these
just
guys,
you just put
but
Burt Gummer.
who wait. Who Reggie is by the end of this series and Burt Gummer are like the perfect traveling buddies, in my opinion.
It's like when they call The Rock like franchise Viagra. In my mind, I'm like, you need your franchise spice up, throw Burt Gummer in it.
Yeah,
That'll
I'm
make
just
it
saying
better.
it'd be good. Like that's all.
You got me excited. There's a comic book out there with like Ash, Burt, and Reggie on adventures. Or
Maybe
something.
one day.
3 white trash idiots who don't know.
Yeah.
Who know how to fight.
I
and
just feel
survive.
like Reggie's got his 4-barrel shotgun, Ash has his chainsaw, and Bert's got everything.
When was the first Evil Dead?
The first Evil Dead came out in like early 80s, maybe late 70s.
There's a kid screaming outside right now.
It would have been around this. I'm pretty sure it would have been around the same time as the first Phantasm.
Because there's I feel like a lot of nods to Evil Dead in this series. I mean,
There's certainly one in.
Besides the fact that his name Sam Raimi shows up in the other movie.
Yeah. The second one, there's a full-on Raimi shot of like the ghost like following from his like point of view while people try to close the door in front of him and it's barreling through.
Yeah, Evil Dead was 1981, so this precedes it. So this, not to say where Evil Dead got the idea from or anything, but this was the like get your chainsaw.
Right.
So this is
there's no chainsaw in the first one. It's in the second one.
fine.
I'm just saying.
Maybe you're right.
I am right.
Maybe you're right.
You don't have to be afraid to admit I'm right.
I'm not afraid. I just won't do it.
Just you don't need to
Okay,
be,
so the
scared.
kid, they're going to go to the sheriff.
Wait.
We're going to be up all night.
I don't care.
It's going to be a short podcast.
No, I don't give a
not.
shit. No, you're just going to skip over this whole finger turns into a fly scene?
That's what I'm getting at.
No, but that is before the sheriff. Because
there is no sheriff. They never get to the sheriff.
Oh, you're
They're
right.
going to go show...
This is the part you skipped and then
he shows it to Jody.
That's the part. Because, like, every other fucking movie, what do you expect? He opens the box and the finger's gone.
Right.
That's what would happen.
Or it's like melted.
Or something.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, sure, Mike, whatever. Like, you crazy asshole. Opens it, sees it immediately, instantaneous. Like, okay, I believe you.
Yeah.
Let's go to the sheriff. And I liked that. They're brothers. Like, yeah, you're my little brother and you're acting kind of crazy, but you're still my brother and you show me a fucking severed finger that's still wiggling around in a box and that means something's weird.
And then, of course, like, go get your stuff and I'll meet you downstairs. And then he goes and looks at the box again, and he opens it, and it's this fucking huge monster fly. Not huge. Well, for a fly, yes.
It's pretty big.
It's as big as like a fist.
It's a bird. It's like a...
Yeah, it's as big as like a fist.
It's like a pigeon.
It's my fist. It's
your fist, yes, your fist is the size of a pigeon.
It's in the shape of a pigeon, too. It's weird when I make a fist. People just
Kyle
like,
has weird fists. You make a fist at somebody goes, where'd this pigeon come from?
I was diagnosed with a pigeon fist as a child.
Well, that's it. That's the dumbest joke of the podcast. We did it. We can all go home now.
You've heard of crow's feet? You've heard of pigeon toad? I got you all beat. I got a pigeon fist.
Pigeon fist. I think that's my new avatar going forward. That's my new screen name.
Any artist out there, you want to draw us a pigeon fist? Like, make that our thing.
Okay. Oh, man. All right. So this is some good old classic, old-fashioned horror filmmaking where it's all the actors, right? Because
so like what immediately happens afterwards is the fly buzzes around and he goes like, huh? And you see it slowly climbing up over the top of his head. Like it crests his headline.
Yeah.
That's a pretty good shot.
Yeah.
You're right. They trap it in a shirt and it has to just like pretend that it's like
they're trying to hold on to something that's flying around and really strong.
I don't know where you would ever think I'm going to shove this thing in the garbage disposal. Like that's not you smash it, you lock it in a drawer, you throw it in the refrigerator.
That's not what you do when a pigeon gets caught, when a sparrow flies into your house and you're trying to
yeah, and then of course it doesn't work and it comes out of the thing and then Reggie sees it and now Reggie's like, I believe you too.
Yes. Now we're all on board.
They have to kill it and stab it in the garbage disposal.
Oh, that reminds me. One thing again that I love about movies like this is nobody ever says motherfucker, but people say mother, and it's a charming thing that nobody does anymore, and I enjoy it.
Like, give me an example.
Like, no, we can't do that. That guy's one strong mother. Like, they do it like 3 or 4 times in this movie, and I think you're right. I love it.
I feel like Reggie uses the MF a lot.
No, not maybe later, but not certainly not in the first movie. That's like when I got to the 5th one, I actually note he started cursing a lot, and I think this is kind of strong. I didn't feel like this character's like that.
No, he's been through some shit.
I guess, yeah. Get out of my fucking car. I'm like, whoa, Reggie.
Yeah.
You're the ice cream man.
He's not anymore. Well, he's the ice cream man. Okay, so
now
they split up.
Changed.
Of course, they split up.
Yeah.
And Jody goes to investigate using his Colt 1911.
Yeah.
Fucking, this guy don't put anything down. I don't got to worry about it. I do.
Again, adolescent, like, my cool gun. Like, it's not.
Well,
it's not macho though. None of it comes off as macho to me. It all comes off as more like kids playing with toys.
He gives like the shotgun to Mike, and he's like, what about you? And he's like, don't worry, I got my Colt, whatever. And
right,
it's a 1911.
But like an adult thing to say would have just been like, don't worry about it, I have this.
Yeah.
But instead, it's like, I've got this like Colt.
To be fair, a 1911 is a very strong. It's like saying it's not quite, but it's like saying, don't worry, I have my Desert Eagle. You know what I mean? It's not like an M9 or Beretta. This is a 45. Shoots big bullets, 357 Magnum, you got to say this thing has power. I respect the movie. It was the 70s, right? So freewheeling, but there's a message. He says to him, don't aim at someone unless you intend to shoot, and don't shoot unless you intend to kill.
I'm going to blow your fucking mind right now. Are you ready? Are you ready?
Yeah.
Because my fiance was watching this movie with me, and as soon as he said that line, he said, oh, he's Kyle.
What? She said that?
That's what she said.
Why?
I don't know, but clearly she got something right because you clearly connected with that line.
I don't spend much time with your fiance. Well, we went to we went and hung out.
Yeah, but I talk about you all the time.
Right, but I mean, we went and hung out at a cabin for 2 days this last weekend. So that's like the most she's seen me in years. That's just funny that would happen.
It wasn't a dig. She just said like,
no, I know
that just sounds like something that Kyle was like, yeah.
Well, that's a phrase. I think they teach that to people in gun safety. It's like, you don't aim unless you intend to shoot. You don't shoot unless you intend to kill. He said, don't aim at a man unless you intend to shoot him, and don't shoot him unless you intend to kill him.
Right.
Proper gun safety, even though it was the 70s, that was a good thing to say. I applaud.
All right. Golf clap.
Let's not talk about guns right now. It's probably not a good time.
Oof. Yeah.
So,
God, way to bring the fucking room down, man.
Hashtag bringing the room down.
Moving on.
I hate people who talk like that. Like, honestly, like, not as a joke. They're like, hashtag lit. I hope you die. Hashtag I hope you get hit by a train. I hope your car stalls and the train smashes you to bits.
Does that happen to anybody anymore, you think?
Oh, I'm around.
There's got to be a statistic for it.
Oh, hit by trains?
Yeah, I mean, it happens all the time in movies.
My wife just told me a story yesterday about some, was it National Guard or like sheriff or like young ROTC, something like that, cadet died, got hit by a train or something like that. And my wife was like, bullshit. If you get hit by a train, it means 1, you were either like running with your headphones on, 2, you were fucking dumb, weren't paying attention and fell asleep, you were drunk and fell down on the tracks, or 4, someone tied you to the tracks. Most likely no one tied you to the tracks. It was your own fault. Let me just say this. I have a family friend who was killed by a train. This is a true story, right? It's weird.
Hashtag true story train.
Train story.
True train story.
My older brother's friend, like his best friend for many years at that time, died and got hit by a train like through like 50 feet, whatever. They said, sad, sucks, but it was his fucking fault. He was drunk. He walked out. They think he was trying to put pennies on the track. He tripped, fell, hit his head, passed out on the train tracks, right?
Yeah.
So they said there's no one to blame but himself. And of course, it's sad, but even the people who loved him are like, they know why, To
be clear, it wasn't, do people get hit by trains? It was specifically, my car has stalled out on the train tracks.
Seems to still happen all the time. You find videos. I have a running joke in my life from once, I hope you get hit by a train. And it's probably bad to say that because I actually know someone that died from a train. But anyways, life lesson to you. If you get hit by a train, we're going to point and laugh because it's probably your own fault.
Well, you say, I hope you get killed by reaching your hand into a vending machine to get something that's not coming out, and then your arm gets stuck there and nobody finds you for days, and then you die of starvation and thirst. Because there's a statistic for that, too.
Yeah. Chew your own arm off.
Yeah, just chew your own arm off. Didn't you see
127 hours?
That's what I couldn't think of them.
Well, he had a knife. Anyways, Phantasm. This is what happens when we haven't seen. Well, we saw each other for 2 whole days. Actually, I was like, we haven't seen each other in a while. We ended up talking about other stuff. Phantasm. So I wrote, the car pulls up, and there's no driver, and Michael takes forever to show himself. Unnecessary car chase.
This is kind of a weird second act thing. I don't even know if this movie has act structure, but yeah.
Jody goes to the mausoleum to go
Jody goes on his own now. That's right. Yeah.
Oh, because he leaves he locks the kid in his bedroom by jamming a screwdriver.
No, that's not true. He gets left with like the girls or whatever, and
no, that's later.
Oh, okay.
He goes.
You're right. That is later.
It's not safe. You have to go by. So he like jams the screwdriver into the door,
right?
Which somehow prevents it from opening.
We did that trick, but with you could do it with like a washcloth.
You have to do it the other direction though, because like he pulls the door. That would be pushing the door. I don't know.
I guess you're right.
To me, I was like, come on.
I don't know.
But Mike goes in there and then he runs out after like being confronted, and then the car drives up and there's no driver in it.
Yeah, you're right.
And then Mike's like, got the gun pointed at the car and he's walking around.
Well, what about Reggie ended up with one of the things in the back of his ice cream truck?
We'll get to that, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah, that's right after this. So, and then of course Mike's like, "Hey, it's me. I was driving the car.
Right.
You just couldn't see me.
Right, because I'm short. Yeah.
Like I couldn't get the door open. I was trying to lean over the seat. And the door was stuck. But it was like unnecessarily scary. For the payoff was not.
Sure.
It wasn't good. And there's a car chase. I lost where I am on my notes.
Oh, here's another anecdote. So Don Coscarelli, the reason he started
They find out the dwarf was actually Tommy, who was the guy that was killed in the beginning. They put Tommy, after they crashed the car, was shooting at him, they put Tommy in the back of the ice cream truck and lock him in.
And that's when they split up and Michael ends up with whoever, his neighbors or whatever.
That's when they leave him with the Sally's Antique Store. And then my question is, who's Sally?
I don't know.
I said, is this the grandkid with the psychic? But it's not.
It's not, no.
And then he finds an old photo in this antique store of the old man, or the tall man.
Yeah.
And it does that scene from the original It movie where like the photo's kind of alive.
Yeah.
And he's like, he's been around a long time. Anyways, what's your funny, cute story?
Don Coscarelli decided he wanted to make horror movies because he actually made like a movie before this and probably like a student movie before that or something like that. and he had like one scare or something like that in his movie, and he liked so much the way that the audience reacted to the one scare, he got like addicted to it. He was like, oh, well, that's all I wanted. Why even make another movie? Like he got power hungry on the idea that you could control the audience by scaring them. That was all. This is just kind of a neat story.
Okay, so he finds a photo and then says he convinces the girls to drive him back, and then they get attacked in their bug, their VW bug, and then the girls get like kidnapped. And
they just ride off with them. Yeah.
Yeah, and then he gets thrown out the back window of the bug.
That's right.
Again, there you go, out of the back window of a car. And he's all cut up. His face is cut up pretty good. This is after they find Reggie's ice cream truck knocked over, and I was like, no, you killed Reggie. I don't want to watch this movie anymore. But luckily, Reggie's alive. I don't remember. He just like got away, I guess. I don't know.
Well, he's like Deus Ex Machina Man. He's like later... They save the girls, right? At some point, they must reunite.
He says that he does.
That's what I'm saying. Later on in the movie, it's just like, oh, they just ran off into the bushes. They got away to safety. And I'm just like, wow, Deus Ex Machina Reggie. That's pretty good.
This is when he locks Mike in his room. After he's like, because he's been like hurt. He's like, hey, I got to keep you, whatever. This is cool. He has a shotgun shell in his pocket from before. He tapes a tack to it and tapes it to a hammer and then just swings the hammer at the door. And so that the shell hits and then the hammer ignites the shell and blows a hole in the door. It's pretty fucking cool.
Pretty classic. Like, I don't know what it is about horror movies, but they always have this connection to like MacGyver shit.
Yeah. Have you ever seen this movie? I don't know what it is, and I can't remember. I feel like it's somewhat of a foreign film or whatever, like in Eastern Europe somewhere, and they're playing with bullets, and they're hitting them with the hammer in a vise, and they're shooting them. And at one point, there's like young kids. He's holding one of the kids down in front of the vise, and the other kid's holding a hammer, and he's going to hit the bullet.
No, that sounds awful, though.
And I don't remember why or what it's about. It's a movie, not a documentary. It's not like some scary, whatever. And he's like making him say something or like pledge his allegiance to their like, you're going to be one of our guys, or like, don't tell your mom we did this thing or something like that. I was trying to remember what this movie is, and I don't know. Maybe someone else can help in the comments.
Maybe somebody else will figure it out.
I feel like it's in English, but I feel like they're like foreigners. They're like
it's the Tribe
European.
prequel.
Yeah. Oh my God. Anyways, okay, so smashes the thing. This is where I said the music's kind of odd. The synth and piano and sick drum beats and choir synth. I feel like this is something we would have used when we were making video games.
Sure.
And you're like I said, inspired by Goblin. I can imagine this song being in Halftime Will Travel.
Yeah.
Google that.
Don't Google it.
Don't Google it. Vimeo search it. Right.
I guess so.
The videos are still up on
there
Vimeo.
somewhere.
Gets thrown in the back of a hearse, shoots the window, and jumps out. So there's at least the second time he jumps out the back of the car window.
This is the thing where he shoots the tire from the inside of the thing, which I thought was
Yeah.
kind of interesting.
And then the car hits a pole with the tall man driving.
Explodes.
No. The moment the bumper touches the pole, the car just blows up.
Yeah.
Like you could tell it's like one of those cuts of like stock footage of an explosion or something. It's pretty bad.
This is the beginning of our exploding cars.
Yeah. But I mean, it's one of those things where it's funny how fast it hits and boom, blows up. You know?
Yeah.
All right. The dad's missing. There's a silver ball floating. Jody shoots it and explodes in a pink mist. Dad's missing. I hate when I write notes and I don't even know what they mean.
It means because they go to check the...
Oh, the grave of the parents.
Yeah, or we're not... It's when it's in a wall. I don't know I guess that's still a grave.
It's a mausoleum.
Mausoleum.
It's where
I don't really call it the actual unit.
It's where my brother-in-law is, unfortunately. And I've never been and I never will go. It's too sad. So... Sorry.
You're just bring the room down person tonight.
Yeah. My real life, I guess my life has had some stuff in it. My life's pretty boring, but there are a few things that I can talk about which aren't great. So yeah, they think their parents, they're like, oh, did the tall man take our parents and fuck with them? The dad's missing. We see the silver ball, and Jody shoots the ball and it explodes into a pink mist. That's what it is. Reggie's alive. He said he escaped from like down in the basement of the mausoleum and rescued a bunch of other girls. Which also
there's a whole other movie that happens that we don't see.
And I opened a door for them and they ran off in the bushes. I wrote, is he real?
Yeah, because it
seemed like a trap.
Modern movies teach us the language of that scene is he is to be
not trusted.
Not trusted. Right. Yeah. But no, it's just because it's dream logic.
Yeah. No, it's just we didn't have the budget for it. It's good enough.
They shot all that stuff, and then they had to have him say this because they had to cut it.
All right, here's where the movie takes a huge turn. 90 degrees. Just whop! They open this door, and it's fucking the white room from Resident Evil.
Yeah.
The like Resident Evil 4 and 5, the clean rooms, and Resident Evil 5, the video game, pure white room, light and nothing else but whiteness. And then you see these containers that have the dwarves in them, where you learn that
Does
they're
also
taking
kind of look like what eventually ends up in Return of the
Living Dead. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
They're taking people's bodies out of the graves, compressing them down to dwarf size, sucking their blood out. Well, we don't learn that till another movie, but they're being replaced with yellow blood.
Right.
And then there's just two things two poles, like a tuning fork, sticking out of the ground. And Mike puts his hand in it because he put his hand on the box and said, "Don't fear it," like before, or whatever. Which didn't
set up and payoff.
Didn't really pay off for anything. And he falls into it, but gets caught by Jody, and he sees this.
It does pay off because later, when the tall man is projecting visions at him in quicksand and stuff like that, he's got to realize that it's actually all just in his head.
Yeah, he gets a glimpse of this red world. Just rocks.
Yeah,
another
planet,
a bunch of
or
dwarves,
another dimension.
And we use the term dwarf because that's what the movie says.
Yeah,
I don't know what the proper thing is.
They didn't give us a name for them, so
right. They call them dwarves.
They're killer Jawas.
Yeah, because they have the little robes, the hoods on, and there's a bunch of them. So from that quick thing he saw, he goes, "Oh, I know everything. It's gravity is going to smash them down. So he had to smash them down so they can work on this gravity planet with lots of gravity. It's also really hot, and they're his slaves." I learned that by seeing this planet for 3 seconds.
How would you have known that unless he told you?
What?
How would you have known all those things unless he told you that?
Who told you what?
The character.
Yeah.
You wouldn't have known any of those things if he didn't tell you.
Oh, if he didn't tell me the audience.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. There's no way he just figured this all out on his own.
Hey, it's cool. And now it's a science fiction movie.
Oh, yeah, that's what I said. It got real sci-fi real quick. Like, it went from a horror movie to a sci-fi movie real quick.
It's 1979. Tell me what other movies are doing this kind of crazy, weird shit back then.
I don't know. I wasn't alive back then.
You're right. And now
Alien came out this year. Alien was doing sci-fi monster shit.
The same thing.
And then Reggie touches the poles with his hands, much like he touched the tuning fork.
Yes.
And all of a sudden, the wind starts sucking everything up into the portal area, and then they have to run away. And
Which never happens again.
Yeah.
In any of the other movies.
It said, I just wrote, and it starts sucking everything up, ? I don't really know what that's all about. And then the house just gone.
Yeah.
Or the mausoleum
It went back to its home planet.
Funeral home.
Its people needed it.
All right. That's not the end of the movie.
No.
It seems like it would be a logical point. The girl who killed Tommy is about to stab Jody, but Reggie's tuning touch stopped her. But then when Reggie finds her on the ground, she stabs Reggie. So it didn't really stop him. The tall man's still there. Or no. Sorry. The house hasn't disappeared yet. They all run outside looking for each other. They were in the dark or something like that. And then Reggie finds the girl.
Oh, there's that part where the lights go out and everybody's like, huh? And then the lights come back on and everybody's in different places.
Yes. And then Reggie runs outside after touching the tuning forks, finds the lady. She stabs Reggie, and I was like, you son of a bitch. He made it through the whole movie. He's not dead. Jody and Mike are like in the bushes, and he goes, we can't save him. He's dead.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so then you turned it off.
Yeah,
you didn't even watch the rest of the movies.
Yeah, they're just like, no, he's dead. Mike just like, we can't save him, he's dead. And then the next shot is literally the car driving away. There was no like, get to the car. It's just like, gone, and then the house disappears. It's just, this is, I talk about like a 70s movie with kind of bad editing, right? They split up again to lead the tall man to an old mine shaft to drop him 1,000 feet into the ground and send him to hell.
Are you sure that this isn't the part where he locks his kid?
Yes, I'm sure.
Okay.
How do you know by now that splitting up is a fucking terrible idea?
Oh, because he says, I'm going to go and get it set up and you stay here and look for ammo or something.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm going to go hide the mine shaft hole or something. And then, of course, what happens is the tall man like breaks through the window.
And says, boy,
yeah.
You played a good game, boy, but now the game is up.
And then he's chasing Mike, and Mike jumps over the hole in the ground, and the tall man falls into the hole. And then rocks start falling down the hill and land in the hole because Jody was up on the hill pushing the rocks into the hole.
Teamwork.
Yeah. I guess that's one way to do it. And Reggie isn't dead. It was all a dream, ? So we literally transition from this scene to they're sitting in front of the fireplace with Reggie and Mike is saying, he took my parents and he took Jody. And you're like, wait a minute, Jody's not dead. What the fuck are you talking about? And then Reggie just goes, Jody died in a car crash last year. And I'm going, what the fuck is this? Like, literally, it was all a dream, kind of.
Here's the problem. Because people think of Phantasm I don't think anybody thinks of it by itself anymore. They consider it all part of this franchise. But Don Coscarelli himself has said that when he ever thinks of Phantasm, he's always thought of the first movie as a self-contained one and done thing. And they made more because, they're going to make movies. But he never thought of it as like a franchise starter or anything like that.
Right.
So as far as that movie is concerned, all by itself, it's supposed to be like, oh, all this stuff, Reggie has been his guardian since his entire family, including his brother, was killed in a car accident. And
then you see a scene of him looking at his brother's grave from the beginning. Which
right.
Okay.
And so all of them died, and he's invented that he had this dream, this scary dream about his brother leaving, right? And his brother is going to go away, and he doesn't want his brother to leave, and all this stuff. And this bad guy that's all about death and funerals and all these kind of things. So you're like, okay, it was all just a dream. But then
Whoa. And so he's like, don't worry, buddy. I'll take care of you. And so this is where it gets into the weird pedophilia feeling kind of moment.
No, they're good friends,
okay,
man.
I wrote down. Let me see what I wrote. I said, I like Reggie and his sincerity. Shut up. So I like Reggie and his sincerity to help Mike. And even though he can't replace Jody, he's going to try, and they're going to hit the road. Come on, buddy. Let's just go hit the road. Let's hug it out.
Trip.
Let's go on the road. And I'm like, I'm feeling this. This is good. I like Reggie. He seems sincere, but this also feels really dirty. Like, this is almost like you go, hey, buddy, why don't you take your pants off while you're at it?
And this is also the difference between the 70s and now.
Let me just.
This year comes out of the 70s, everybody goes like, oh, yeah, it's a nice, sincere moment. Nobody really thinks about it. And now we've been through enough shit. We go, look at this, and we go, nobody can enjoy this. Everybody knows Michael Jackson. This is not okay.
Let's just say
he's an ice cream man.
Let's just say I'm a state-mandated reporter through my profession. I have to have training every year about how to identify and report people who may be sexual predators to children. And one of the things in there was like
hanging out in dark rooms lit by fireplace with
playing a guitar for your kid is like, they'll be nice to kids because they'll test the limits. They'll test their boundaries. And I'm just like, I have to report this. This is bad.
Everything was firing.
Yeah.
All your alarms are going off.
It crosses that line to, again, in the 70s, probably just like, no, it's a touching moment. And you're just like, this is not his brother. This is some dude who's like, you're my kid. You're my brother now.
Yeah.
You
can have all the ice cream you want.
Yeah. Wow. Gross. And Mike goes to his room, sees a tall man in the mirror. Hands break through the different mirror and grab Mike, and they pull him into the darkness.
Oh, was it a dream, or wasn't it?
We've seen multiple times, and then you're right, the end.
Yeah.
More piano and synth with drums.
Yeah, this movie's rad.
My last note was it wasn't actually scary.
That's okay. How was it?
Sorry, I watched an interview with Angus and Don, and he was talking about, like, he just wanted to make a horror movie. Mm-hmm. He wanted to scare people, whatever. And I was like, I thought about it, I'm like, problem is it wasn't actually scary.
It would have been scary in the 70s.
Right. Again, the moments that are tense are like when he's in the house alone and it's just quiet.
I hate
the monster stuff. Is not scary.
I'm not saying you don't have a valid argument, but I hate that argument. I don't. You still get scared by things. Like,
right.
There's still movies you can watch or things where you get scared, which is actually. And you can, if this sounds interesting in the comments, maybe we can egg Kyle on to do this. I want to do a podcast that's completely themed around movies that will scare the shit out of you.
I won't do it. Unless you watch them like with me in the same room.
I'll watch them with you in the same room. Whatever.
We'll
watch The Ring. We'll watch.
But I've already seen those. So
I'm trying to think of things that are like actually that you're really scary.
I had to watch something with the light on the other night. I don't remember what it was. Or I was playing a game. It was just like I was like, I'm gonna turn the light on. Also, sleeping in that fucking cabin upstairs was fucking scary.
I don't get scared by anything anymore.
I went out in the woods to go do pictures while you guys were playing a board game, and I was at any moment was ready to just snap and just take off, sprinting back to the cabin. It was scary out there.
I don't have that response, at least not with films. I haven't been scared by a scary movie in a long, 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 long time.
You're also dead inside in a weird way, in a way that I'm not dead inside, because I'm pretty damn dead inside.
Yeah.
But you're like, again, when I tell a story where you used to not lock yourself, you used to go to
like that's your thing instead of you want to bring up to people that I've flown across the country to go spend the night in abandoned mental asylums.
Yeah, but you on like a tour group.
I guess.
No. You used to put yourself in like utility closets and turn the lights off in an underground parking structure to see what would happen. Like,
nothing happened.
All right. Well, are you still Ryan, or have you been replaced by an alien?
I don't know. Did I come back and say like, what happened to all those people? Well, they got away.
With that said, I'm really excited to do another horror series eventually on the Silent Night, Deadly Night series.
Oh, yeah, I want to watch the second one.
Because Reggie is in Silent Night, Deadly Night 4.
There's 4 of them? Oh, my God.
I think there's more than 4.
Okay.
Also, Reggie
Those
is
are hard to find.
Reggie is from your hometown, not my hometown, even though I live like 2 miles from the border.
Just so you guys don't understand, like, I live in Springfield and Kyle lives in Shelbyville.
Well, Shelbyville, my ass. But I mean, isn't Shelbyville like? Well, it's not. The joke doesn't really apply in terms of like stereotypes, but I get what you mean.
What's
because Springfield's the dumb city, and technically, like,
where do they live in Parks and Rec?
Pawnee. But again, Eagleton is like, but those are like the rich upscale. I don't live in a rich upscale city.
No, that's why I didn't call you.
Your city's more expensive than mine.
That's why I didn't call you Eagleton. I called you Shelbyville.
Yeah,
because it's basically the same town, just different.
Yeah, exactly. It's the same one but different.
Okay.
Yeah, neither one of us, like, I live in a nice neighborhood, I guess, compared to poor people, but I mean, I don't have, like, whatever. I feel bad because
people grow up where I live and then they can't afford to live there and then they go get a house where you live.
Exactly. Do you remember Irvin? We used to work back then. Irvin, he painter and maintenance.
Maybe
he did some work in my wife's parents' house, and he's like, "Oh, this is where the rich people live." And I was like, "Oh, like that's." I feel bad because he's a good guy. He has 4 kids and he works hard and whatever. But I'm like, this is not a rich neighborhood. It is compared to where you live, but like my wife worked in Newport. That's where rich people live.
Yeah.
Like, she worked for a family that had a $4 million home. Like, they own a Ferrari dealership. They own Balboa Pier. Like, if you want to take not the Catalina Express, but the competitor to that, they own that. Those are rich people. We have 2 middle-class jobs, like, very basic. I don't know why we're talking about this. Phantasm 2. Because Reggie was born and raised in our area.
What's the difference between not saying it and saying it? If you're going to say it, all you got to do is look up and see where he's from.
It's a very big city.
I'm just saying.
You're totally right. I did not think about that. You've said it before. This fucking store is in the city.
I know.
You talked about
this is why I didn't think it was a big deal, but you felt like you had to go back and cut it.
Because I don't live in that store. I don't live in that city. You live in that city. You work in that city. I work in a
They're
different
going to put
city.
all the pieces together, and they're going to find out where you live.
Phantasm 2, 1988. We're going to go faster. The first movie always gets a lot of time. Hopefully we can go a little bit quicker now.
Yeah.
All right. Interesting. These movies usually start off with a recap of the previous movie. Oh, I like Phantasm, I guess.
Yeah.
It's got its problems structurally
movie.
and how is film and camera and grain and acting and all stuff. It's an old movie.
Yeah.
It's much like Dawn of the Dead. I love Dawn of the Dead. Someone else can watch and go, man, these are like bad actors. I'm like, yes, I get it. I can look past it. Not as good as Dawn of the Dead.
No, it's not as good as Dawn of the Dead.
I enjoy it because Reggie saved the movie for me. And Mike, the actor as a kid, was really good.
He's really endearing and
he cusses, but he's really on the ball with shit. Like you said, like, that mother's strong. Like, he's got good, whatever. Phantasm 2. It has been 9 years in real life. I forgot that. I didn't know what years these movies were made. So when I saw the actor had been replaced, Mike was now older with a new actor, I went, oh, that's fucking bullshit. And then I realized, oh, it's been 9 years.
Right.
Oh, maybe this is the same guy. And then I looked it up and I was like, oh, it's a different actor.
Yeah, I never question that in a movie. Usually when you have a movie where it's a child actor, you get to the next movie and it's going to be a completely different actor.
Because it's usually been like 2 or 3 years, but in the movie...
Also, normally when you make a sequel to a movie, you don't wait 10 years to do it, and you can't, like, your child actor is going to...
be older.
Right, but it's going to be noticeably older. Like,
or it's the other way around where the movie does take place later in time,
right?
But the kid has not grown enough.
Right. That's what I meant.
Like, you make a sequel 2 years later, but you're like, the sequel takes place 10 years later,
right?
But the actor's not old enough. At first, I was like, turns out I like the guy who played Mike. I thought he was he
was okay.
He's fine. So I was actually bummed at first, and then I was like, fine, I made up for it. Continue where we left off with the drawers trying to drag Mike and Reggie... and Reggie's trying to help. So, okay, yeah, we literally pick up right where the end of the first movie.
Yes. Go get your stuff.
Yeah. Go upstairs. We're going to hit the road. And then the tall man and his dwarves show up.
Right.
And Reggie is turned into fucking MacGyver.
Right.
And, like, superhero man. Not superhero like Superman. More like quick thinking and resourceful.
Right. So
he climbs the laundry chute.
Whose house are they in?
I have no idea.
I'm going to say it's Reggie's house. Because it doesn't look like the house from the first movie.
But it doesn't make any sense later.
He's got, unless he has had 2 houses.
Remember when we said this series doesn't actually really make any sense? This is where it starts. The thing that happens is Reggie is in the room with all the drawers. After he beats up one of them, there's like 5 more. And he's like, shit. touches the pilot lights on the stove, puts it out. There's a fireplace going. He turns the gas on high and runs away. Climbs a laundry chute, beats up a dwarf, saves Mike. They all find him and they chase him and they jump out of the second-story window together through glass. Again, another character going out through a window. And the house blows up. Just completely blows up, which is what would happen.
Yeah.
Ever seen a house blow up from a gas explosion?
All the time.
Really?
No, I don't.
Oh. Not even a fire. I saw one that was like from New Jersey. It was just like,
You did it in Child's Play.
No. I mean in real life.
Oh, no.
Like I saw it, like I think it was in New Jersey, like they had a gas leak. And everyone was like, get out of the house. And the house just exploded. It wasn't a fireball. It blew.
When were you in New Jersey?
I was on video.
Oh.
Like on the internet.
Oh.
God. And a gas explosion without the fire is a forceful explosion. It blows the shit out of everything. Like that house just disintegrated and just, it's not like, 2x4s were flying around. It's like, no, the house is broken to 1,000 pieces. Ever seen a water heater explode?
Nope.
They have enough force to like shoot themselves.
Is there like a YouTube channel for,
Probably. Like if a water heater goes off, it has enough pressure to like launch like 300 feet in the air. It'll just go through the house.
Uh-huh.
Like if it just takes off like a rocket.
That's kind of terrifying to have something like that in your house.
Well, it's not in my house. It's outside. But yes, it is terrifying. They tell you, water heaters are important. Keep them safe because they will kill you.
They'll go shoot into your house like a fucking missile.
They'll wait till you go to bed. They'll shoot off in the sky and then come land on you in
like
bed.
a bullet bill. Bullet bill. Yeah.
So yeah, the house blows up. And
whose house? I don't know.
Whatever
house they were in at the end of the first movie.
Assume it's Reggie's house.
I assumed it was Michael's house
because he went upstairs to his room. But what is he just staying with Reggie? Maybe.
I'm going to just go ahead and assume that it's Michael's house because the idea of Reggie having two houses.
Why would it
explode?
Why would
is just too ridiculous.
Okay, but again, you're getting ahead of yourself.
Yes, I am.
The third movie. We're not going to get there yet.
That's not the third movie. That's right here in this movie.
Okay, well maybe it is. I don't know. I'll look to my notes. The house explodes.
Yeah.
We're introduced to a girl who's been having visions for 8 years of Mike and the Tall Man. This feels like
she doesn't exist.
This is Hellraiser 2.
This stuff is.
Yeah.
It's super boring. You could cut all of her stuff out of the movie, out of the second act.
Or you could fast forward with the subtitles on.
Or you could do that.
Which sucked because the fourth movie didn't have subtitles. I had to go on the internet and find a subtitle file, and then it was not synced correctly and had to resync the file to watch this movie. Now Mike is older and he's a new actor. Keep him. Mike talks his way out of a psychiatric facility. So this
pretends he's sane.
Okay, you're right. So this is what's going to happen. Yeah. He's
been in a mental health facility. Who put him there?
Years.
Who put him there? Who knows?
Reggie.
Maybe.
It seems like.
Did he? I guess so. I don't know how you just forget being attacked by dwarves and blowing up your own house.
But, okay, this is why this. You're right. It makes no sense. He's in there. He's talking to the doctor. He's like, and it's cool because you get the inner monologue where he's just saying, just tell the doctor what he wants to hear. You'll get out of here, right?
It's the only time I think you ever have like inner monologue. This is like, well, fuck it, who cares? Like, just do it.
And then he gets out of the mental facility and immediately goes to a graveyard, start digging up graves.
Isn't it specifically? No, it isn't. Is it just a random grave?
It's just where he was at, wherever he was at.
Okay.
And see, I wrote it seems Reggie put him there, yet Reggie saw it all too, right? Because they were saying everything that happened was all delusion in your mind because of the stress of your parents dying and Jody dying. Oh, that was another. Was it here or was it later? They repurposed this series also, another staple of the series. They repurposed scenes from previous movies and completely changed the meaning. So the car crash, maybe this is the third movie. They talk about how Jody. Yeah, it's okay. It's gonna be in the third movie. They're going to replay this scene of Reggie talking to young Mike, telling him that his Jody died in a car crash and not from the Tall Man. They're going to show the footage of a car crash in the second movie that Reggie and Mike are in and repurpose that footage of a car crash to show Jody dying in a car crash in the third movie. Do you know what I'm talking about?
No.
If this sounds complicated, it really is. The beginning of the third movie is going to reopen on the Reggie Mike scene in the front of the fireplace, the pedophile. They're going to go boy sex, right? And then he tells him Jody died in a car crash. This is like I said, they're playing this again in the third movie. They're going to show footage from the second movie of a car crash that had Mike and Reggie in the car. They're going to show that car crash scene when Reggie says Jody died in a car crash.
Really?
This happens at least 3 times or 4 times in the series where they repurpose.
But it's not to imply that remember that scene back then? Actually, Jodie was in that car. They're just
taking,
using footage. That
yes.
All right, well, you can do what you got to do.
But rather than like stock footage, they're using footage from another part of the movie that's not that part.
They had that footage.
Right?
Do you have any idea how much stock footage costs? In 1980,
it was the 80s, man.
It was the 80s. Hey, it was the 80s. We're actually going to get a chance to say that. I'm going to get to say that it was the 80s and it was the 90s. Actually, both these movies.
Yes, so that happens a lot. Anyways, that's for later.
So Michael has a psychic connection with
this girl.
Why? Don't know. Is it important? Don't know. Is it going to be mean anything? No. Does it matter to the plot at all?
It keeps
kinda.
It keeps them going somewhere.
It does. It is the biggest MacGuffin ever. It's not a MacGuffin. Is it a MacGuffin? I don't fucking know. I think it's a MacGuffin.
A mulligan?
No, a MacGuffin. MacGuffin. I think is a MacGuffin is a story term for just something. It's just there to like make things happen, and that's it. Like it's.
Some mulligans when you do something, you're like, oh fuck it, just do it over.
Yeah, mulligan is when you do something over. Yeah.
You just change it. Yeah, you're right. MacGuffin's just like, I don't know. It's introduce this thing. It'll solve our problems.
Yeah, I mean, sorta. Yeah, basically.
So he goes to the graveyard. He digs up graves, and Reggie, I knew I'd find you here. You know.
Yeah.
And of course he's like, but Reggie, look, the graves are empty.
Right.
Isn't that weird?
Yeah.
It's all in your head, man.
Right.
And then there's a grave digger here. I need to get out of here. So here's where it gets really weird. They're driving back. Reggie's like, hey, man, he doesn't say it, but it's like, my daughter's excited to meet you.
Excited to meet Uncle Mike.
Sarah's Uncle Mike. The kids are down. The wife.
She made a turkey.
My wife's sister, they're all cooking. And he tells him the story in the car about him blowing up his house. And Reggie says, and this is why I really don't get this. He goes, this is in the graveyard, actually. Reggie goes, I blew up my house fighting dwarves. Like, who would believe that, man?
Right.
So it made it feel like to me that his house did get blown up.
Yeah.
But when they, like, the police showed up.
Reggie was like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Reggie was smart enough not to come off like a crazy person.
And Mike's like, it was dwarves and the tall man. Yeah. And you're like, mental facility, right? But, so Reggie at this point knows there's a story of his house getting blown up. While driving to his house, Mike's like, you gotta get your kids out of your house.
Because he has a vision. He sees a flashback or a vision of the footage from the beginning of the movie.
Yes.
Which makes all this really confusing. Because I'm like, did they just go back in time? What happened?
So at this point, did Reggie's house actually blow up? Or did it not blow up and Reggie was just saying that Mike is delusional thinking they blew up in Reggie's house?
I don't know.
Whatever, right? I don't know either. And he goes, you got to get your kids out of the house. Oh, my God, it's not safe. And they're driving down the street, and the fucking house just blows up.
Yeah.
And then what comes out of this is Reggie saying, oh, man, Mike, you had a vision. I believe you.
Right.
Let's go fight this tall man.
Yeah.
I don't fucking know what's happening at this point. I didn't see this vision of his kids getting blown up. He's just talking about what happened that didn't happen, but now it's happening. I don't fucking know.
I have no idea. Sign off in the comment, or, sound off in the comments if somebody has like the number one with a bullet explanation for this stuff, because it's the best I got is everything that you just said, actually.
I feel like the script,
that's it.
It got rewritten somehow, and some scenes were filmed in sequence, and then this didn't actually match up, and they just spliced it together. It doesn't mean it's bad. It just makes no sense.
Yeah.
Everything up to this point, I like the graveyard scene, like Reggie's back, Reggie.
It's just funny because the movie keeps doing these things where you didn't need to do that. Like, just like these things that you put out there and then you take them away, and they actually don't do anything, right? Like, the opening scene.
Hey, it's the 80s, man.
It's the 80s. It's the 80s.
Will you say something about the opening scene?
I was just saying that the opening scene is cool, and it fits with the first movie, and like all of that like works, and even just the idea of I still think it's a little bit weird. He could have been in anything. They could have just had him being like a like he grew up in the system, right?
Yeah.
Like, and he's old enough now to leave, and then he hooks back up with Reggie, and you could still even have the thing where Reggie is like, nah, man. I mean, I don't want to fool around with any of that stuff, and then. I mean, or why have him act like that? Why give him a family just to have to be taken away like immediately?
You never see them though. You just hear about them.
And then literally he's like horn dog, like not long after this. Like I don't know how long they've been on the road.
The road's hard. It's hard on the road.
Hard. It's hard living on the road.
It gets hard when you're on the road. That's a double entendre.
Anyway, I guess we're just gonna move on because we have no choice.
Yeah. Okay. This is this where Dawn of the Dead got the idea from? I wasn't for some reason I wasn't paying attention. I missed like 30 seconds. I was probably on my phone reading a text message or something like that. Did they break into a gun store?
Yeah.
Or like a
hardware, like a, I don't know.
Hey man,
Like
it was the 80s.
It was the 80s Walmart.
Guns were in every store, so you just break into like a Dick's Sporting Goods and there's guns and shit in there. He says something like, well, go to town or something like that. Or like
Have go shopping or
it's something crazy. It's just like have at it.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah, they break into a gun store and you get one of those like Rocky montages of them modifying weapons. They're just fucking sawed off and strapping things together, and all that matters, all that comes out of this, because you see better stuff later in the later movies. What comes out of this is I'm assuming the only way I could put this together was 2 double-barrel shotguns taped together, sawed off in the shape of a V, rather than just straight sawed off. A clasp that was like clasped around them to hold them together, like a pipe shit. Like when you have a leaky pipe, you put a piece of rubber and you put
like a metal
clamp
zip tie,
and you
kind of,
yeah. It's a clamp of some sort, like a pipe clamp, and then a fucking vertical grip so you can hold it like what. It's this fucking cross-shaped V quad barreled shotgun.
Very practical.
That's just
It shoots all 4 bullets at the same time.
Yeah. Call them shells.
Call them shells. I
don't know if there's a way to. Okay, I don't remember what movie this is, and it might. I think it's Tremors, where someone has a double barrel shotgun, and they explicitly were like at one point they like cock both of them back and shoot them both, and then later on they cock like one and then have another shot. I don't see the mechanism on this. It only shoots 4 shells at a time. It seems like,
but every bullet hits its target.
Yeah, well, it's every target.
You have 4 targets in front of you. I don't know when Evil Dead 2 came out, but I'm assuming that was Evil Dead 2, I mean, not the first one. Because Evil Dead 2 is sawed-off shotgun and attaching the chainsaw to his hand and groovy, like all that. So
this is where they get the chainsaw. So this is after Evil Dead. I think Evil Dead 2 is like 84, 85.
I don't know.
Oh, God, I got to find it, type it in.
Because if it's not, then I'm going to go ahead and give credit to Phantasm 2 for this stuff.
Oh, well, it was 1987.
Which one?
Evil Dead 2. And this is
1980. After Phantasm 2.
Before. But they're pretty close together, so for all you know, they could have been written side by side. I don't know.
I'm pretty sure Don Coscarelli was a pretty big fan of Evil Dead 2.
Yes, I don't agree. I don't disagree with that.
And this is, again, because of movies like this is a horror thing. Like, I don't know why or how, but this is what, taking, like, modify your weapons to fight vampires. You modify your weapon to fight the Thing or whatever, like traps and, shit.
Speaking of, The Thing, Infection at Outpost 31 is a very good board game.
That's a really good board game.
Hey, you made me captain. It was your fault.
Oh,
you should have known better.
You
never responded to that text message I sent you.
I was busy.
Did
you make that, or did you just find that someplace?
I made that specifically just to send to you. I just want to know what your reaction was. Was it a...
It took me a second, because what does it say? It says stupid human believed that, or
you believe me all along, or something like that.
Yeah.
Can't believe you thought I was one of them, or something like
that. They have a board. In case you didn't know, they have a board game based on the John Carpenter's The Thing movie. It's really cool. And part of the game is you don't know who of the people playing who is a thing and who is a human. And we played it, and I was
four people,
100% certain we were all human at the end of the game, and half of our fucking squad were the things, including one of them, Kyle.
And you made me.
I don't even know it's real anymore.
I did a really good job fooling you. You made me captain at the end too, which means I got to decide who gets. Yeah,
I doomed us all.
My wife knew better. She's like, don't fucking give it to him.
Yeah, she was right.
It's funny because you were portrayed by the 2 people you love most in your life.
I know. It's crazy.
Me and your fiance both were infected.
Jesus, what does that say?
They say sometimes he lays traps for them, which...
Well, they did later on they do the thing where they have like a grenade hooked up to a string.
No. They say the tall man lays traps for them.
Oh, yeah.
As they travel around from town to town. They basically travel around to these towns that are completely destroyed. Like boarded up windows, cars broken in the street, trash blown everywhere. Like
ghost towns.
Day of the Dead.
Yeah.
The scene at the beginning of Day of the Dead. It looks like that. And you think like no one's noticing that town after town after town. It's just
they're like small towns. So they they're just small towns. Nobody notices them.
No one ever drives through there to deliver groceries or anything.
I'd just say if
no one has to refill the gas station or anything.
Banning is just gone one day. You just drive through it all the time. Who cares?
Yeah. Barstow and Banning just disappear off the side of the map. No one cares.
I used to get a milkshake here. What the hell?
Oh well.
Yeah, that's what you would say. You'd say like, "Oh, the economy, damn." Then you keep going. That would be it.
I guess I'm just gonna keep going to Vegas.
You'd have no idea that the fucking tall man had killed everybody.
Yeah, there's an empty graveyard. All the graves are dug up. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
They have a fucking flamethrower.
Yeah.
They made their own flamethrower.
Yeah,
not like they bought one. They 2 tanks taped together.
Yeah.
Mike knows about the girl, the visions. So they go to a mausoleum. It's empty. I think they find a girl and then she disappears. Oh, he sees a girl on the autopsy rack and then she's gone. And then I think he hears Reggie, runs back, and they find the girl in his dreams huddled in the corner wearing a robe, and they pull it off, and it's like, oh, it's the girl in my dreams. And he's like, wait a minute. And something's squirming underneath her like robe or shirt, and they pull it off, and it's like a reverse Cohagen. So Total Recall.
Oh, I get
the
it.
fucking guy in his belly.
Yeah.
This thing comes out of her back.
Yeah.
It's
cool.
It's good special effects. Good practical.
I think Greg Nicotero worked.
I remember seeing his name in the credits somewhere. I didn't notice.
But this is before K&B existed, I think. By the way, my note for the whole...
When was Creepshow 2? Because that was when K&B really, I think, came into effect or something like
that. My note for the whole gun store sequence is this is some video game shit.
1987. I think K&B... Whatever.
It doesn't matter. We're not fucking horror experts. You go figure it out.
I remember watching a lot of back behind the scenes of Nicotero doing Creepshow 2, and I think it was still when they got together. They didn't have K&B yet, but they were the same working together, and that's 87. So, all right. So
this is where Phantasm effectively turns into a road movie franchise.
I look at budget and go, this looks better. This looks like it has a cool practical effect of a monster coming out of her back. This is impressive.
Yeah.
So that makes me, better. Whatever.
Well, again, this one had the biggest budget out of the whole franchise. So, because this is an actual studio movie.
You always come with like budget numbers, and I never think to.
I don't know what the budget was. I think it was like $3 million or something. But look, he blew up 2 houses.
All right, lady with sister and mom burying dad. Another creepy mausoleum connected to a church. Tall man's there. The priest stabs dead body because he doesn't want this dad to come back to life.
Here's some more of my questions, man, because I want to know. This is the biggest problem with Phantasm is that it doesn't have rules. There's
right.
not. You have these cool things that are almost there. You're like almost there. You just need to sit down and tighten it up and figure it out. And instead,
but this starts to lead to like some kind of cool. It kind of gives you like he's using human beings. Remember we talked about in the beginning, like I assumed it's another alien who's like his underling. Here you have a priest who's obviously conflicted. He's like been helping the tall man, but he doesn't like it. But he doesn't have a choice or something.
I think he's just. See, I think it's just bad writing. I just think that like that guy works there, and I think something's going on. I think it's Satan. Like that's
well,
all.
He knows because he
I don't think he's serving an alien.
He stabs the dead body because he doesn't want it to be reanimated because he knows Tallman's been reanimating bodies.
I guess so.
And then he's like, I can't take it anymore.
See, now this is the movie where you have like zombies. And there were no zombies in the first one. There were dwarves.
Right.
And this one still has dwarves in it, but now also there's just straight up
Evil Dead style
zombies.
Like the screaming lady, that seems to happen where like a lady turns and like, now she's a demon.
So now I have to I'm readjusting now and I'm like, okay, so is that like like a dwarf that's not been compacted?
Evil Dead came out and influenced a generation.
There you go.
That's what happened. The weapons, the demons, the undead, or whatever it is, that stuff is in here.
And we have grave diggers, right? That's a new one.
Right, because these are humans who are like working with the tall man.
But
sometimes,
do they have yellow blood or
later on? I don't know.
Because this guy gets groin chainsaw.
Because those 2 people, they had red blood, right? The 2 guys that were like helping, they were like undertakers themselves. The 2 skinny tall guys with dark hair.
Yeah. The guy in the tuxedo like suit thing.
Yeah, they didn't have yellow blood.
No, they didn't.
So they were, they're
just people.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Either way, the priest.
I think they're dead people. I think they're dead zombies that are not.
No, they were scared in the blood and everything.
That's true.
And the priest was part of it as well. But now he's like, I'm regretting my actions.
I need this explained to me. There's a novelization. Who's read it? Tell me.
Who read the original script that had all the answers in it? I wrote boring side plot, a priest, an old man dead.
Yeah, all that stuff is real boring.
He shows up in his wife's bed. This is the one where another little boy sees a tall man picking up the coffin because the kid in the third one.
There's another kid character, but that's not until the third one.
All right. I wrote a note that says, we can protect this girl in a horny sort of way.
Oh, because he picks up the girl on the road, and she is the girl that Mike saw on the slab earlier that had disappeared.
Oh, right.
And he's like, I think I saw a vision of her. I think that she she'll be in trouble. And he says, yeah, but doesn't that make sense that if she's with us
We'll
and if she's in
protect her.
trouble, we can protect her? And this is the beginning of Reggie
and
as a
then
horn
just,
dog
No, and then Mike says, yeah, in a horny kind of
in
way.
a horny kind of way. Yeah. So it's just funny.
This is where
Hey,
Reggie wants to fuck everything. It moves.
right. My family's been blown up. I'm set free now. I can sow my oats all over the Pacific Northwest.
I mean, it is the 80s. Headstone for Alex Murphy.
Yeah.
In the graveyard. RoboCop.
Yep.
Okay, now here's the trap you were talking about. I love this. They go to this old the girl that they pick up says, my uncle had a bed and breakfast in this town. It's on the other side. Let's go there. And the whole town's boarded up and destroyed, basically. And when they get there, she's like, what happened? I don't know. Well, let's just kick our way in and we'll stay here tonight. And so they're like, we got to go out and look at the graves or something. So you stay here. We're going to lay all these traps. And one of the traps is a grenade and a pack of cigarettes with a string tied to it over a door. So if you open the door, the fucking grenade is going to blow up in your face. I'm like, they're not traps? They're not taking any chances. Like, they have a grenade. Who has a grenade in the 80s? I don't know. It was
They
like,
got it at the gun store, at the hardware store.
right. Did they have grenades back? Shit, you know what? They had grenades in the Dawn of the Dead, too.
Yep.
There's a part when he does one of these and he throws a grenade at the door. When they break in, the bikers break in at the end, they throw a grenade at the door.
The bikers do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. But yeah, they took the shit seriously. Why are they wearing gas masks to dig up coffins?
They're not wearing gas masks. Oh, the gravedigger guys?
Yeah, they're wearing
because
gas
it looks
masks.
scary.
Yeah, exactly. There's no real reason to it. Oh, also, the girl's name is Alchemy. And they explained to her that the tall man is doing this thing. She's like, that's cool.
Yeah. Yeah, she's down. She's just like a hippie that's cool with everything and likes bald dudes.
Yeah. This is where we see them suck out the blood and pump in the yellow liquid.
Mm-hmm. Which isn't that just like formaldehyde? I mean, I know
that's specifically something different. Formaldehyde's like clear and green.
All right.
Explain this one to me. So before they go into the bed and breakfast, they look over at a house, and there's a light on in the house. And someone pulls a shade down. Like, you see,
I think it's just to suggest that, did you ever read Salem's Lot?
No, but let me finish that thing. So they see that, and he says, like Reggie's like, they're either trapped or too scared to come out, and they're just waiting and watching. Are they saying there's like someone still alive in that house?
I think so.
Why would they have the fucking light on?
I don't know.
The tall man can come into your house. Like,
they don't know about the tall. Again,
the whole town has been eliminated by now.
Answer my question. Have you read Salem's Lot?
No,
Well, you should.
I read Dark Tower and they talked about Salem's Lot.
Well, I won't talk to you anymore about it because I don't want to spoil the book for you.
Well, just a little bit.
It's vampires.
Yeah.
Okay. And a big part of it is that eventually at some point, like, the town, people are disappearing, but there's no, like, overt reason for it.
Yeah.
And so the town does become kind of like a ghost town, but there's still, because people just, not everybody leaves. Some people are still hanging around, but they just don't know why everybody's gone.
But if you have like a population of 1,000 and like 800 people are gone, those last 200 people are like, we need to get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, but if you live in a small town like that, you're crazy anyway.
Are they still going to work? There's no business. The people are all gone.
What were we saying about Barstow?
People live there, though. They would know.
Their job is to do meth. That's it. I'm so sorry to anybody who lives in Barstow or your family lives in Barstow.
I'm not. All that has is that's Baker.
Yeah,
the
Baker
the
too.
temperature sign on the way to Vegas. I'm just like, there's no one alive in this town. There's like there's one person in a house. Why would you turn the light on? You want to be quiet and silent. This is like the person who's like hiding. You don't advertise your whereabouts.
This doesn't bother me because it's kind of similar to the idea in Salem's Lot, so I thought it was cool. Moving on. Got to keep going. We got to get to the girl. We got to get to the girl in the house so she can get kidnapped so we can talk about that.
All right. Little coffin thing has silver balls inside. Oh, yeah. The priest opens up like a little box, and then there's like a sharp thing in there. I don't even know what the fuck. What was in that box?
It's just the 3 balls, I thought.
No. They come out the side of the box. He opens the top, and he's like going to touch it, and there's a noise. He goes, ooh, ow, and it pricks his finger.
It's like a tuning forky thingy.
I don't know. And then, the side of the box opens, and these fucking, the 3 silver balls like come out in their own little tracks, like, it's fucking cool. Kiss at first sight.
Yeah, because they've been dreaming about each other.
Oh, yeah. When Mike runs into the telepathic girl, she's just like, I fucking love you.
Yeah, and now we're going to have dream sex.
Yeah. For powerful being, tall man sure is lacking. The dwarves aren't the strongest, and the ball doesn't get everyone, so why doesn't he do some work himself? He seems to have a lot of power, but he doesn't he doesn't lift a finger.
He's an old man.
And then Elizabeth beats up her dwarf grandma.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Her grandma gets turned into a dwarf, and then she has to beat her up or something. Yeah, because this is where like the balls, you said like they're a bad guard dog, because then they end up attacking the tuxedo guys who've been helping the tall man. This is where Kimmy, Alchemy, whatever her name is is having sex with Reggie, because of course Reggie's like, yeah, I do. I would love to do it, Come upstairs with me. Sweet. And then she's just like fucking on top of him, going wild, like, woo, this fucking cowgirl, and smacking his bald head. She's like, I love this bald head. Like,
No daddy issues at all.
And this is where you should be going, something's not right here. But okay, no, she's just wild. Because at first it was weird. Like, even this is Dale Cooper having sex with Diane, sorry. Uh-huh. And the face and the hands in season 3 Twin Peaks, right? And then it's Richard and whatever.
Oh, spoiler.
I said whatever. It's weird, right? So Reggie even has a face of like, what is going on here? But okay, I'm doing it.
Yeah.
And then when she like kind of grabs him and does like the cowgirl, like the lasso
what is it,
thing.
Rule 34? What's the fucking meme?
I don't know.
All right, never mind.
She does like the lasso thing. I go, oh, okay, she's not a monster. She's just really wild. And then, of course, what happens later is, no, she's totally a monster. Oh, wait, no, whoops, that's too early to say that. No, it matters.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
Jump around all
Tall man grabs Liz through a window. Again, someone gets grabbed and dragged through a window. He seems to do a lot of hiding behind curtains.
Oh, yeah.
Where people will like...
He's a big, tall guy. There's only so many places you can go.
He likes to hide outside people's windows and wait for them to open the curtains and then grab them, rather than just, come in and do it.
He's like kind of like giggling to himself as he gets behind the curtain.
Here she comes. Oh, you
have to be quiet.
That's curtain 1. I'm not on that one. Yeah. Mike jumps in the care-through passenger window. All's cool. Oh, car. They're like, just get in the car. And Mike jumps headfirst into the passenger window, into the car, and then rolls over on the driver's seat. And I was like, that seems stupid, but also that was pretty fucking cool. It was the 80s.
Hey, do that thing where you slide across the hood. Nah, man, I'm going to do something different.
Yeah, because he jumps in weird. Like, he doesn't jump in with his legs first to get in the seat. He dives in head first, but the seat's all the way down, and then he rolls into the driver's seat somehow. It's fucking weird.
This is where the movie gets fun again.
Yeah. I just wrote music really loud, and that's actually not a good song. The music was really loud and the dialogue was really low.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like the music would kick on and then I have to like turn the volume up when they talk. Quadruple barrel shotgun with flashlight on it. Oh yeah, I forgot that they have a flashlight on the thing. It's a car chase and they flip the car by hitting a rock.
Yeah.
And that's the car chase. This is the car flip that you see in the third movie where they say Jody's dead or whatever. Sam Raimi's name is on a bag of cremated remains. Mm-hmm. Do you see that? The girl fakes being knocked out. So the guy's going to put her on like a gurney, or she's on a gurney. She pretends to be knocked out and unconscious as he's going to roll her onto the thing that put her in the incinerator. But she doesn't seem to wake up from her fake unconsciousness till she's, I'm about to get thrown in the incinerator.
And not to belabor the point, but she is going to be incinerated. Yes?
Yes.
Right?
Right.
They want to kill her.
Right. The tall man talks about how he needs them because they have powers.
He needs to kill them? Is that what he needs to do?
No, he's like...
He needs them.
He needs them.
But this one, he's going to put it in an incinerator.
You are absolutely right. That makes no sense.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, so she has to fight this guy, and then he gets tossed in the incinerator alive, and then she closes the door. Very much Return of the Living Dead.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of other movies in here. I mean, obviously, like I said, Sam Raimi's name shows up in the movie as like a homage, I would say. There's a fight with the gas mask guy, and...
Chainsaw fight.
No. Before that,
Reggie
picks up a fucking drill with a huge bit on it and jams the power drill in the guy's ribcage.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem to do much damage, but I was like, oh, that's going to be good. And then it was just like, oh, you got him off you.
He's like,
yeah,
it tickles.
I was hoping for something good out of that one, like a Child's Play 7 when the thing went through the face, came out the eyeball. Mm-hmm. Then, yes, this is a great... Okay, so there are definite comedic elements to these movies. I think the first interview I saw with Don, it was just like, I want to make a scary movie, but I want to make comedy. I want you to laugh and then laugh, scare. There was no laughs in the first movie.
No, I would say the first movie's pretty...
Straight,
scary movie.
Here's where it's like more fun, but it's still not a comedy.
It's getting there.
Sometimes when the comedy pops out, you're like, really? Like, I can take a joke here and there? Maybe like a, horny sort of way. Like, that's kind of cute. But here's where, like, he pulls out his chainsaw, and he's like, yeah. And then the other guy pulls out a bigger chainsaw. And you're like, what movie is this? Because it's funny, it's good, but it just doesn't seem to fit.
Yeah, it's fine.
And then they have a chainsaw fight.
And the chainsaw fight, yeah.
And it's pretty good. And then it ends with him chainsawing the guy in the nuts.
I like his jump over a really tall chainsaw. His crotch clears by just inches.
That was a weird jump. I'm surprised you brought that up because I didn't write it down, but I remember that. I was like, that was a really odd way to do that. Yeah, it ends with the crotch chainsaw crotch.
So again, questions I have for the audience so far, for our audience. Why are they psychic? Why does that matter? And what is the actual tall man's interest in psychic children? And who are these human beings that are helping the tall man? Or at least I assume they're human beings because when they get killed, they bleed red. And I've been taught by these movies so far that the scary bad guys bleed yellow when they get hurt. That's all. Just keep track.
Yeah, the last Undertaker guy gets the ball drilled into his back, and it comes out of his insides.
Yeah, that was rad. It comes out of his mouth, right?
Yeah, or something like that. That's just after
he gets his arm, or he chops his own hand off. Yeah,
he gets it in his hand in the wall, and then the other ball's coming, so he has to chop his own hand off or whatever to get away so the other ball doesn't get him. So, yeah, the balls don't care who you are. I was really disappointed. So during the chainsaw fight, the camera makes a very hey, he's wearing the shotgun shells on a bandolier. Is that what it's called, around his neck?
Yeah.
You know, like the Mexican gunslinger has all the bullets across his chest. Mm-hmm. He has all the shotguns there. I thought, oh, the guy's going to chainsaw him in the chest, but he's going to hit the shotgun shells, and it's going to blow the chainsaw guy away.
Wouldn't that also blow Reggie away?
Maybe, but shut up. You can make it work. I thought there was something there, he has a bomb on his chest. The guy's going to hit it. It's going to blow him away.
Well, why don't you make your own?
Well, I would do that. It's kind of what they did in Edge of Tomorrow. Like at the very end, they put a fucking, not a landmine, but a claymore. Mm. He puts it on the chest of his suit, and then they blow up with the gas tank near the end.
I vaguely remember that. I don't remember the end that much of the movie.
In the water with the Paris scene. Yeah. Anyways, I was kind of just sad. And then he shoots 4 dwarves at once with his quadruple barrel shotgun.
Yeah.
So it worked.
Yeah.
And
everything went according to plan.
There's a line, someone says, suck on this. So I guess the ball has no allegiance because it fucks the other guys up.
Yeah.
The tuxedo guys. So I was like, okay.
I don't know. That's another question for you.
Someone says, suck on this. And I think he shoves a ball into the tuxedo guy's face or something like that. Earlier, I think it was Reggie found hydrochloric acid and poured it into the yellow blood. And then they stabbed the tall man with the thing, and then Reggie's smart enough to go, oh, well, you guys didn't know that I poured acid in there, but if you push the lever that way, it'll actually put the acid in his body, and then he melts away.
Yeah, it's a great effect.
Also,
eyeballs explode.
There was a scene when Alchemy left. They told her to go get to safety, and she drove away, and her car broke down, and then she found a hearse, just empty.
You mean a hearse?
Hearse. It has a T in it. It's a silent T.
Oh, is it?
Do you know how to spell Hearst?
I don't want to find out if I'm wrong or not. Let's just moving on.
Hearst. Hearst Castle. It's not what I wanted. Let's just type in Hearst vehicle. I don't know. I'm about to get faced. Hearse. That's what I said. E.
Yeah, you said E.
E. Yeah. Not T. E.
You heard it wrong.
Hearst.
This sound is funny on these things.
Yeah, Hearst. She finds a hearse, and then she drives it, and she leaves. But then after they run out of the mausoleum, after putting acid in him, I was like, oh, she just hey, guys, I came back for you. And then she was really far away, too. And I was like, why was the hearse out there? And then they're driving, and she pulls a piece of her head off. And you're like, oh, she's bad. And then Reggie dies. And then they drive away with Mike and the girl stuck in the back of the hearse.
Yep.
It was all a dream.
Wait, isn't there somebody get pulled through a window? That's what happens at the end of every movie.
Oh, I thought it was we're going to wake up, it's a dream. No, it's not. I think someone says that,
no, nobody.
It's all going to be fine.
But who gets pulled through a window? That has to have happened. They get pulled out to the back of the window of the thing.
Not right now.
Really?
Oh, sorry. You're right. It ends with both of them being pulled out of the window of the back of the hearse.
Right, okay.
So at this point, it's becoming a joke, like it always happens. The same ending as before, being grabbed through the window. You're right.
All right.
That is the end of Phantasm 2. You know what we could do right now? We could take an ad break. Phantasm 3, Lord of the Dead.
Can I read my first 2 notes real quick?
1994. So it's been another 6 years. Now we're in it's the 90s.
And oh boy.
What 90s jokes can we make now?
I only really have one. I'll probably come up with more as we go.
All right.
My first 2 notes. First one is, he's back, with an exclamation mark. And second note
Reggie.
is... Huh?
Reggie?
No, Michael. Specifically Michael Baldwin.
Yeah, so let's clarify here. The actor playing Mike now is the actor from the first movie who was the kid. Now it's actually Michael. not the Michael actor from the second movie.
Would you like to know why?
I would not like to know because I would like to say that I was excited. And I was sorely disappointed because this actor is not good enough to be Michael anymore. He was better as a kid actor, and he sucks as an adult. Anyways, what do I want to know?
The reason why Michael Baldwin was not in the second one was because the studio they wanted to recast Michael Baldwin and Reggie Bannister, but the director fought so hard, but he only fought hard enough. They said you can keep one. So
he fucking picked Reggie. What does that tell you? What does that tell you?
It tells you a lot.
Bald ponytail man's just too distinct. He's too good.
My second note is Alien 3 Tactics. I wonder if that means anything to you.
I can't remember what's even in the movie right now.
Just in the sense of like characters you've built up for an entire movie, the movie before, but like, oh, they're dead.
Oh, this is the Newt thing.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So one, I wrote multiple tall men ? Okay. At this point, you kill the tall man, but
what are the tall man's powers? That's my I guess. He's clearly strong. He has telekinetic powers. He, I think, can affect your perception. So he has like psychic powers.
Can get in your dreams and shit.
You can get in your dreams and shit. So perhaps alchemy was just a vision.
Oh yeah, because in the first movie,
they can drive a car.
In the first movie, when that lady kills Tommy, then you see the tall man, like it kind of like jumps back and forth between the girl being tall man. It's like he kind of like disguised himself.
Right. I just imagine.
As a hot lady.
I love the idea, by the way, of like this old tall man guy just like banging all these dudes.
Like he's just like, God. But like,
of course, the answer is that I'm ascribing too much logic.
He finishes banging them before killing them.
I know. At least
he doesn't just ride them and then
they finish.
Yeah.
Oh baby, that was great.
Tall man's got to get his rocks off somehow too.
Yeah. This is all this is. You find out that he likes to slap bald guys in the head while he gets. Tall man's a complicated person.
Hey, you know
somewhere on the spectrum.
In the fifth one, he says, "Oh, all tall men are allowed an amusement.
Yeah,
we deserve an amusement."
That's what that means. That's what that means.
He just wants to fuck a bunch of dudes before he stabs them.
He loves Reggie.
He does. He really
does. He has a weird like.
I want to
BDSM.
I want to get to the fifth movie because there are some things I want to talk about. So let's go to the third movie. Speaking of loving Reggie and him, their relationship, there's stuff there. The end of 2 is ignored. They don't get pulled through the window. They crash the car instead.
Right.
And man, did they crash that car. I think that's the one they hit like really high speed. No, that's later on. There's a good car crash somewhere where the car goes way up in the air. It goes like vertical. And it's just spinning. It's a good car crash. Liz is dead. A dwarf is eating her face. And later on, they just like give her the tall man.
Tall man's just like holding her head.
Yeah, holding her head. So she's dead. That actress wasn't coming back, I guess. This is where there's some more comedy. Reggie's like about to like fight the dwarf that's like biting her face, and he's like, "Oh shit!" He runs away, and then he finds Mike on the ground randomly, finds his shotgun randomly, and is like going through a clearing in the woods, and there's dwarves in the trees. This is when I texted you that one time. He's like, "Oh," he looks around and he shoots into the trees, and just start dropping little dwarves' robes out of the tree. They're just like you can tell they're throwing them from off camera, and they're just falling into the camera view.
My note is that shotgun exclamation mark ha 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 ha.
Yeah, I audibly chuckled when I saw that and made me laugh. Believe it or not, it's the same clearing they shot Leprechaun at.
It looks kind of
It's
like that.
It's the one when the police officer pulls him over riding a go-kart.
It's the same place? Or you're just saying that?
I'm just saying
There's just places that look like that. That's not...
It's too perfect. It's another filming location around L.A. There's no way it's not the same place.
It is very similar.
If you go back, I was going to go back and I forgot to watch the first Leprechaun movie.
Where he kills the cop, right?
The cop pulls him over in his go-kart. Yeah. And then it's a clearing area there, yeah.
We rewatch Leprechaun.
So now that you didn't think making a Leprechaun
there's a connection.
There's actually a connection. I knew it all along when I was waiting for it, like the Ghost Cup.
Oh, I got a note here again. Why does he want Mike but killed the girl? Like I already.
He threatens to blow up. Reggie threatens to blow up Mike. With what? I don't know.
It was a grenade.
That wasn't a grenade. It was it had a red LED on it. It was like a trigger.
A grenade.
It was like a remote bomb.
He had a bomb.
He's like, I have a bomb planted in Mike, and I'll blow it up if you come. Like, I don't know, but yeah, he threatens to blow up Mike in front of the tall man. Says like, "Hey, leave us alone, or I'm going to blow up Mike." I mean,
so again, like, I don't want to kill Mike because if I did, then who gives a shit? But what I want him for is not clear. But I guess that's in later movies.
Yeah.
All right. I like.
He says I don't want him in pieces.
Right. That's what he says.
So they go away. Yeah.
My next note is ammo and Q-tips.
What?
There's like some sign that they're passing by.
I
it was like it was like
yeah,
45.
We're not there yet.
All right.
Hospital. See tall man with ball that has a little brain inside. He opens one of the silver balls and there's a little brain in there and he's like petting it.
And you're like, and I'm so, well, yeah, but I'm also like, okay, we're getting somewhere. They're going to explain some of this shit to me. They got little brains in there. Fine, I can roll with this. Like, what are the little brains all about? I still don't know.
Well, they're the brains they pull out of people after they've like smashed them down, but that means the drawers don't have brains.
They explain that later. They didn't explain that in this movie. But yes, in a later movie, they say they take the brain out of the little dwarf and they put it in and that's how they get the sphere. And then the dwarf just doesn't have a brain, but
still can operate somehow.
But it's a slave and just works. But also doesn't. It's still a slave when it's in the sphere. I don't know.
Yeah, and then the nurse tries to kill him.
What's the nurse? Like, this is again, we're like, what are these rules, movie? What is this nurse thing? It doesn't matter. It's Evil Dead, like you said. It's just...
yeah, very much. It's Evil Dead. And then there's a ball popping off. The ball popping her hair off. And they coming out of her head.
Sphere in her head.
Yeah.
And then they say something about it as if they've seen those before, even though we've never seen them in the movies.
But I'll just say also for the practical effects. There's a lot of spheres inside of people's bodies who find their way out of the body,
right?
That in very hilarious and very gruesome ways. Like that's worth watching.
Yeah, that's always good. All of this is worth watching.
Yeah. It looks at Mike with an eyeball.
That's right.
It pops out an actual eyeball. It's Jody's eyeball. I don't know. Reggie gets yellow blood in his mouth. Someone got blood in his mouth. Like, gross. And then of course
that happens to him again later.
Exactly. Another thing. They just keep rolling with the fucking. They do it once and they're like, let's do it again. It's funnier the second and third time. By the fifth one, it's like literally just pouring into his mouth like a mustard. And yeah, it's just...
So Michael is, he's in the hospital and he's hooked up to doodads and he's in like a coma kind of thing. And he has a afterlife, near-death experience where he sees his brother.
He sees Jody.
And it's like, go into the light.
Oh, yeah.
And then Jody's like, no, don't go into the light. You're not ready for that. Yeah, you need to do some
the
other
nurse
stuff.
tells him to go into the light.
The nurse tells him to go into the light.
So wait, again, back to back to your point. They don't want him dead. The nurse is bad. The nurse tells him to go die. Go to the light and be dead.
I don't know. I don't know.
And Jody turns it around and says, don't go in the light. And he's like, oh, but the light's so comforting. And then he walks into the light, but then he wakes up, I think.
Maybe that was part of the plan. Maybe if he goes into the light, then that's actually not like heaven, but that's the tall man's
But they
light.
even talk about how the tall man wants people dead. Because
right,
once they're dead, that's when he can convert them.
But he doesn't want him. He just doesn't want him in pieces.
I guess.
That's the difference. As long as he's in one piece, it's okay if he's dead.
Oh, I don't know. Wow, there's a lot of stuff here. There's like info dump. Jody turns back into there's a scene here. Remember it for the next movie. Jody transforms into a silver ball. He's standing there as Jody. He's a silver ball, right? Okay.
Yeah.
That happens. Jody's like, hey, let me help you. He says, I can slow the tall men down. I want to get you answers. Basically, like, hey, I'm dead, but I'm fighting from the inside. I'm trying to help you out, Mike. I'm a silver ball now, maybe, but whatever.
His little brain is trapped in the thing.
I still have my memories. I don't know. Turns around and then talks to him, says he can slow the tall man down through the ball. The ball's talking now, not Jody the character. Jody the character as the ball, not Jody the human being. Tall man mind powers Reggie against the wall, and you see the wire. You actually see the wire pull him against the wall and drop him. I always love that in movies. Jody tries to stab Tall Man, but Tall Man mind stops it and then hits against the wall. We know he's using mind powers because he makes a cool face.
Yeah. Yeah.
I know that I can't think of an audio podcast, but whenever he twitches.
Yeah. Kyle made the face.
Yeah.
He did a good job.
Gas station with crazy looking attendant. This is your note. It says, there's a sign at the gas station after he pays him cash, which is a big deal, and he drives away. There's no point in this scene other than, why do you want to go to that town? Everyone's toxic spill. Everyone's gone. Right? I mean, that's the only reason this scene exists.
Yeah.
Right? But there's a sign as he drives away. It says Beretta, and they misspelled Beretta. They put 2 R's in it. Beretta, 9mm, Colt Trooper, 357 Magnum, Q-tips.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
So guns, bullets, and Q-tips.
Yeah,
it's good. Holtzville, population 0. They find so Reggie's the one going through, because where's Mike at this point?
He gets taken.
He's like in the astral plane?
No, he gets taken by the tall man.
Okay.
The tall man, they're all together and they're hanging out, and Tall Man, here I come, and they try to stop him again. He like burns the.
No. He uses his mind, and Mike walks out, like as if he's mind controlling Mike.
Okay.
He doesn't grab him. He's like, weep, and then Mike's like, why are you doing this to me? Like Mike can talk, but he can't control his body.
Right.
So Reggie's in the town, and he finds a stripper digging through a car.
And he goes to this town because Jody's last words as the ball before he starts doing more stuff again later is like Humboldt County or whatever the fuck.
Holtzville.
Go
to Holtzville.
Hicksville.
And then the ball turns into like a burn ball.
Yeah. And he takes it with him.
Yeah, it's not chrome anymore. It's kind of like burnt.
All jacked up.
So yeah, he finds a stripper going through a car. She finds a gun. And then he gets knocked out by some gold chain wearing dorks.
Yeah.
This is weird. I don't even know. And there's a scene where he says, you talking to me? I don't see anyone else. So I feel like that's got to be a De Niro joke.
Taxi driver thing, I guess. Yeah.
Not quite like exactly spot on, but I mean, when you say, are you talking to me? Yeah. Well, who else am I talking? You know, that kind of thing. It's got to be.
That's Reggie. His dick getting him in trouble again.
Yeah. I mean, and she, whatever. She's half naked. Not half. I mean, she's wearing revealing clothes. And Reggie, give it up. Like, you keep getting in trouble because you keep thinking you're going to fuck every girl you see. Okay, so these guys and his clothes, this stuff is weird. But it's not even the weirdest because it gets really fucking weird later. God, okay, they break into an old house with graves out front. And the house is full of clowns with, like, knives that are traps.
Yeah.
But it turns out it's like a 7 or 8-year-old kid who's like been murdering people who come scavenge in his house. The graves aren't his parents. The graves are the people who have come in trying to steal his shit.
That's great.
And he's got a fucking gun. He's got a frisbee with razor blades. He's got a fucking hatchet he throws and kills the stripper with.
He's Kevin McAllister from hell.
Oh, Jesus Christ. This is Home Alone on... This is rated R Home Alone.
Yeah.
like I said, he has a frisbee with razor blades he throws that he doesn't throw it directly at someone. He frisbee golfs it. So he throws it up in the sky and it fucking arcs around and cuts the guy's neck open. And then every time someone points a gun at him, he's like, don't move. He just goes, no, I'm just going to throw this thing at your face and you die. Like, just shoot the kid.
Yeah. And he's a crack shot. He can just hit anything.
The other guy falls into a hole, and then you see from a distance, at this point, the kid's not fucking around anymore. There's no games. He just shoots the guy in the hole.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, just
murked him.
Yeah. Picks a big-ass gun and just... he lets Reggie out of the trunk and... Okay, so I can't see my notes anymore. Now that I'm standing up, this is bad. What happens next? Aliens reference. They mostly come at night.
Does he say mostly right
or
after?
Or they didn't say like mostly, but he's like, they mostly come out at night or something like that. And I'm like, that has to be an Aliens reference.
So I'm still, again...
And now Reggie and this kid are teamed up and they're going to fucking...
Now he's got his new kid sidekick to replace Michael.
Yeah. Yeah, totally.
Basically. He tries to ditch the kid in like I don't even know, not an orphanage, but just like, here are all the orphan children of... It's like you said. So somebody in the discussion forum was suggesting that they just didn't have the budget for it, but you're supposed to think that it's not just like I was thinking it's just like a few towns. This is like back to like my Barstow comment. This is just like if you go to some parts of the West Coast, there is a lot of not city. There's a whole lot of like not people and a lot of small towns and stuff. And that's kind of where I
people don't realize the middle of California is actually very tucky.
Right.
I'm surprised you didn't ask about what that means.
What'd you say?
I said the middle of California is very tucky.
I thought you said Kentucky.
No, I said Tucky.
I don't know what that means.
Well, it's Kentucky.
Okay. So I guess you're right.
But in a very negative light. Yeah, you know what? Fuck it. If you're in the middle, if you're listening to us, you're probably kind of like-minded. But the middle of California is a very it's a very weird place. Like if you drive from Southern California to Northern California and you decide to drive not on a PCH,
go visit Stockton.
Stockton's nice. It's like a little Dutch village, But there's a lot of signs like. Oh no!
I'm sorry, you missed this because it's an audio podcast. But when Kyle said Stockton's nice, and my eyes got very wide, and
isn't that the
it's like fucking murder capital, California.
Okay, no, there's a little Dutch village, like a little Dutch town.
You talking about like Carmel?
No.
Okay. Yes, there's lots of like nice Dutch villages like along the coast of California. Stockton is not one of them.
I could have sworn that way. There's like a Dutch place that's in between here and there, and it's like very authentic, not authentic, but it's a small Dutch community.
Stockton, I think, like is overtaking Baltimore or something like that for murder per capita.
Basically, you get those big signs that are like Congress created Dust Bowl and land rights, and you just get crazy weirdos that live in the middle of California. So it's very tucky.
Anyway,
and my brother says that, not me.
So somebody in this discussion forum is saying like, no, you're meant to think that that most of the world is like this. Like where they're living in a post-apocalyptic.
No.
Like, I disagree. I think that it's just that they're in these towns. So you do kind of ask.
Because they specifically say small towns.
Right. But it is kind of fucking weird that there's this lady that's just like, I just have all these children because these families are gone.
Yeah.
And I haven't reported it to child services or like talked to anybody.
Well, she lives on a fucking farm.
Yeah, she doesn't have a phone.
Like in the
or
middle
a
of
line.
nowhere.
Yeah, she's.
I mean, come on, it's the 90s.
I get it. It's the 90s.
It's rad, bro. Like, I got 18 kids here.
Oh, is this the movie? This is I'll burn my 90s thing now. Is this the movie where one of the characters is like, there's no sense in pining after what could have been or something like that. And there's a fucking scene of Michael Baldwin and Reggie Bannister and Thornberry, the guy who plays Jody, and they're all hanging out by a car like near the ocean, and Jody's playing his guitar. Jody's playing his guitar, and he's got a backwards baseball cap on. It's like
I think it's a flashback from the first movie.
It can't be a flashback.
This isn't. I don't think this is the one, but this is the one where they started using unused footage from the first movie. I think.
No. He's got a backwards fucking baseball cap. That's the 90s.
They just made him look young. No, because I thought Mike was a little kid again. I thought it was a
No, it's showing like, oh, if none of this shit happened, we'd all be grown up and hanging out with each other.
Hanging out on Laguna Hills, overlooking the
I'm playing my electric guitar like out here on the fucking side of the road with my backwards baseball cap on. Go back and look at Jody in the first movie with his fucking like tight tee and his muscle car and like it. Oh yeah. Now he's the guy with the backwards baseball cap on.
It's really funny because there's a lot of like California, SoCal like talk in this podcast. But to be fair, there's a lot of like, I think we have the Larry Cohen movies, the It's Alive and stuff like that. It's a very like shot. I mean, movies a lot of time were shot in Hollywood, right? You know, but there's a lot of like Southern California locations they're shooting at. It seems like, but they're supposed to be like in Oregon and stuff. But you're right, like that's a very SoCal thing, and there's very stuff. Shit, the fifth movie. There's a very. I'm gonna get to that one again. Get to the fifth movie. We gotta get to the fifth movie.
All right.
Fourth movie. Sorry, fourth movie is what I meant to say. Okay, whatever.
We're still talking about the third movie.
Yeah. Tell a story of dad dying. Okay, the kid, his dad died. He sat by the grave for like 2 days straight. Through the night, you know, didn't want to leave his dad. And when the mom finally said, no, we have to leave, then the hearse shows up and picks the coffin up. And he's like, Mom, this guy's... And then Mom's like, I'm going to go confront him. And he's just like, fuck you, bitch, and throws her in the back of the car or something like that.
No, the husband, who is now a zombie, I guess, or something, pops out of the coffin and grabs her and pulls her into the coffin with him.
And then so that's this kid's like, oh, I know the tall man. I saw this guy fuck up my town.
Yeah.
I've been surviving like Newt from Aliens.
Right.
You know?
Oh, yeah, he's Newt from Aliens.
That's why him and Reggie team up, because it's like, oh, yeah, I know the tall man. You don't need to tell me. The kid jumped in the back, saw the dead dad zombie laughing in the coffin, then proceeds to jump out of the back of the window of the car. So, again, people keep doing that, it seems. Must have been over a year, because the kid says, I couldn't reach the pedals for the first year. Now I can drive. Right. This kid's been on his own for like over a year. I don't know, whatever. Kid's gonna tag along with Reggie. You run into a family taking care of the kids, right? Reggie tries to pay the lady money to take the kid,
right?
But he likes the kid and he wants to keep the kid around, but he's like, no, I have to protect him. So he drives away, and the lady's like, oh wait, and then the kid's in the trunk, so he snuck off with Reggie. Reggie tries to be smart and stop a ball at the door, but it knocks him on his ass. That was a pretty cool scene. We forgot the scene from the last one when the ball goes through like 3 or 4 doors.
Yeah, Sam Raimi shot.
Yeah,
Evil Dead shot.
I mean, we mentioned it, but they're closing doors, and the ball's just kind of breaking through them in a way. This one, the ball hits the door. Reggie thinks he's smart too. He's like looking, going, haha, when the ball gets close, I'm gonna push this door open, and he does, and the door's like, I can't do this. Like, it just knocks him over. Okay, here's where you're just like, what is going on? He gets knocked down, and then he starts to get hogtied by somebody. They grab him, handcuff him. It's like hogtie him, and you turn around, and I'm just gonna say, like, it's like 2 black lesbians wearing army fatigues, pointed a gun at him. And you're like, in the mausoleum, who the fuck are these people? Where did they come from?
This is the world we live in now. Hey, it was the 90s.
They are fucking 90'd out. They're like thin.
The flat top haircut.
Yep, they're like thin, in living color dancer.
Yeah.
Like they're in shape. They're like, this is 90s shit. They're wearing camo pants and black tank tops. I don't know what to make of this.
And nunchucks.
Nunchucks. Well, okay, so there's 2 of them, and one of them like immediately gets killed by the ball, and then the other girl, just busts out a pair of nunchucks. It's like, and
it's
then hits the ball.
amazing. And then I go, no, okay, this is where we're going. This is where we're going. This is where we're doing it. We're doing it live. We're doing it live. 5. Fuck it. We're doing it live. That's what I got.
This is, if you're going to cross that line, just fully cross that line, you know? Now you know where you stand. You got a fucking lesbian nunchucks, you know? I mean, I don't care, but it's kind of obvious, but then later on it's not. Because I assumed that they were a couple.
Man, I don't know anything about them because she says, like, man, I ain't going anywhere until I've come here to do what I came here to do.
Which is nothing.
What was it? Right. What were you going to do? What? It never comes up again.
I'm just saying because, like, there's these two random girls who both dressed like tough.
Like they're on a fucking mission.
And she said she was in the army at one point. The army taught her how to survive, but her nunchucks are her own personal attachment or something like that. So,
her nunchucks breaks. She puts them back together.
Yeah. It's weird, but, you know.
Her name is Rocky.
Rocky, yeah. They're very tough chicks. I'll just put it that way. She's not a great actrris.
Fine.
At the beginning, she gets better. She goes along, but she's just like very like just delivers her lines. Very overacted. So yeah. Anyways, all right. Who the hell? Okay, who nunchucks and won't do shit. Oh, now and then the ball's coming. She's gonna punch it. She gears up to punch the ball. It's flying at her, but the kid saves the day and shoots the ball.
Shoots it a bunch.
Yeah. She says, "Ain't no Christmas tree ornament gonna scare her off from doing what she needs to do." That's what she's. That's the line.
Okay. Okay, I'm gonna take over here for just a second. So she says that, and then
they leave and drive.
Then they leave and drive away, and then literally within.
Oh no! Sorry, they leave. What I meant to say was she stays behind.
Yeah.
And Reggie and the kid drive away to go to the next town.
And then she's on this side of the road.
Right. In front of them.
And then they're like...
With no car. It's not like her car broke down and she's stuck. She's just there.
So she jaws forward her way all the way out there ahead of them. But that's not even for me, it's just my brain explodes. It's like, why didn't you just fucking go with them?
Yeah.
Do you want to come in? We're going to go find the tall man. Sure, I got nothing else better to do. What? Just learn some kind of efficient storytelling.
But also, this immediately makes me go, is she real?
Again.
She must be fake, right?
Yeah,
because they've done this before.
We did learn our lesson.
Right. She's not. She's totally a human.
If they made a Phantasm 6, we find out at the end that Reggie's been, like, not real the whole time. And our clue, and then they'll use the repurposed footage.
So let's
talk.
First movie. We'll talk about that in 5. I actually want this kind of something I want to bring up. Yeah. Okay. All right. Let's just roll with it.
Sure. Road trip.
They go to a motel. The guy goes, "I have vacancy. I have a single queen or multiple twins in a room." And he's like, "Of course." Reggie's getting a hard dick already, going, "I'm gonna fuck this girl." You know. Well, take the single queen. Sorry, kid. You're gonna sleep in the car.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then she's like, "Do you want to sleep?" And he's like, "No, I don't want to sleep on the floor. It's too cold." And you see Reggie in the background going like, No, kid, don't come in the room." Like, just like, dude, you're going to make this kid sleep in the car and you're going to try to fuck this girl. You just met her. She whooped your ass. She's not your type. Just to be frank here, like, she's probably 10 to 15 years younger than you. You're bald old white guy, and she's hip, thin, good-looking black chick.
You got to give him points for ambition, man.
Yeah, like, she can do better than you, Reggie. Sorry. And I think she had a girlfriend, so whatever. He is really, this is not the 70s.
No.
Well, you know what? It's not the 2017 yet, so it's not hashtag times up yet.
Yeah. He's Pepe Le Pew.
Oh, yeah. I look like I wrote down she looks like she's from Bill Bev DeVoe, which if you don't know who Bill Bev DeVoe is, just Google that image. He says, okay, they get in bed. They're going to share the bed. But they're not going to sleep together. That's, you know.
Everybody sleeps with lights on in these franchises, by the way.
Well, you should. And Tall Man's going to get you. Yeah, the kid could have slept on the floor and whatever. They get in the same bed together and we're in pajamas or whatever. I'm like, people are very open, sleeping in the same beds with other people, you know. He grabs her shoulder all sexy and is like rubbing her arm. And like, you would imagine her going, ew, stop. But she like lets him rub her arm. It's already too much. But he goes, "You ever try vanilla?"
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Come on, Rocky. Haven't you ever tried vanilla?
At this point, you're like, okay, there's some good, like, you know, interracial joke there. Because she says, dairy products give me gas.
Yeah.
I'm like, all right, cool. They went there with it. You know, that's funny. And then the gas mask guys try to break into the car.
Oh, you're not going to do the bit about how she gets him handcuffed to the bed?
Oh, yeah, she pretends to have sex with him and just handcuffs his hand to the...
and he's like, wah, wah.
Yeah. He has to sleep with this fucking... my arms would fall asleep. That's not comfortable.
This is Gerald's game.
Gerald's game, right? They get bruised up. Yeah, go watch Gerald's game. This is suburban Sasquatch sounds in there. When they drive to a place and the great gas mask guys try to break in the car, and there's some roar sounds in there. If you don't know Suburban Sasquatch, go watch the Best of the Worst, Red Letter Media, Suburban Sasquatch. You watched it. You know what I'm talking about.
I don't remember. Is this
the sound he makes
shack
is
meat or what?
What?
Is this the juicy shack
No,
meat?
this is the big Sasquatch goes roar roar.
I don't remember.
Oh my
You
God.
showed it to me. I forgot.
Anyways, there's some sound effects in there that sound familiar. All right, just pushing along. Dreamtime with Jody. Mike's back. Tall man's hands get cut off when Reggie touches the tuning fork, and then there's a weird hand monster.
All right, this is bringing back from the first one because we skipped it in the second one. So we're going to keep the trope of like when appendages of the tall man get cut off, they turn into monsters.
And then it goes up his nose, or like picks his nose for a while, whatever. They kill it. The scavengers are back. Now they're zombie scavengers. This is the three people who kidnapped Reggie.
Yeah.
They tried to kill the kid, and they're jumping through another car window. They crash their car at high speed, and it flips way the fuck up in the air, and it explodes twice. It explodes, and then it explodes again.
I have a note here that just says, that's the third hearse this year.
Yeah, they're just going through cars like crazy in this movie, whatever it is. I guess the tall man doesn't like the cold because, again,
reasons.
We're going to show a scene from the first movie when he walked by Reggie's ice cream truck.
And it kind of just looked like he liked the smell of ice cream, to be honest.
Well, he was looking at Mike from across the street.
Like
and
he
I
could
think
smell Mike from across the street. That's what I took
he
from
was
it.
just trying to be creepy.
Yeah.
But he's like, oh, he wouldn't get at me because the ice cream truck was there. So, movie logic, right?
Sure.
Whatever. The tall man's making dwarves and balls. It's good creature effects. Tall man has so many facial tics and gestures. I already said that. Tim is the kid. Tim shoves ball on guy's head, and it spins off. Then Reggie shoots the other guy in the fucking face. I don't even remember who this is, but do you remember who we're talking about? Oh, the zombie? No, not the zombie guys.
I must have been getting kind of tired at this point. Because this is where the weird shit starts happening where, we're skipping by, like, Michael goes into, like, another dimension.
Oh, yeah, I didn't take notes on that because fucking who cares?
It's just not he's got a ball in his head? Oh, we're not there yet.
I don't think we're there yet.
Okay.
That's the end of the movie. Yeah, Reggie shoots some guy right in the face. Like, pretty good. I don't remember. And then they throw a fire. Oh, this is the one with I forgot to tell you the car crash from 2. There was a car crash, and Mike got thrown out of the car, but Reggie had the seatbelt, and then Mike had to save Reggie from the car before it blew up because there was gas going to a fire.
Okay.
Just worth bringing that up.
Sure.
Car crash. Someone saves Reggie from the car before it blows up.
Right.
Because, of course, that's going to happen in another movie later.
He's got a knife or something, and then he's like, I'll just do it. Why are you helping me? And
this is the one that has the liquid nitrogen and the freezer.
Yeah.
And the heads float in it. So they dip a fireplace poker into liquid nitrogen, and then they spear throw it at the tall man and impale him with cold, because it's liquid nitrogen, right?
Yeah.
And he doesn't like it. His hands are melting off. And they push him in a freezer, and then they lock the door, like Jurassic Park.
Yeah. Like Jurassic Park, yeah.
And then a big ball comes out of his face and smashes through the window in the freezer.
I forgot about that. You're right.
Yeah. Breaks through yet another window. And it smashes a huge hole in the stripper zombie's face.
Yeah. That was good. Yeah, meanwhile, we have like a whole like superhero movie fights going on, right?
With nunchucks and all kinds of shit going on. This is not what we're talking about because it's just bad. But yeah, her head has a huge like... Yeah, her head's missing the middle part. That. It's good. And I guess that's how we end these movies. Someone gets pulled through another cutting glass window or...
Wait, but then he
bunch of balls or something like that.
He like on Michael's head with the thing. But
they saved him. That was like he was doing that. That's when they threw the poker at him.
But it turned out they didn't save him because...
Michael has a ball in his head and he has yellow blood.
Yeah.
And then someone gets pulled through a window.
But did he always have a ball in his head?
I don't know, but who gets pulled through a window?
The kid does.
Oh, yeah, the super awesome kid that never is to return now.
Right.
The murder child.
It's it for him.
Yeah. Phantasm 4, Oblivion. Let's take a break. All right, we're back. I don't know if there's a break there or not. Phantasm 4, Oblivion, 1998. So we were, 1994 or 1998? All right, this movie is boring.
I like the stuff with the repurposed footage.
Absolutely. You find out that there's a ton of unused footage from the first movie.
Because again, I don't know if you remember, because it was so long ago, this podcast is getting long. I said that when he was done with his first cut of the movie, the first one, it was like 3 hours.
Hey, remember 2 hours ago when I was talking about that?
So he had a whole bunch of footage that he could use.
But I mean, This movie you would think was like, oh, here's the exposition movie. It's a lot of walking and talking and being in the desert.
It's like a Neil Breen movie, which I know doesn't mean anything to you.
That's the yeah.
Oh yeah, because you watched Best of the Worst.
Yeah.
They talked about one of them in there. Mary's like all in the desert with like his.
Do you see his balls?
Yeah.
Do you see his balls?
So.
We see his fucking balls.
This movie doesn't help with anything. It just makes everything more confusing, and none of it makes any sense. I don't understand why he has a ball on his head. Has he always had a ball on his head? Is that why he's special?
That's when he took him away for a while, I think.
So he put a ball on his head.
Well, remember Reggie.
He took
I don't
more
know.
specifically, he opened up his head, took out his brain, put the brain inside of a ball, and then put the ball back inside of his head.
Whoa! Then at one point the ball comes out of his head.
The only other time
And he's still alive.
2 other times we've seen people with balls in their head. There was a nurse that had a ball in her head, and then a ball comes out of the tall man's head at the end of the last movie.
And then like dead bodies with balls in the heads later
that
in
been
like,
a thing?
the fifth movie.
Oh, okay.
But there's only like one of them.
I don't know, man. I wish please explain it to me.
All right.
Somebody.
Mike's driving away because he's like, I'm infected zombie. I better get away from my friends. Reggie is literally being hung up on the wall by a bunch of silver balls that are pinned him to the wall that are buzzing around like bees.
Yeah.
The kid's gone dead, whatever.
He looks like he's in a deadly ball pit upside down.
And then the tall man lets Reggie go and says the final game has begun.
Yeah, but all mysterious.
Yeah, like,
mystery box. There's no reason.
no reason. Well, there might be. We'll get to the fifth movie. Told you, there's something to stick around
Right.
for the end. It's not clickbait. Really, there's something at the end. So I said it's weird they repurposed footage from the previous movies, changed the footage represents. This is the Jody car crash thing. It's the car crash from number 2. They say that's Jody's car crash. They go,
Is this the movie where Jody says like I never actually was in a car crash and
yeah.
Jody
probably.
tries to like blow his mind?
Yeah, well, okay.
At this
so
point, we're just
they
like,
used,
huh?
do you remember that I said there was a footage in the Jody turns into a silver ball?
Uh-huh.
Then this one they go, and then the tall man turned my brother into a ball. That's not what happened at all. Jody was like, hey, let me help you. Also, wait, I got to be a ball real fast. This implies that the tall man has made my brother like against me. And they repurposed the footage of him turning into the ball.
And there's also there's stuff in this movie to suggest that the tall man wants Michael to be like his replacement.
I don't know.
There's scenes where he's wearing like the suit and he's got the tie pin like
Really?
in his, yeah, that's in there.
There's also there's a flashback. I don't know if this is the one right now, but
So the tall man was a human at one point?
oh wait, no, not that one. Talk about the hanging, the tree, the noose.
Yeah, well that's the old movie shit. That stuff was awesome.
It is, but I'm saying like it just they said do a flashback and you're like, oh, this is the first movie, but like I don't remember this scene, and then what the this was not in the first movie.
He says, if you cut me down, I'll leave you alone.
Well, okay, you're just gonna skip over. You're not gonna just explain it all.
I don't know.
There's a
Sorry.
scene when it's later on, but I mean, who fucking cares?
I don't even know like what the
Mike-
plot of this one is. I
Mike
can't,
tries
like,
to hang himself in the desert. Mike's driving a car. Tall man's
it's like from a tree or
the tall
something.
man's in the back seat,
Yeah.
takes control of the car. Mike can't get out or steer the car, and then tall man just dives into a coffin and
Right.
disappears. And he drives him out in the middle of the desert. Mike tries to kill himself to prevent the tall man from being able to get him, I guess. He's hanging himself from a tree, then has a vision, which is great because you can't recast an actor as they've gotten older, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the kid actor can't be recast in this. If you wanted to go shoot scenes from the first movie, he's now obviously literally the same actor. He's a grown-up. They have unused footage from the first movie where the kid was running and him and Jody sprung a trap on the tall man and hung his ass from a tree. Like, ran his neck, pulled his ass up, and it looks really good, too. And there's a man hanging from a rope, and it's actually Angus Scrimm, and it looks really awesome. And then later on, there's another footage of tall man, like, whispering to Mike in his dream to, like, come cut him down. He literally goes, if you cut me down, I'll just go away.
Yeah.
And Mike's like, really? You will?
Yeah.
Okay. You know. But there's all this shit shot from the first movie that you never saw. And it's actually really cool that it got used and that you see new things that like happen but you never knew about.
I really like the scene where he steals the ice cream off the back of the ice cream truck.
Oh, and Mike jumps on Reggie's truck.
Yeah, I just thought it was a really cool shot. It
was the 70s.
Scene. It was nice.
You just steal from the ice cream man. No big deal.
And then ice cream's like, ha, you little scamp.
Yeah. You're lucky I know your fucking brother, you little shit. Yeah, they go to Death Valley. Like literally to go to Death Valley. Reggie tries to get away, like, I'm gonna go lead a normal life, but it's like, come on. What life are you gonna lead right now, Reggie? Come
Why
on.
does he go try to live a normal life?
He's like, I'm done with this shit. A cop pulls over Reggie. Let me see your
That's why
license.
he picks up another girl, right? Like, isn't there another?
Not yet.
Okay.
So he's driving down the road. The cop pulls over Reggie in the nighttime. License registration. The cop walks back to his car. You take it. 'Cause I'm sitting here summarizing all the movies. And
That's what you do, man. That's
I
your
know.
job. I don't really remember. I know he fights the cop and
well, here's where
the
your
bad
fucking
cop-
stupidness comes in. So Reggie's like sitting in his car and he's like, "Hey, where'd the cop go?" And he walks back to the cop car and the cop's gone. And he hears some noise in the trunk and he goes and gets the keys out and he opens the trunk and he finds the cop smashed into the trunk, like just legs and arms and they're all the wrong places. And you think this is the kid
For a minute, I thought
from
it was
the
the
third
kid.
movie.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it's the police officer.
Well, my brain needed to know what happened to the kid. The kid just disappeared. Nobody said anything. I thought, oh, there he is. He's dead. That's it. Now we can move on.
And then Taron Egerton from Bright comes and fights Reggie. Right? That's in Bright with Will Smith.
Oh, the Australian actor guy?
Is that who it is?
I think so.
Yeah, the orc from Bright shows up and fights in a cop suit. Tries to. Oh, you know what? We can make a case that movie stole the idea from Oblivion.
There you go.
From Phantasm 4.
There you go.
It's literally like a demon in a cop uniform, and then Reggie shoots him with a shotgun through the roof of the car, and he says, "Oh, before that, he says, 'blow me.'"
Yes.
And he shoots the cop. Before that, he jumps in the cop car and locks the door, and the
Realizes he doesn't have the keys. Or...
yeah, he's like, "I'm gonna get away and I don't have the keys." No, he turns to the window and he's like, "Fuck you, man!" And he flips him off. I thought it was just like a cute little Reggie would do that. And then the cop is on the orc is on top of the car, and he just leaks a ton of blood right into Reggie's mouth, yellow blood, and his mouth just fills up like mustard, and he's just like, "Pah, pah, pah." So
Hey, remember when we did that earlier in the series?
right.
Speaking of earlier in the series, I looked over at my notes. That scene I was talking about where it's like, oh, happy family, and they're all hanging out, and he's playing the guitar with the backwards hat. Guess what? They have a case of beer on the hood of the car, and it's Dos Equis.
Well, maybe he just really likes Dos Equis. Oh God! And then he jams a baton into the shotgun wound to beat up the bad guy, and then he throws a flare in the gas tank and runs away, and the cop car blows up. Which I don't know how you had enough time between the flare going into the gas tank and you being able to run 30, 40 feet away before it blows up, but you know.
And he still comes out of like the flaming wreck. Some fucking guy like on fire.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's actually a pretty gnarly looking stunt, kind
Yeah.
of. So I understand that.
And he says some cops can be real assholes.
Most of the reason why so much of this movie is just repurposed footage from the first movie that got cut is because, again, budget. They had even less of a budget on this one than the last one. They have hardly any actors. When you start counting out the actors in this movie, they just needed to do something else in this movie.
What happened to Rocky?
Well, she's been leading the resistance somewhere else. And
No, she just in the end of the movie she was just not there. She just kind of left, huh?
Kind of like the kid.
Okay, so this is where Reggie sees a hot babe, but he doesn't pick her up.
No, this time I'm not going to do it.
He just leaves her, and then of course, he drives away. She stays at the gas station. She's somehow in front of him later in her car. Just people are able to just get in front of these people. He left by, and then he's driving down the road, and she's in front of him, and then she crashes her car because she doesn't want to hit a tortoise. And then she's now in a car. He has to save her, and then she says, "Oh, I thought only cars blow up like that in movies."
Yeah.
So it's like the time that Reggie got saved in the car by Mike. And then she tags along. She's good looking. And she's also very open about being half naked around Reggie.
Oh, yeah.
And then tells him.
And so intrigued by his story that she can't.
She has to keep poking around the shower curtain while holding her hand over her breasts.
Yeah.
And then realizing, oh, I'm showing off too much of my body. All sexy, but Reggie, good chance. You're never going to get this.
Yeah.
What? Who writes these female characters?
I don't know, man.
She's so open with her body. And then she's like, dream on, Reggie. Here, you want to see me hold my hand on my breast?
I don't know. It's an old guy that thinks this shit is funny and whatever. This is just part of his character at this point, right? This is the horniness of Reggie.
Yeah. Also, fucking Mike sucks now. The actor is just not interesting.
Yeah. Getting so old with every movie.
Yeah. This is what you want to talk about the original Tall Man? How he passes through an interdimensional.
I would tell you something about it if I understood any of it. I mean,
we'll talk about it and we'll discuss
what's his Albert Edison mixed with Tesla guy from the Old West, and he science and
so
he's
Mike,
a mortician.
Mike goes through a portal and he ends up kind of in an old timey, and he runs into an old
Angus
man.
Scrimm is really nice. He's a sweet old man.
Yeah.
Offers him lemonade, and the fortune teller lady from the first movie is there.
Yeah, I don't know why or who that is.
And And then he's like freaked out and he runs way back to the thing. And the guy's like, wait, don't go. You can explain things to me.
He looks at it, he goes, wait a minute, your clothes are different. Did you travel here? Did you come from an interdimensional portal?
Yeah.
And then at that point, Mike runs away and he's like, but we have so many questions we need you to answer.
That's like me.
You're the old man. You're the original tall man.
I don't know what any of that shit means. I think it's meant to suggest that the tall man
Well, they tell us
was
later,
a human
right?
being
They tell us
who
later
invents a interdimensional portal machine
I don't
and
know
goes through it like Stargate, and whatever happened to him on the other side,
Right.
he comes back and he's
tall man.
tall man.
They said, like, I think it was this one or maybe the next movie where they said, like, he was just he's an undertaker, and he was really curious about as people pass from life to death, he's trying to find a way to, like, understand that, or the portal to, like, that part of life or something like that. Now there's a bunch of tuning forks in the desert. Mike has powers, telekinetic powers. He smashes a dwarf with his mind with a rock.
Yeah.
More footage from the first movie. More tuning forks in the desert. Her nakedness. Dream on. Now an actual tuning fork, not the ones we keep referring to as tuning forks, Reggie's actual tuning fork from the first movie that he put his fingers on while tuning his guitar. He hits it and it blows up a silver ball.
Yeah.
Fine, but makes no sense.
Just writing things as we go.
Yeah.
And it also stops people from moving or whatever, like in Zen, I guess that's in Ravager.
He hits it, and then, like, the tall man stops and can't move.
Yeah.
But then he's like, ha, and he points it, and the tall man just goes, give me that. Like, it just goes into his pocket. I am impressed. Okay, you said there's, like, low budget, not much of a budget. They must have spent all the money they had, which is why they had no money, on this shot in downtown L.A. They cleared out Wilshire Boulevard in the middle of a day for fucking blocks. All those green lights they had, you know?
Actually, from what I understand, is if you go actually to that part of LA early in the morning, right as sun is rising, it is strangely empty.
Really?
That's what I've read.
Either way, they had to block it off for an hour. I mean, it was not like in the morning. There was a lot of sunlight. That's 5520 Wilshire Boulevard. Yeah. I saw it. It was me like, I fucking know that place. I looked it up on Google. I typed in Desmond's. I found the Google map, and Staples is still there. What is it? The building there is now the SAG-AFTRA Credit Union. Desmond's is still there. It's El Rey Theater's there.
El Rey Theater's there, yeah.
Yeah, that is fucking Wilshire Boulevard on La Brea and Wilshire. That's a fucking pretty well-known area.
It's a little weird to see that, like, in that movie. After seeing nothing but, like, desert and Temecula, is essentially what it looks like.
And it's not even like a small town. Like, they got in the middle of, South La Brea or whatever. Like, that's, again, when I talk about this being a SoCal movie, there's reasons why there's real connections here. That's a real location. It's a pretty big deal. Again, for a low-budget movie, they had about a mile's worth of stretch of land or street there in a busy part of LA. Busy-ish. Major street.
So Angus Scrimm could fucking strut.
His high tops or whatever those were.
His fucking platform shoes.
Yeah,
man.
his platform heels.
So good.
Yeah, it was pretty impressive. I said that must have been all the money they had was on that one shot. So here's the part where Reggie finds Mike's car or whatever, and I'm going to go battle. This is going to be the final battle of the movie. I'll put on my ice cream uniform.
Yeah.
Which is really great. He shoots that dwarf over the shoulder of his car. Or he's leaning against the car, and the dwarf is on top of the car, and he has the gun on his shoulder and shoots him.
Yeah.
You need to talk more. It's just me.
You just sit here and recount plot, and I can't.
But I know what happens in the movie, so we can talk about what happens in the movie. He has to always reload all 4 shots.
Yes.
Seems like a bad design choice.
It's a very practical gun.
Practical, yeah. Oh, shit. I need to reload all 4 shotgun shells right now in the middle of a fight.
But he always has, like, another gun, Yeah,
well, the 5th one, he has tons of guns. He stabs Jody. Mike stabs Jody, but then another Jody tackles Mike. So Jody is actually not to be trusted.
Is it Ravager in this one where they're just like, Jody's not what he seems or something?
It's this one.
Like, okay.
When Mike finds Reggie, they hug and he's like, don't trust him.
Yeah.
And then Reggie passes him the tuning fork as if it was like a $1 bill at a waiter, like a tip.
And then he built. What the fuck does he build? Like, he does this whole. He
the car engine.
I'm like, oh, he knows cars, so he's gonna,
fix the car,
create some car thing. And then it looks like he built his own sphere. That's what I.
Yeah.
And I thought there was gonna be a sphere fight where he my sphere versus yours.
Yeah.
And it was just a bomb.
No, it wasn't even a bomb. The sphere like stabbed the tall man on the back of the head.
So it was.
And he's just like, that doesn't hurt.
Yeah.
And
But it was just a distraction for the bomb.
So he
Then it was a bomb.
So he go stand next to the car, think really hard, and activate the car engine that blows up.
Yeah. Yeah, my idea's better.
It takes the ball out of Mike's head. Oh, the tall man, he takes the ball out of Mike's head. Because there's always another tall man. He blows one up, and another one just shows up.
Well, what we learn is that there's thousands of them.
Yeah, tens of thousands of them. And yes, he takes the ball out of his head, and Mike's like, I'm dying. And then Reggie goes to the portal. And there's more unused footage from the first movie of the ice cream truck driving into the darkness.
Yeah, which was cool.
Yeah, so nobody got pulled through a window this time at the end, right?
No. Unless they reuse the footage from the first movie.
I don't know.
I can't remember. I don't think so.
All right.
Well, that's bullshit. Somebody should have been pulled through a motherfucking window.
They just ran out of time and money. All right, let's take another break real fast. So we're coming up on Phantasm Ravager. Last one. Phantasm 5, Phantasm Ravager 2016. Directed by David Hartman, who is not Don, whatever his fucking name is.
He's a different person.
He's a different person. He was a guy who directed Winnie the Pooh TV show.
Oh, yeah.
Like cartoons and some Astro Boy and some episodes of Jackie Chan Adventures.
There you go.
And Laser Fart.
I think maybe that's why you had asked me who this guy was, and I was like, I don't know. He was like president of the Phantasm fan club or something.
Yeah.
No, I think he was just like a special effects, or he's like an animator.
And he was an animator, yeah.
Yeah, so I think it was just like I can.
And with Don, he's like, Don just was like, you're directing this movie.
Right.
He's like, okay.
Yeah.
Should we talk about Laser Fart?
You can, because I don't know anything about it. You can tell me about Laser Fart.
Laser Fart is a Dan Harmon creation, actually. So it's,
Yeah.
This movie has a character named Dawn. Laser Fart also has a character that named Dawn, or that is the same actress. So you start to see people that are like popping up here and there again. And I'm like, so my first thing was like, is this someone's producer's daughter or like their friend? They want to put them in a movie because she's not a very good actress. And I realized, she was in some other thing they did like years ago that was a cheap piece of crap or whatever. But Laser Fart is like this shot on the worst camera you could ever imagine. And it's just Dan Harmon farting lasers. And it's probably pretty good, but when I first saw it, I was like, this looks terrible. But I guess it's all a big joke, probably. I mean, Dan Harmon, you made Community, Rick and Morty. Mm-hmm. He's obviously very famous now. But back then, it was actually like nobody, and it's just some dumb thing he did. I don't know. Again, when you go into IMDb and you have the known for category and you have 4 of your best movies, and one of those movies is Laser Fart, means you probably don't direct too many movies.
Right.
So yeah, my first note was, who would you think Reggie was going to be the main character of the whole series?
I mean, that's kind of what happened with Burt Gummer.
You're right.
Which is why that was my first thought. I was like, where's the Burt Gummer, Reggie Bannister team up?
Yeah. Tremors, 6, May 1st. Also, I'm lucky because he's the best character. I'm glad it worked out for me. All right, so this movie is so many things to digest.
Is it?
Because it's so... 2016, so we're talking almost 20 years, 18 years since the last movie. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So now, I mean, people are older, and it's been a lot longer.
Yeah.
And now it's shot on digital.
Yeah.
And it fucking looks like it.
It's a typical. It looks exactly how you would expect a 2016 straight to DVD movie.
Not even though, because there's like straight to DVD movies with like Steven Seagal and shit that.
You don't
like...
get the same vibe from this as like Tremors 3.
No, that was shot on film.
I know, but I mean, it's still.
This is still better.
It's still the bad CGI, and it's still...
That is a different story.
It still looks like a sci-fi
Tremors
original.
3 was the 90s. Yeah. Or at some point. There's a reason why the bad CGI... This is
this is still what movies look like on Sci-Fi Channel.
On Sci-Fi Channel, exactly.
Which actually, we got to stop saying that, because apparently they've been putting out good shit lately.
So I don't fucking care. It's still Sci-Fi. Fuck them.
Happy looks
They ruined the Tremors TV show.
Channel 0.
Fuck them.
Okay.
Watch my Tremors TV show video. You'll see what I mean. It's the first video I started. Anyways...
The first video you started.
This is like independent filmmaking.
It's a fan film.
Right. It's as good as a fan film. This is about Hellraiser Revelations quality of photography.
Was that the Lance Henriksen one? Which one was Revelations? I probably didn't watch that one.
The one you didn't watch.
I tapped out on that one.
That was number 9, the one that had the guy who was not Doug Bradley who played Pinhead.
Yeah, I didn't watch it.
Which, hey, look forward to our Hellraiser judgment when we go watch that soon and talk about it. This is you're right. Like sci-fi. This is not professional filmmaking. Like this is the kind of shit that like. Okay, I feel bad, but I thought that they went up to and rented a cabin in the woods and shot half their movie with like a DSLR and their friends. Like 5 guys rented a cabin and shot their college film up here. It looks like a good college.
That's
film.
how the first movie was made.
Well, there you go.
You know, they took them the course like over a year. They did it on weekends.
Yeah, I heard it was kind of crazy. This feels like film students, cobbled together a little bit of some equipment, some fake guns, some props, some blood, and got their, Canon Mark 5 7D, whatever it is, Mark III, and went and shot a movie in the mountains. And then you see some of the behind-the-scenes footage, and they were using RED cameras, which we were talking about earlier. It's like, if you don't know what a RED camera is, that's a $50,000 just for the brain. And when you kit out the whole camera, you're talking like $200,000. Now, they didn't buy these. They rented them. I mean, obviously, you rent them from a rental house. But this was shot on pretty close to being professional gear. Like, you should have been able to make a movie that looks like a professional movie. This looks like we shot it with my camera.
And I don't want to shit all over it. I feel bad.
And I'm not doing this because, like, it was a bad movie, because I think the writing in this movie is actually the strongest one in the series. That was the thing I want to get to, is I think this movie, it actually made me feel really, I had a strong reaction to this movie. And I don't mean like a bad or good way. I mean, there was like emotional things that came out of me. And I'll get to that stuff.
Okay.
I'm surprised you don't know what I'm talking about.
Well, I mean, maybe. I wasn't thinking like you while I was watching it.
Okay. But I mean, it looks like shit.
There's dust on the lens.
Yeah.
There's dust and dirt all over the lens of their camera. That
everything's shot like super flat. It wasn't color graded properly or at all. It's like a TV show. This is not even. It's weird to say TV show because people are so used to Netflix now. Those shows look great. This is like soap opera, not practically soap opera level TV show. It looks bad, and then the first thing that happens is that guy pulls up in his car. Get out of the road, you asshole! Who's this actor they hired? Was this his fucking cousin? Like, he was terrible. But he's an actor in shows. Like, he's like used in random TV shows. He's fucking terrible. It's like a joke. This is like one of their friends they hired. I don't get it.
Maybe it was a friend they hired. I don't know.
But I mean, you go to IMDb and he has acting credits, just not good ones. But he's in like he was in Boston Legal or something like that for like an episode as like, bad guy number 5 or something.
It's the worst Phantasm movie.
Which is weird because it's not. It's the worst looking Phantasm movie. Also, the CGI is terrible.
Yeah, they had CGI for the
balls,
the bullet casings that are popping out of the gun as he's shooting.
Oh yeah, this is now we've moved into that category of like, we need to save money on a budget, so we're not. I get people don't use squibs anymore a lot because it's like, you got to make sure they go off, and then if you ruin the shot, you got to do it all again, and the clothes have blood on them. But this is we don't shoot blanks and guns anymore. We have the actors just pretend to shoot a gun, and then we'll put a muzzle flash on the gun with CG. Like, that was the worst thing to happen to movies and TV shows, was when they said, oh, well, we don't even need to have blanks anymore. We can just pretend, and then we'll just fix it in post, which you could do if you're good at it, but most people aren't. Talking about Neil Breen, that's the one where the guy by the train tracks aims the gun at the guy's head and goes, and then the guy goes, oh, I fell over and died.
Podcast.
I know. Go. I don't even. What was the game? What's that movie called?
Oh fuck! I don't remember.
Go look up. There's a Red Letter Meter, Best of the Worst. Neil Breen. I don't know what it is. All I'm saying is that like this is, and you watch there was a bloopers reel. Like you watch him shooting the gun. It's just him shaking the gun. Like they didn't even have real weapons that shot like pop cap gun. It's bad. It looks bad.
You say that now, but if we had this technology years ago, Brandon Lee would still be with us.
Wow. It's not the 90s. It's not the 90s. Oh, that's dark.
Ooh.
It's true though, but don't let Hollywood put CG gunshots and everything. This is like somebody got a copy of After Effects, went to the internet and was like, tutorial, how do I add muzzle flashes to a gun? Just tell the actor, just pull the trigger and then move the gun like it's shooting, It looks territe I'm really upset about this. Sorry, I just
tell,
I really
yeah.
don't
I mean,
know
I don't
this.
know. This isn't like I said. This isn't worse than any other sci-fi original movie.
I got home late from work because we were not arguing. We were at work talking about like photography and cinematography, and it just said there's so many people on YouTube who are like, here's how to make your DSLR footage look cinematic, and you look at it and go, you don't fucking know how to make it look cinematic. Like, you don't work in Hollywood. You work on YouTube. I mean, yeah, we make YouTube videos, but we don't purport to make we're not indie filmmakers. We shot some stuff at the comic book store and we put it on Instagram. Again, we're not trying to make real stuff. We have what we have. We don't have much of a budget. We didn't go to film school. We kind of just learn as we go. We're just having fun, but we're not taking our movie making like mad serious, yo. Like, check out my cool, heavy grain, color corrected footage. If I could do that, I would. But there's so many people who think they know, and you're like, dude, your footage is terrible. You're a YouTube movie guy. You're not a professional. Every Frame of Painting, right? He stopped, didn't he?
Mm-hmm.
Because he has a real job editing movies. Like in Hollywood, he doesn't have time for YouTube because he has a real job. The people who really do the stuff don't talk about it on YouTube because they have real jobs and they don't want to share their secrets a lot of times either. People who really color correct don't make tutorials on YouTube. It's indie filmmakers. And I feel like that's what leads to movies like this. People who they hire, who they think they know what they're doing, and you watch it, you're like, you're a college student, right? Like, no, I get paid professionally. I'm like, wait, you get paid for this? You're not a college student. This is college student shit. This is stuff that we would have done in college had we had technology like we have now, you know?
I think you're giving us too much credit.
But I'm saying if we weren't in college that many years ago when the flip cameras were a big deal.
They still have like car stunts and stuff. There's all kinds of shit. Making movies are hard.
100%.
Like making video games. Like what do they say on Giant Bomb? Like making video games is hard. And it's hard enough like after everything that goes into making a movie, if it comes out the other end being good, that's a fucking miracle.
Absolutely, I agree. The difference is, it's not that the acting. Well, when you hire bad actors, you get bad acting. But
and why is Phantasm 5 the hill that we're
because it's
dying on this?
All the other, and this is not a digital versus film, but if you look at it, you're like, it is obvious. The first 5 seconds of the movie, you're like, this shit's garbage. The other 4 movies were shot on film, and you can immediately tell it's digital. And this is not like Tarantino and those guys use film and it's amazing, and then you have guys who are like, I use digital, and you wouldn't notice a difference. The debate's over. Digital is just as good nowadays. There's no difference. It's your cinematographer, your DP, it's can you light correctly, and do you know how to color correct? You can make digital look like film, no problem. This is people who own a digital camera and don't know what to do with it. I don't know what to do with it. I'm not a professional. If I was, I wouldn't be here doing this podcast probably. I'd be like...
So it's kind of like, why even waste the money or why even waste that technology on them? Because you guys could have done this with,
Why did you rent a
shitty
red
equipment,
camera?
it would have looked just as bad.
It looked just as bad. It's mind-boggling to me. And I don't think... I get when college students do this, when they do their student films, and when you get things like on Sci-Fi where it's just like The Asylum, the Mockbusters, the Transmorphers, they look like this.
I mean, it doesn't look any better or worse than like Sharknado. Like this is.
I think I haven't actually watched Sharknado.
I'm talking on my ass. I haven't said I haven't watched those, but that's kind of what I imagine.
I think Sharknado actually looks better. But yes, they look cheap and quick to produce, but nobody cares in Sharknado because it's sharks in a tornado.
Yeah.
This is one of those things where you're like, you could make it look better. You just don't know what you're doing. And then the CG world takes over near the end, where literally everything was filmed on a green screen. And it looks like a PlayStation 1 game.
Yeah.
Or maybe a PlayStation 2 game.
Yeah. I feel, because it's like, this movie's not going to get made unless we do it this way, right? And maybe nobody ever makes a Phantasm movie again, so we got to go all out, right?
Right.
Like, even if people want to see, like, the end of the world Phantasm style, I'm like, I get it. I mean, like, they probably said to themselves, like, this isn't going to be good. But, like, if we don't do it, then maybe it never gets done.
Right. But, like, do it within your limits. If you don't have the budget to make a post-apocalyptic world, downtown LA, cities, skyrise, like, San Andreas or Day After Tomorrow where the tornadoes are tearing up buildings, then don't write that movie.
I think it's just a different mentality, especially with like the horror movies and stuff. They don't think that way. They don't care about that. I mean, some do, but like...
But you would put your money into good creature effects. You would have like a good monster effect and someone tearing apart, but you would lack other places. I don't know where any of the money went.
I think it's more like it goes back to original Evil Dead and the original Phantasm, where it's the fun of like, well, we want to do this, so how can we do it? And it's not about whether it's going to look good or not. It's like, is it going to look good enough? Like, can you accomplish it?
But like you said,
there's still like
dust on the lens.
It's pretty bad.
The first shot in the movie,
sure,
you can tell there's dirty lens.
Sure, but also he's getting chased by a ball and slams his brakes really hard, and it goes into his glove box, and then he shoots it in the glove box, and that was kind of funny.
But then, like, you have the dead guy on the road, and you can tell he just poured like ketchup on him. Like, it doesn't even look like good blood effects anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes part of it did, and then it was immediately.
But again, when you were making a movie when you were a kid, it wasn't about like it was just.
They're not children.
But that's the Hollywood low budget Hollywood horror filmmaking. I can't talk. Low budget indie horror filmmaking is kids making movies. That's what it is.
And I don't disagree sometimes, but here's the problem. You've had someone who's been making movies for 30, 40 years, who made movies when there was film, who has enough like knowledge and expertise that they shouldn't be doing this.
Yeah.
I get a budget. I get budgets, but you can't tell me you don't know how to color correct or just spend the money
Are
and
you
get
gonna
one color
you go
corrector.
back watch like Stephen Chow movies that have kind of like over the top effects and stuff like this stuff, like really really bad poor CGI and shit. Like
China
you don't
went-
really like give
China
that
went
her
through
a
a-
hard time.
China went through a period when they were like first started getting really big with CGI effects, and a lot of them looked pretty bad. I don't know if you kind of just go like, whatever, that was their thing. Like that, I know what you mean, but they're goofy movies.
This is a goofy movie.
Those movies still look better. They still look like they were shot on
It's funny
film.
because
or
when I
something.
said this is a goofy movie, I was actually imagining the Disney movie from the early 1990s called a
The
Goofy movie.
or the Goof Troop or whatever. I don't know. There's just something about, and I don't like that. There's a wave of like indie filmmaking that looks like this because this is not acceptable. It's acceptable to make it. I mean, you look at something like Room, wins an Oscar, or she wins an Oscar for acting. Brie Larson. I think someone won an Oscar. I don't know. You know, if you want to make a movie and you shoot one fucking location, you can do that. It doesn't cost much money.
Well, that's kind of more like the fourth one. Like the last movie, I think is more in that vein because they're like, we did not have the money, so what to do? Well, I mean, for better or for worse, we'll make it a movie about wandering around in the desert.
You're right.
And then we're also let's dip back into all this unused footage, and we'll find a way to use that.
Yeah.
So that's what that movie is. Again, for better or worse, but that is more a question of how do we live within the means that we have. Whereas in the next one is, but I really want to have Phantasm take over the planet. And I really want to have like post-apocalyptic Mad Max style whatever. So we have computers. So fuck it, let's just do it.
I guess, and it could just be like you're talking about being ageist. It's like you have all these newer people coming up who've gone to film school and have all this technology at their hands, and they're coming up and they're starting to be the people that are working on this stuff. And I'm like, I don't know, they're just not teaching. Like, you need to learn from the guys who did it because you look at something like Mad Max Fury Road. You know, that's a fucking awesome shot, stunts, people, cars, very little CG, and the CG that's there is only for the background. You know, someone shot it for
It's actually
real.
a ton of CG. It's just not the kind of CG people think about.
It's
when they
like,
think
there's more rocks in the background.
It's more like there's 15 different cars driving at separate times and separate
Right.
shots, but we composite them all together, and
But I mean, the things that happen are real, you know.
Yeah.
But it's the way it's shot. Like you see you get it color corrected, the orange and teal and everything. Like, I don't know.
You're really going to compare Phantasm Ravager to what is quite possibly one of the greatest movies made in the 21st century.
Right. But what I'm saying is to learn from what that movie did, to try to emulate that versus look at Marvel and go with this really flat profile with no color.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Marvel movies have no color. They're so boring looking. It really rubs me the wrong way because I do a lot of things on YouTube. Like, how do I do this in After Effects, or how do I do this in Premiere? And I want to learn. And I watch tutorials of people, and I'm just like, you think you're making cinema? You're making video. You're shooting at 30 frames a second. You don't even know what you do. Oh, you shoot 24. It's like a movie. Dude, that's step one. There's 50 steps to go. You did 3 of them. You don't know how to shoot a movie. You don't have a cinema lens. You're not using P lenses or L lenses. Like, you don't know what you're doing. Stop trying to teach the new generation this is how you make a movie for the independent world. No, you need to go hire and rent real equipment, real lighting, get a real cinematographer, and learn what to do. Maybe they cost money. Then you shouldn't be doing this. Or you should write your story to be interesting in a small environment that you can afford, so you can spend the money on a better photographer or DP, or, you know, whatever.
I'm curious what this movie is to Phantasm fans, like people that were actually fans.
It's just a fucking what's
You
the
think?
word?
Jerk off?
No, but there's a term I'm thinking of.
Masturbatory?
Kind of. It's just, and I liked it. I liked seeing all the people come back. I get it. That's the only reason I enjoyed it. But again, it didn't need to have that.
I don't know if that's true. I think probably a lot of people were disappointed in this.
Oh, I don't know. I didn't read reviews, but okay. I think the writing was the best written one because there's the most real life issues to tackle here. So now that I'm done ranting forever about terrible,
you're going through something.
it just triggered me today. Sorry. Okay, so it starts off with him in the desert. Reggie, he's wearing his ice cream suit. He gets his car back from some guy that stole his car. It's pretty cool. He's like, oh, I put a gun in the center console. No, I put it in the dash. And then he shoots the guys, get out of here, and then the balls show up. Whatever. What happens is, and this feels like the second and third movie where you're like, what's going on? I don't get it. Reggie wakes up in a mental institution, and Mike's pushing him in a wheelchair. And it's like, wait a minute. Are we back to like retconning where like none of this happened? And it's all in Reggie's mind. Like he went crazy after like the original thing happened. Like he went nuts. And this whole movie will be constantly going back and forth between him and a mental institution saying they have dementia, and then cross-cutting to him in a burned-out mental institution fighting a war with Mike as like the leader of the resistance.
He's Kyle Reese.
Yeah.
Or not Kyle Reese. He's
no, I mean,
no, not Kyle Reese. He's John Connor.
Oh yeah, he's the one they rally behind. And it's cool because like, you know, in his war world, like 2 people grab him, the bad guy is, and is like, ah, and then when it flashes back to the mental institution, it's like 2 orderlies grabbed him. Mm-hmm. Like he's living these dual personalities, which is interesting because some of the other movies talked about parallel dimensions and shit. Like, what if he actually is going through both of these at the same time? What if he actually is living through both, and they're actually both happening, you know? Or is it he's just fucking crazy?
That's interesting territory that's not explored at all.
What? Are you joking?
Yeah. No,
Oh.
I mean, no, I'm not joking. That's not what the movie is doing.
What is the movie doing then?
No, that stuff was all tricks. Like he was hooked up to a machine.
Well, before that, and even after that.
Well, yeah, before that. They're just bouncing around in time. None of these movies make any sense.
Right, but this is the one that tries to kind of pull it back to reality somewhat. Like, okay, so there's the beginning when he's in the woods. He meets a girl. She ends up dying. You meet the other guy. His horse dies. The guy hits the ball with
Why
his
the
axe.
fucking sphere kills the horse?
I don't know. The guy hits the ball like Babe Ruth with an axe, and then it bounces off the wall and hits the guy in the neck and kills him.
Oh, from this point going forward, I just started referring to Reggie as Trunk Rambo, Car Trunk Rambo.
Oh my God, yeah. Okay, yes. At one point, he pulls a bunch of guns out of his trunk. I just want to get to where it's at. Oh my.
Not just a bunch of guns. He pulls out guns. He pulls out a samurai sword.
I'll get there. There's a scene in the car when he readjusts the rearview mirror when he picks up the girl, Dawn. Dawn, who's later somebody else. They had to blur his sunglasses. You could tell something looked wrong. I saw
reflection of the
because their camera was reflecting in his sunglasses. They had to blur his again. Like at least they took the time to do that, but it was really obvious too. Reggie tells everyone his story. Like he doesn't think these people are crazy. Like you know, you pick someone hitchhiking, and you're like, oh, this tall man, and he's been going town to town. She's just like, okay, yeah, sure, go sleep on my couch, crazy person.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then she was like, he wanted to bang, and then she's like, no.
And if he had just remembered her name when he was writing her song.
Yeah. Then she looks over at her bed, and there's an empty spot, and she goes downstairs like maybe she wants to fuck him, and he's already asleep, so he didn't get to fuck her. Yeah. He sees the old man, the tall man, in the mental institution with him.
Yeah.
And then you start to think, is this one of those cases where he's been seeing people around him and been putting them in his crazy dream world, right? And then you see the old lady, the lady from the first one with the knife, is under the bed, and they're all creepy, and she's old there. It's just, what's real, what's not, right?
That's what I'm asking myself right now.
Okay, here's what I said. He's got a samurai sword / serrated combat knife thingy.
Yeah, that's right. He's got like some fucked up machete, like, what was that place in the mall? You could always go and they had the stupid swords that you could buy.
I know what you're talking about.
Like that's where you get that from. That's not a real sword. It's like, not a real anything.
It's like as long as a samurai sword, but it's like a combat Bowie knife, and it's weird and
it's the shit that like breaks like immediately.
Yeah, he has multiple modded guns, grenades. He has a World War II grenade, like the Germans would throw in a tank. Nunchucks again, regular grenades. His Chrome 1911. He has a PDW, a MAC-10, a shotgun, multiple handguns with weird like laser sights on them, like the Terminator gun in the first movie, the first Terminator. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
An axe, a chainsaw, and then instead of driving his car, he runs into the woods carrying all these weapons.
That's what my note is. What happened to his car? So there's a scene when he's all of a sudden just wandering around. Nothing happened to his car.
Yeah.
What's he doing?
Yeah. Okay. So all the beginning of the movie is just fucking who cares? He's in the woods. The lady dies. The guy dies. The horse dies. The tall man tries to make a deal with Reggie. He says, "If you just stay out of my way, I'll give you your family back." Why doesn't he just kill Reggie? He doesn't need Reggie. Reggie's not like a superhero. Whatever. I want to get to the point. The serious stuff I want to talk. This movie made me have emotional reactions because it's actually made me really think about mental illness, dementia, and what someone like this might actually be going through.
It's funny you mentioned that. So I don't remember much from this interview, and I feel bad. That podcast I was talking about earlier, they're interviewing Don Coscarelli, and they're talking to him about Bubba Hotep. And he actually goes on for a little bit about how, like, not respect, that's the wrong word, but just like
not making fun
empathy,
of.
sympathy for are elderly in facilities and things like that. So it is somewhat of something he deals with in his movies.
A social commentary,
Sure.
if you will. Well, because in this one, like you said, Mike tells Reggie that he has dementia on set, early, whatever. But you start to feel bad because you can't. Well, one, as a viewer, you don't know what's real, what's not. But to Reggie, it's like, think about if he was, this is a real person. He doesn't know if he's actually in a mental institution or if he's being tricked or if he thinks he's in a war. Like, it was actually depressing to me. I was watching this and I actually got sad because I felt bad. Because think about that. Think about when you don't know where you are. If you ever had a family member suffer dementia, it's...
Well, yeah, I definitely have. But I think about it in movies that are actually trying to make that. I didn't really think this movie was trying to make that point. I think you came to that point, like, on your own.
No, it has to be. There has to be something there that they were... I mean, this wild stuff is in there.
You think the whole thing ends and the entire Phantasm franchise just might be like the sad delusions of some poor old guy?
No, see, that's the thing is none of the series makes any sense. It's always been some weird fantastical...
And that's the metaphor for what it's like to lose your mind?
I think when you talk about like the first movie being made in a bubble and not with a franchise in mind, I feel like this is kind of also like, the characters, but don't think about the other movies. Like, this is its own thing. No, there's a lot to really to take away from this. Just he's also frustrated. And you get that, like I said, if anyone's ever had a family member suffer through dementia, most of it is they just forget where they are and who they are. And they can get upset and stuff. But not like, I'm leading a double life as like a secret agent. That's usually not what happens with people with dementia. They don't think they're like James Bond all of a sudden. But
but they don't know what time. I mean, at least in my experience, they don't know what year
it is, right?
Not just they don't know what year it is. Like, they think that they're like in 1973.
And that comes up, and he goes, "Where are we?" And he says, "What do you mean where?" Tall Man says, "It's when are we?" This is actually all like kind of a big allegorical thing for dementia and mental illness. Like, these people are having these visions and stuff, and it's fucking depressing because you don't know what's real. As a viewer, we don't know which one's the real one. Imagine the person living it, it's touching too. The nurse's name is Rose Butts, Butts. Very serious movie, No, but I mean, when he's happy to see Mike again, Mike, man, we got to catch up, and nothing ever feels quite real. It's all that Silent Hill dream logic.
Because there's a fucking video game from that point on.
Right, and it's like, yeah, man, we got a lot to talk about, and there's just weird stuff happening, but you feel this. We talked about the beach scene where they're in the car and they're playing the guitar. This is all tied into the trio. They talk about when they get in the car, they're like, this is the original trio, man. We're all together again. We're a happy kind of family. And what's really happening is Reggie's in a bed dying. And the two guys are there with him as he's dying.
I completely forgot about that. I must have not been paying as much attention.
And it happens like in one world, he's dying in the bed. He's like passing on. And in the other one, he just got back in the Barracuda with machine guns coming out of it.
Yeah.
Jody's driving. Mike's in the passenger seat. They pick up Chunk, the dwarf who's on their side. And Rocky gets in the car again. Like he's living the dream. He's going off into heaven as he's passing away in the real world. And it's this really touching, kind of weird.
I'm not giving the movie any credit at all because at this point I'm just thinking like none of this makes any fucking. I do like completely checked out at this point.
Right.
What you're saying is that like there's like multiple dimensions and Reggie exists in more than one dimension, and he's
been traveling through portals. What if he's?
But it's not just one person jumping through dimensions. Like there's a version of Reggie that exists in a place where he's in a mental facility.
No, I'm saying what if like his mind has merged with like the portal, right? That he's actually going back and forth between them without having to go through the tuning forks. And he's experiencing both of them at the same time. It's one thing. There's another thing the tall man says to Reggie. Like I said, why wouldn't tall man just kill Reggie? And tall man even says to him, he's like, you're not even real. You're just a bad dream of mine.
Mm-hmm.
And it really made me kind of go, I had to pause it and I had to stop and think for a while. I was like, think about this. Tall man's an alien is what we gather. Like there was a guy who went to another planet and came back, he's all fucked up. What if this species or this alien, this dimension, like his mind telekinetic powers he has, what if he thinks of something a la Ghostbusters 1, the Stay Puft Man? What if he's conjuring up his own bad dreams? And Reggie is a construct of the tall man's fucking psyche. And Reggie is not a real person. And the tall man's trying to get rid of Reggie because Reggie, it's bugging him because it's his own. That's why he can't kill Reggie. Because he's not a real person. He's not a real thing. He's a construct of the tall man's mind. His own doubts, his own fears and depression or whatever you want to call it. But Reggie doesn't fucking know that. He thinks he's a real person. What if all that's fucking true? I mean, why would the tall man say that? Why would that line be in the movie? He doesn't say, you're just annoyance to me. He's like, you're my bad dream. You're not even real. And then he's going through all these fucked up weird dementia and then jumping between portals and stuff. And I was like, that's super depressing because all the memories they have throughout these movies keep getting retconned. They go into a new movie and go, that thing didn't happen. This thing happened. He keeps fucking with their mind. What if they're not even real? What if they're figments of the tall man's imagination, I guess you could say?
Almost like they're characters created by a writer over the course of 30 years and who can't quite get a handle on his mythology.
Right, but there are very specific things that happen in this movie and things that are said that make you kind of really question that. Now, the war shit aside, I'm talking the patient in a facility whose friend is visiting him and says, the doctor told me to keep you talking, tell me your stories, keeps your mind going. And then Mike comes the next time and goes, I had a dream about all the things you were talking about. Mike had a dream of Phantasm 4, the whole thing. And now he has a thing in his head, right? And then he wakes up again and Mike comes in a second time dressed completely different and goes, we have to get out of here, Reggie. You know? All these things he's happening and it's fucking punishing the character. Everything bad is happening to him. And I don't know what to take from any of that stuff, but I got it as like the way we treat mental illness in this country and what they have to go through that we're not understanding. And I felt really bad. I think there's a lot to this movie. I think it's a terrible movie.
We should watch Bubba Hotep.
It's another one, you know? It's like
You know what it's about.
But do you entertain the idea of these crazy old people? Or are they actually fighting a butt-sucking vampire?
Oh, you have seen Bubba Hotep.
Yeah, of course I have.
Okay.
I own 2 copies of Bubba Hotep, actually. You know, he thinks he's John F. Kennedy, but he's an old black man. Is that funny or is that actually mean? It's hard to tell. You know, are they actually fighting a demon or not? And, you know, that can be, tons of movies can have this problem and this, that, and you think, oh, Falcon Phantasm. But, like, this movie is a departure from the other movies. Like, huge. It's totally different. It's totally acted different. You know, they make him look old. They make him look decrepit, and he's dying, and Jodie and them are serious. And I think Reggie puts into that character, you know, a lot of, like, there's real humanity here. But it's lost in the fact that the movie's garbage.
What happens at the end? They, like, leave it open for more bullshit? I can't remember.
I mean, Rocky saves Chunk.
That's right.
So,
like,
you know, Rocky comes
now
back.
Now they just live in Mad Max Phantasm universe, and they're going to go up north where it's cold.
Yeah, exactly. And then he grabs her boob with his one hand that he has because his other hand got blown off. But hey, that's the best thing about fireballs. It amputates and it cauterizes the wound at the same time.
Amazing writing.
Yeah, I mean, again, you get past some of the stuff. There's a message here, but again, it's a really touching scene when he like is passing away, and he's in the backseat of the Barracuda, and you can tell he's like falling asleep, like he's exhausted, and that's when the adventure starts. And they get out of the mental facility, which is Linda Vista Hospital, which is in LA. That I think we tried to go to one time because it's like abandoned.
The abandoned place. They filmed some like Nightmare on Elm Street movie there. They probably filmed all kinds of movies there.
I feel like that was the one that we tried to go to.
That was one of the ones that weren't going to get in that place.
But yeah, I think it's, I don't know. There's, it's like if you get past how bad of a movie it is in the beginning, you kind of just take the message. I think it's actually pretty well written for that stuff.
I mean, stepping back.
Oh, and also don't forget the line, oh God, where is it? It's when the little person gives Mike the bazooka, the RPG, and I wrote it down somewhere. Fire in the motherfucking hole.
Right.
So again, you take these like weird things like that with this very serious story of, and then the very end of the movie, they're transitioning between all the different versions of Reggie. Reggie's in the mountains still with like brown hair and all of his guns. He's gray haired, like dying in bed. He's like that middle one in the Mad Max world with the machine gun car. And they're like showing his history. They're showing Mike as a kid. Like they're going through all of it. And I feel it's like this is the moment you're dying and your brain is processing your entire life. And then you're moving on to hopefully heaven of sorts, or like, you know, whatever you want to do when you're dying, your brain makes like paradise for yourself. It's very touching. It's kind of weird to end on a serious note here, but like,
I mean, the series also deals obviously with death and loss and you know, and things like that too. Less, I mean, the first movie more than anything, I guess, but you know, that stuff's all there too. But
well, I mean,
now,
well, okay, I didn't want to go because there's some stuff in the movie I want to talk about, but I'm kind of skipping. I'll get back to that. But hey, when you want to end a serious movie like this, what do? What is the best way to end a serious movie like this?
At this point, I would say keep using another repurposed shot from the first movie.
You roll the credits to a rap song called Reggie Rap.
Oh, I fast forwarded through it, so I didn't.
They wrote a rap song about Phantasm, and it plays during the credits.
Well, I'll bring it back home now and say, is it any better than a lip in the hood here to do no good?
It's about that.
Okay.
It's the Addams Family. they had a rap song on their credits too.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. But okay, I did. There are some stuff in there. There's a bad joke, like an Austin Powers steamroller joke. Didn't play. He shoots the woman who stabbed him many years ago. He goes into a cave, and then the ceiling disappears, and Tall Man shows up. None of it makes any sense. Dawn is now Jane. Why they have that? It's like Silent Hill torture nightmare. Like I said, interesting. If you're not even real, you're my bad dream. That's what he says. We're talking about what happening is, there's a war. The Tall Man has like taken over Earth. And there's like giant balls floating in the sky. Everything's red. And the Resistance fighting dwarves. And shooting guys wearing gas masks, gravediggers. And then during the credits, they're like shooting RPGs in the sky. And flying F-16s between two giant balls. So the giant balls would crash into each other.
Yeah, I forgot about that. Yep.
So I guess they were winning the war slowly or something like that. So all the things I said, there's also another line in the Fire world where this, and again, all shot green screen, everything is fake. Backgrounds, everything is 100% fake. Tall Man says to Reggie, where is it? I lost it. He said, okay, I'm going to mention it. Every tall man deserves an amusement. So he was like, why are you, there's 10,000 tall men. There's more than me. You keep blowing me up. It doesn't matter. I'm going to keep coming back. He's like, well, then why am I still here? Why haven't you killed us? And his thing was like, well, I deserve to have some fun while I do it, right? So the idea there too is like, again, is this a construct? Like, did he create Reggie just for his own amusement? To play with him? To torture him? To put him through all this shit? I don't know. Yeah.
No, it's just meant to be mysterious, and none of it makes any sense. He says, I don't need Michael anymore. I don't need you anymore. When did you ever need him?
Yeah.
What did you do with him? What? Yeah. Hey, I'm getting really tired.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Do you want to rank these movies?
Yeah, I had an actual visceral reaction to this movie.
No, that's
and
cool.
I took it very
just don't. I
serious.
canch handle now. Let's go back and
as much like we talk about Bubba Hotep. Dementia is a real thing for people going through some mental health issues, especially after stuff that happened recently. Don't take mental health as a joke anymore. Like it was never funny. It's not the 70s. It's 2018. Like these are serious issues we should tackle. Anyways.
Hey man, my grandmother raised me in Alzheimer's and dementia, didn't know who I was anymore, and saw gorillas and trees and thought Santa wanted to rape her or something.
Wow.
Yeah, there was all kind of, that was some fun stuff. And, it's fine. And then it's funny, like, I watched The Notebook for the first time last year.
Yeah.
I'm like, let's watch this chick flick, okay? Like, everybody, fine, let's watch it. And it's fine. It's a totally enjoyable movie. I'm watching it. And then, everybody talks about they cry in The Notebook, right? They cry in The Notebook. And I'm always like, oh, that's because it's like a cheesy love chick flick thing. And there'll be something. They get to the end, and big spoiler, I guess, if you've never seen The Notebook, who gives a shit? But the whole fucking thing is about how these lovers, love each other so much, and one of them gets Alzheimer's, and she just forgets, can't remember who the guy is, even though they were so in love before. But like every once in a while, she seems to like kind of remember him, like every couple of years or something like that. So every day he takes out the notebook and he tells her the story of their whole relationship or whatever. And I don't care about the romance or any of that kind of stuff, but I'm fucking a blubbery baby by the end of the thing. And I look over at my fiance. I'm like, you fucking bitch, you needed to give me a fucking trigger warning. You didn't tell me the whole thing was going to be about Alzheimer's and how your loved one, like, it sucks. It's not fun to see somebody, and some other things I don't need to go into detail with, like somebody that you're close to. It's one thing for somebody to die. It's a whole other thing to see somebody like lose their mind.
Yeah. And we went through that with Cindy too. Like we had a friend that, and you obviously much more than me, that started hearing voices on the radio and shit like that. Like it was hard to, how do you?
Yeah, it was weird.
And you feel bad too because you can't abandon them. Because there is still a person in there, but again, this is a very serious podcast now. My grandma passed away this year, and she been suffering through dementia for a while, and like wouldn't recognize who we are, and my mom, stuff like that. And it's one of those things where it's sad because when she finally passed away, it was actually like good because you feel it's not it's been a burden on so many people for so long. But yeah, they're also unhappy, exactly. So it's crazy. One of the biggest fears is like the Notebook situation. Is
same here, and that's why everybody
never get close to anybody. It's like live alone, never make friends, because it's not better to have loved than lost. Just fucking never love anybody ever.
It's always a big joke with me, like, oh, Ryan's absent-minded, he can't remember anything, and I'm like, motherfuckers are all making jokes. Like, it's all early Alzheimer's. I'm gonna lose my mind by the time I'm 40. But just to keep it light, yeah. Yeah.
I'll say this.
Hey, man, if Phantasm was good for anything, we had an earnest discussion about mental health.
And the only reason this movie worked is because if you watch the first 4 and then you go into this, you have attachments to characters and you kind of care and you really care about Reggie. Reggie's the one you really like.
You're also making this movie sound better than it is. It's really not very good.
It's not very good. But there's a lot to take from it. I will say this. There's one outtake, which is sad but hilarious. During Reggie's death scene they were shooting, fucking ice cream truck drove by. And the music was playing with the ice cream truck, and it was ruining the shot.
Yeah.
And you could tell the guy who plays Mike was laughing.
Yeah.
But I think there's something poetic about that.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, something there.
There was 2 shots. There was one they were like doing the war scene, and there was an ice cream truck outside, and they were like kind of waiting for it to go by. But to happen during the death scene, I'd imagine there was something very, really like, reaction I would have had. It was very touching, very serious. So
where did you see that? You did it on YouTube or
it's
what?
it was on the special features on the disc.
Oh, you kept the special features.
Yeah. And then, Angus Scrimm passed away not long after
That's
the movie came
right,
out.
yeah. Angus Scrimm passed away very shortly after this movie came out.
And so Phantasm is done, I would say.
I disagree.
Oh, no, I just mean, like, if you're going to do it again, you can. But
I think
who's going to pull the reins up on? I mean, you can't even make a fucking Hellraiser. They made...
like fucking Tarantino and shit wanted to do something. I mean, not Tarantino, but Roger Avery, who co-wrote Pulp Fiction,
right.
And he like wrote some other stuff, and now he's kind of like nobody gives a shit about him anymore. But like he wrote, like, there's a script out there on the internet. Actually, I've heard it's terrible, but like he wrote like a sequel to Phantasm. Like, that was all he wanted to do. Like, what do you want? You just co-wrote Pulp Fiction, the biggest fucking indie movie of all time. What are you going to do next? I'm going to bring Phantasm back. And I think that is a testament to. I think there's a lot of crazy, weird, original ideas in this franchise, and they could do something.
If you
with
go
it.
original, if you're gonna write Phantasm, you have to just abandon everything Phantasm is, because most of what Phantasm is people jumping out the back window of a car, getting pulled through a window, and making no sense. There's a scene. It might be this one or the one where when he picks up Dawn in the car. Just to go back to that, he says to her, "Oh, I can help you out." And she's like, "Oh, I thought you were somebody else," which makes me wonder: is she waiting on the guy that just died, that he almost killed, that did die?
You're
from
right. That's
balls?
a weird line that makes you think like about the multiple dimensions, or there's like another. Why would she?
No, because she says, "I was waiting on someone in the car."
Somebody...
The guy that stole his car originally.
Oh,
was she waiting on that guy who's now dead?
I don't know.
He goes, she's like, "My car it just stopped working," and he goes, "Oh, I don't mean to help you with that. I mean that," and he points out the passenger. Like the windshield area towards the passenger side, they don't show what he's pointing at.
Right, and he's like, "Nobody can help you with that. I can drive you to the next town, though."
I had no idea what they were talking about, unless he was like pointing to his dick, which I thought was what he was trying to say, but it didn't come off as like, "Oh, Reggie, stop trying to fuck ladies." So there's another one of those. This series makes no sense. So if you're gonna write a Phantasm movie, don't follow the Phantasm rules. They don't make sense. Just have a tall man.
Don't follow the rules because there are no rules. But you just make a movie about a guy who's like an alien or something, and he makes dwarves out of people for slaves, and he's got floating balls that go flying around. That's all you got to do. The rest of it,
stay far as fuck away from it.
Do whatever you want. And have it make sense, and come up with an actual mythology for this that makes sense. Just do the cool shit from the thing, and then wrap it in something that, like, you know, can keep going and not make you scratch your head.
That's what I'm saying. Don't try to, like, Jody and Mike, and also just
no, none of that.
The tuning forks.
No, none of that. Just the ideas. That's all.
All right.
Mortuary, dwarves, like, that's it.
Gravediggers and shit.
Car chases, guns, flamethrowers, chainsaw fights, 4-barrel shotguns. Okay, let's rank these and put this thing to bed.
And be done with this. Again, one thing I was going to say is Hellraiser Judgment. We haven't watched Hellraiser Judgment yet. We're going to watch it in a couple days and review that. I just talk about, like, you talk about making a new Phantasm, and I just think nobody can make competent. You can't get a good Hellraiser movie made.
I know.
You keep fucking Children of the Corn. They keep making these movies that keep the rights, but no one gives a shit about any, except for horror fans.
Right.
But no one's making these movies anywhere near level of even.
Maybe for television, like, because that seems that's where things are living now.
Right.
We're gonna get a Child's Play television show, Tremors, fucking Bates Motel, Exorcist, like literally everything.
But if you were to ask regular people who whatever, Tremors, like even Tremors 5 would be like, bleh. Because it's just, but I think Tremors 5 actually looks like a real movie. I liked it and everything. But they're not going to get attention or appreciation or made correctly. So there's no hope that, like, oh, the next one, nobody's getting good ones made right now. It's all either new shit or bigger franchises and things like that. Superheroes. No one gives a shit about fucking Phantasm 6.
Yeah. J.J. Abrams does.
Again, you're right. That's the kind of thing that could push it. But, you're going to get another fucking... It's going to be Phantasm 6, a.k.a. Cloverfield.
Phantasm is... Yeah.
That's what you're
Phantasm
gonna get.
is a cool name. And it's a name that people kind of maybe know, sort of. And I don't really think it's any different than like Texas Chainsaw Massacre. They brought Texas Chainsaw Massacre back.
Right, but how many of those have they made in the last couple of years that no one gives a shit about?
They did, right? But actually, they did just make another one recently. It's supposed to be bad.
Didn't like Friday the 13th got remade, and then they were going to make another one, and it got canceled, right?
Yeah, I don't know what the fuck they're
that's
doing
the
with this
biggest
stuff.
franchise you have is Friday the 13th, and that it's been however many
I think
years.
that the big problem is that
You can't even get the fucking Blu-ray because
Saw.
the box set can't.
Saw they couldn't. The biggest problem with these things is like with Friday the 13th is like give that to somebody that
Yeah.
like wants to do something with it. Somebody that grew up with the franchise
Speaking
and
of
wants
which,
to do something crazy.
There's an outtake, and I don't know what the joke was. I don't know if it's real, but they had a big dwarf. They were going to have a large dwarf that was played by Derek Mears, who plays the new Jason Voorhees, not Kane Hodder. So I don't know if he was actually the guy wearing the suit, or they were just trying to make a joke in the outtakes. They were like, "Oh, this is our Derek Mears dwarf" or something like that. But I thought that'd be interesting.
Okay, literally my head hurts. We need to stop. Rank.
Did you know the budget on Hellraiser Revelations was $200,000? But you didn't watch it anyway, so what the fuck do you know? I just listened to a good podcast.
For $100,000 more they could have made.
Interviewed the guy
Phantasm.
who wrote Revelations and had been a special effects guy on had been doing Doug Bradley's makeup for those movies. They offered Doug Bradley $5,000 to be Pinhead for that movie, and he lives in England.
Yeah.
And he was like, "You've got to be fucking kidding me." Just give you an idea like what a $200,000 movie could look like. Gives you an idea like what these budgets might be for these movies. We're talking $300,000 to $250,000. I don't know.
Yeah.
So you can rent the red equipment, but you can't make it look like a good movie. Rank on them.
Can I guess? I think it'd be fun now for us to guess each other's rankings.
Okay, I have to
You
think
wanna
about
try that?
Let me, since dead air gets cut easily, we can have a second of dead air here where we think.
Well, I mean, I already have my rankings. I was just more going to try to guess what your rankings are going to be.
It's weird. It's really weird, but I think it's because they're kind of forgetful in many ways. It's just gonna go down the like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You know what I mean? Like just kind of down the line. But I'm gonna guess you're just gonna go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
No.
1, 3, 2, 5, 4, 5.
Yeah.
3 is which? When the mic comes back. No. It would be like
3 is just fucking crazy. And it's dumber than 2, but it's never boring. And I think 2 is really boring in the middle. And 3 makes me laugh because it's just this nunchucks. It's just stupid shit, and it's before all the CGI, so it doesn't it's not horrible. But I do still like a lot of stuff in 2. First one's still the best. Fourth one is neat for different reasons. It's got the repurposed footage. Some of the spirit journey stuff is kind of interesting, I guess, but it is kind of more boring. And 5 is just exactly what 5 is. So
yeah, 4 has a lot of repurposed footage, which I would like to put that higher, but to me that was the most boring of them. I'm gonna go weird, not because of the good quality.
5 is you're gonna go 5.
I'm gonna go 1, 5, 2, 3, 4.
That's fine.
And not because 5 is a good movie, but because
I get
5
it.
is the only
And
one that actually
clearly,
made
struck
me
some kind of a chord with you.
right. It's the only one that actually had any real social commentary in my mind
Right.
that had something to say. And I think it said it, and it said it well. And if you didn't catch it, you're just an idiot.
So that is to say that, at least as far as Kyle and I are concerned, if you're going to watch any of them, at least just watch the first one.
Yeah. And honestly, don't watch 5 unless you've watched 1 through 4.
Yeah.
If you after everything I said, you could kind of get it, but you really need to have like all the other movies in your head.
No, it'd be a terrible movie to watch if you haven't watched the other ones.
I think that's it.
Yeah.
So it's
did it. Phantasm. Done.
Longer than you thought it would be for something for Phantasm, huh?
Yeah, it was.
Here's the thing. When I listen to someone talk about a movie for an hour, I like them to tell me what happened in the movie because I probably haven't seen it. So, when I watch Best of the Worst, I like that they summarize all the movies because when they're talking about it, I want to have context for what's going on. And I don't think anyone here is listening to us has watched more than Phantasm 1 and maybe 5.
Kyle doesn't like my judgy face that I give him when he's summarizing everything all the time.
Again, I get that, but sometimes I have to write everything down and talk about it because I forget everything that happens in the movie.
Is this a patron
Yes.
video? Do you want to
Yeah.
plug the Patreon here at the end?
I mean, I said
Did you?
thank you patrons earlier,
Okay, but you didn't say.
which means we have a Patreon,
Patreon.com/Alpha
Rookie. It's not impossible to find. I'll put a link in the description.
Okay.
All right. Thank you for joining us if you're still here. It's awesome that you get stuck around this long. If not, I don't blame you, but you don't know that I don't blame you because you left early, so fuck you. All right, good night, everybody.
Good night.